non-invasive procedure that can significantly reduce your symptoms. This long-lasting treatment is available here in my office. In a clinical study, 88% of Ryanair patients experience a significant reduction in their symptoms. We're proud the Stern Sinus Center was recently named a nationwide center of excellence. Schedule your appointment in Auburn or Federal Way or go to sternsinus.com.
June is Men's Health Month, and Swedish Cyberknife wants to make a positive difference in the life of someone listening right now. After skin cancers, prostate cancer is the most commonly diagnosed cancer among men. 1 in 8 men will be diagnosed with prostate cancer during their lifetime. Right now, it is estimated that more than 3 million U.S. men are living with prostate cancer. As men increase in age, their risk of developing prostate cancer increases. About 6 in 10 cases are found in men over the age of 65. Men with relatives, fathers, brothers, sons with a history of prostate cancer may be twice as likely to develop the disease. Prostate cancer can be silent. It's important to get checked, even if you have no symptoms. If you or someone you know is diagnosed with prostate cancer, consider treatment at Swedish Cyberknife right here in Seattle. It's one of the shortest, requiring only 5 treatment sessions. Swedish Cyberknife physicians publish a 97% effective rate. Go to swedish.org/cyberknifeprostate.
Do you have trouble getting in and out of the bathtub? Are you afraid you'll slip and fall entering or exiting a tub? Safe Step walk-in tubs can transform your bathtub from an area of concern to a calming refuge. Call them today at 1-800-731-4558 and save $1,600. Safe Step walk-in tubs and showers are proudly made in Tennessee and offer an ultra-low step-in, avoiding that difficult climb over a traditional bathtub wall. They also offer a variety of therapeutic benefits that may help soothe your aching muscles and joints, increasing your mobility, boosting your energy, and improving your sleep. Safe Step walk-in tubs are designed to easily fit your existing tub space and are often installed in as little as 1 day. Just dial 1-800-731-4558 today to save $1,600 and receive a free shower package. That's 1-800-731-4558 for a free no-obligation consultation and to save $1,600. Safe Step walk-in tubs. Safety never felt so good.
Overburdened with a bunch of stuff you don't want anymore, but feel bad throwing it away? John here with Happy Hauler, Seattle's eco-friendly junk removal. We prioritize donating and recycling. We'll help get your items to those in need instead of going to the landfill. At Happy Hauler, we pride ourselves on responsibility, community, and sustainability. We're a family-run small business that provides junk removal, donations, and recycling. Make yourself, your community, and the planet happy. It's time to reclaim your space. HappyHauler.com, hauling with a heart.
Let's go!
This is Seattle Sports.
Streaming through the Seattle Sports app.
KIRO AM Seattle. KIRO FM HD2 Tacoma. Home of the Seahawks, Mariners, and everything Seattle sports. Seattle Sports Snapshot.
Baseball legend and MLB Hall of Famer Willie Mays died yesterday afternoon at 93. His son, Michael, released a statement via the San Francisco Giants that read, "My father's passed away peacefully and among loved ones. I want to thank you all from the bottom of my broken heart for the unwavering love you've shown him over the years. You have been his life's blood." In a storied career that spanned from 1951 to 73, Mays made 24 All-Star teams, won 2 NL MVPs, and was a 12-time Gold Glover.
Snapshot, brought to you by Miller Lite. When it's game time, it's Miller time.
This is Bump and Stacy
On Seattle Sports.
streaming through the Seattle Sports app and at seattlesports.com.
Now, here are your hosts, Michael Bumpus and Stacy Ross.
Here we go now.
When it comes to the Mariners, Bump says, "You are what you repeatedly do." Well, if they could repeat some of this offensive production, I'm feeling pretty good about this team right now, Bump.
This is who I want them to be. You go out there and you light up pitches you're supposed to light up. We talked about McKenzie and his struggles giving up the bombs. He did exactly that. Go ahead and get him up out of there early. Go to that bullpen. Yeah, this was fun yesterday. I was interested to see how they were going to perform and what was going to actually happen, and they wasted no time letting us know that the power did travel to the Midwest.
Yeah, it sure did. First with JP making it 2-1.
3-1. Swinging a high rising fly ball out to right field. It's got a lot of life. Now it keeps sailing out there. Back to the wall in right field. And it's gone just over the fence. It's a home run, J.P. Crawford. On a warm, muggy night here in downtown Cleveland, it just kept carrying to right field. J.P. Crawford goes deep to right, and the Mariners have taken a 2-1 lead.
380 feet for JP, not the only home run of the game. The Mariners got 3 of them. Top of the 5th, Luke Raley homered on a fly ball to left field. 371 feet, 100-mile-per-hour exit velo. In the top of the 6th, 402-foot home run for Dylan Moore. Okay, Dylan. And then you had several extra base hits in this one, so let's talk about that slugging. 8 of 11 hits in this game for Seattle went for extra bases, either a double or a home run, including those 3 home runs.
Yeah, you put that in our show meeting, our show email, and I go, nah, that ain't right.
I had to double check. I'm still like, did I miss one? If I missed one, I promise it's because it's 9.
Yeah, I kept going through and I go, she's right. One more time. She's right. One more time. She's right. That is probably one of the more satisfying stats I've heard from this group in a long time.
Totally agree.
Because extra bases are hard to come by, especially with this group. And they did all that, Stacey, and Julio did not contribute. And I'm sitting there and I'm going, good for you boys. Not hating on Julio, but I'm thinking, man, imagine if Julio jumped in on the party as well. But whatever. I will take whatever you can get. The bats are hot right now. There's some stories of some Luke Raley stories along during this game, too, that are pretty funny. I love watching that man play. He lays down bunts. He can play first base. He's in the outfield making catches. He's hitting bombs. This guy is becoming, I'm telling you, I described him as like the Luke Wilson of this team. I'm going to say he's more of like the George Kittle of this team at this point. You know what I mean? He done stepped it up a notch.
Wow. Okay. Another white tight end.
Another one.
Another one.
With a great personality.
With a great personality. I love the analogy. I think it's great. And I also like the way that you framed the Julio conversation, because there have been many times that I can remember where we've talked about this team and we said, imagine if fill in the blank wasn't doing anything right now. Early last year, it was, God, imagine if Jared Kelenic wasn't hitting right now.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he was like one of the only guys that was actually doing anything.
Yeah.
Obviously, that didn't last, and the rest of the team picked up, and then Jared cooled off and got injured. But a year prior to that, it was, man, Ty Francis looking really good. Like, imagine if no one else was hitting right now. Or maybe it was JP and then the year before that, Ty. But you could look at it one way, and you could go, man, Julio's still not doing anything.
Yeah.
Which isn't true, by the way. Or you could look at it the way you did, which I really like, and go, not only are these guys heating up and hitting and slugging more, and you're seeing that team slugging percentage go up, but Julio hasn't even gotten really started yet.
Yeah, he's just warming up himself. And the last, let's go 4 games. Let's go last 3 games. You got 7 runs, 5 runs, and 8 runs. I don't think they put together a run like that in a long time. They got 4 wins in a row. Let's see if they can make it 5. I think the record for the year is 4 wins in a row. See if you make it 5. But yeah, you put up 8 runs against a good Cleveland team. We know McKenzie has his struggles, but you did that without your big dog performing like a big dog. And that's encouraging to me. I know some people can look at it and say, well, where's Julio? When is he going to show up? He's going to show up. He's still there. Don't trip.
You have the
Don't get it
425 that already called him worst hitter on the team.
Okay, well, that's an opinion. Yeah, you have bad games. You have bad days. Chris, the umpire, had a bad day the other day
no.
with Scott Service. He's human, okay? He's human. But this is where the word team sport really shows itself. Because when your star doesn't have a day and everyone else does their thing, it takes some pressure off of him, unless you're on the text line talking about how horrible he is. I don't believe that. I still believe that Julio's going to turn the corner, and he is turning the corner, actually. He's played some good ball prior to this. But no, this is encouraging to me.
Yeah.
I didn't even realize Julio didn't contribute until I started looking at the stats after you sent that email, and I go, man, she's right, and Julio didn't even do nothing.
No, it didn't feel like it. And by the way, Julio's still got one of the best averages on the team at 264. It's just behind Rojas. Those two are 1 and 2 on this team. And so, again, the problem is the bar for Julio is so insanely high. If Phil and Ryan Bliss, you'd be like, oh, my God. 264? That's crazy.
Make him an all-star.
yeah. What a snub. But it's because we know that Julio can be that much better. He's being paid to be that much better. And so, understandably, the bar's higher. I get it. But I have at no point in this season had seriously deep concerns about Julio.
No.
At no point.
No. the one thing that I still want to see are more extra base hits, right? But when you are a talent like Julio, and people point out his singles, right, his infield singles that he's getting, I go, all right, so be it. You got to find ways to produce when everything isn't clicking. And except for yesterday, for the most part of the past, week or so, he's found ways to produce. Still waiting for him to hit his stride, and there's still time, right? We're not even halfway through the season yet, are we? No, not even halfway through the season yet. There's still time for my man to get it done. But I would much rather have the bodies around him performing at a high level while he's kind of catching a stride, rather than him just balling all by himself and waiting for everyone else to catch up, because you're going to need more than one bat when it's all said and done. Not excusing what happened yesterday with Julio, but there are days like that. It happens. And the games prior to that, Julio showed some life, so I'm okay.
Yeah, someone said he won't get my vote for All-Star. Let me tell you what, Julio could be hitting 150, and if one of my guys is on the ballot, I am blindly I'm not a reporter anymore. I'm going full homer. I'm just
full homer.
All I see, there's one name on this ballot. That's all I see. Get more Mariners in there. Let's talk about a bit of what Scott Service said afterwards.
I thought we were really aggressive, ready to go against McKenzie, and he didn't look like he was on top of his game early on tonight, just command wise. And when you have a guy like that out there, you gotta keep the pressure on, and we jumped on him and got some runs early and got in their bullpen early, which was critical. Yeah.
You talked about McKenzie not having his night and them kind of being aggressive with him. When their offense, remember earlier in the season when they were like, oh, the Mariners, are holding starters to the fewest amount of innings, and it was a way to, not to trash talk, it was just a way to spin what was otherwise a very bad offense. Right? Like, that stat did nothing for me, because what I was looking at was a team that was striking out a ton, and you got to throw a lot of pitches to strike people out. Like, that didn't actually mean they were getting in his head and getting to him and, roughing him up a bit and making him get pulled. That is what happened here, though. And that is what we've seen more recently. Yeah,
it is. That's encouraging. There was a point where you were just waiting for the starter to get pulled so then you can really start scoring runs. It's like, all right, we beat up the bullpen. The starters, for some reason, not dominate this club, but do some things. You want to make people look like exactly who they are on paper at times, especially when you're going up against a pitcher like McKenzie. What was the knock on him? He's going to walk some dudes. He's going to give up some bombs, right? I'm not sure how many he walked yesterday, but he definitely gave up some bombs. So when you have a weaker opponent, and I hate talking about athletes like that because you're a baller, you're in the league, right? You're better than most. But when you have a weak link out there, you got to take advantage of it. So now it's okay. You've taken advantage of the weak link. Now you got someone else on the mound today who was pretty dang good. What are you going to do with that? You make the weak, you keep the weak, and then you go after the strong arms and say, we can compete with you. And that's what's fun to watch, is watching these guys rise to challenges and kind of start erasing some of the things that we think about them, at least in the short term. They're not going to score 7, 5, and 8 runs every single time they're out there. No. But when a team is hot, you ride the wave, you do what you're supposed to do, and you have games like yesterday.
We talked about it a bit yesterday, kind of exploring it a bit more here. This idea of, hey, I hope that them performing so well offensively puts pressure on a front office to continue to add a bat. You still want to see a bat added. That being said, your line really stuck with me. It was from your show email. You said, you are what you repeatedly do. What they've repeatedly done, for instance, is get quality starts. Like, you are a good pitching staff. One bad outing from Logan or a bad outing from Kirby, should that happen, will not change my mind, because you are what you repeatedly do. I love the line. I don't know that I'm fully convinced that this offense is fixed. I'm going to need to see more than a couple weeks of it, but I'm starting to open my mind to that idea that, once again, they're just a team that started out very cold and heated up.
Yeah, because they give you something to believe in. There's a stretch where there's absolutely nothing to believe in.
Nothing.
You lose 4 games in a row, 2 to the Yanks, 2 to the Nationals, and you're saying, what the heck's going on? And then you bounce back. You win the final game against the Nationals. You win 3 out of 4 against Houston, and you start to feel a bit better about yourself. But then you're comparing what you're doing against the opponents you're doing it to. And there's always an argument to go against anything you start to believe in with this team. But as of late, Stacey, it looks like they're starting to figure something out. And Scott said something that I'm going to ask Ryan Rowland-Smith about He said, look, the messaging is different and our approach is different. And to me, the guy who couldn't hit a curveball, who hung up the cleats in high school when it came to playing baseball, I'm like, there's only so many things you can do in a batter's box. Like, you can't pull a ball that's inside at your hands, right? Like, what is the messaging? What is the approach? So I'm interested to hear what Ryan Rowland-Smith has to say about that. But whatever the messaging is, whatever the approach has been over the past week or so, it seems to be working. What are they, 8-2 of their last 10 games? I mean, this is impressive.
God, it's absolutely impressive. And again, it's like it was too early at the time to say, what about Brant Brown? And I wondered if Brant Brown, I thought it was good that they were aggressive with some kind of move early in a season. And it is horrible that it means someone's out of a job. I would never advocate for that. But it is encouraging that a team is willing to do something, that they weren't willing to be like, we know best and we know what we're doing. So when they improved in that first week, we were like, that's dumb. We can't say it's just, but I mean, now.
I'm saying it.
Now.
Teams do
I'm
this all the time.
whispering like he's listening. I mean, now.
Right? Brent, what are you doing?
This is how you talk trash about people. Okay, I just think that maybe Brant Brown.
I mean, Brent's a nice guy.
He's a nice guy. He's a nice guy.
All right, but
okay,
maybe,
I have nothing bad to say about him,
but maybe,
like what?
Maybe. But teams do this all the time, right? In all sports, when things are going bad and the fans are hooting and hollering and the organization looks like it's in shambles, there has to be a sacrificial lamb, right? You have to offer somebody to the gods and say, please change our fate and what we're doing. And sometimes it doesn't work and you feel bad for the guy. Sometimes it does work. You still feel bad for the guy, but you can point to that and say, maybe that has something to do with it. It's never one person. It's never one thing. But sometimes there's something that's going wrong with the process. And if you can just tweak one phase or one step in that process, everything else can smooth out. It's not all said and done. These guys aren't running away with the division right now. Still got a lot of games to play, but so far over the past couple weeks, they're doing what they're supposed to do. Last
one here before we get to headline rewrites. Tell me what you think about this. So our theme of the Open was you are what you repeatedly do, a bar from Bump's email. Does that apply to Julio this year?
Yeah, it has to. As of right now, all right, let's describe Julio. Love Julio, respect Julio, not giving up on Julio. So far this year, he's a guy that is not going to hit the ball hard often, but he's going to beat out a throw to first base. He's a guy that once he's on base, he's dangerous. He will steal some bags. He's a guy that's going to be good defensively. And right now, he's a guy that still can't figure out high and tight, lay off of that, and low and away, stay off of that. That's who he is right now. Now, can he go 2 to 3 weeks and switch this thing up and be all right? Yeah, we can do that. I think it's highlighted by last night because he was 0-5. Before that, there was 3 or 4 games he had 2 bombs that had a few RBIs and we're feeling better about it. But when you go on 0-5, 0 for 5, and your team puts up 8 runs and you don't contribute, you lean back to you are what you repeatedly do. And I'm going to be honest, as much as I love the line, and I am applying it when we talk about the offense for the Mariners to like this year and this time, so it's fair to apply it to Julio. When it actually comes to Julio, I look at the entirety of his career because it's so short. It's been so, you know what I mean? It's been so, he's so young that it's easy to, you remember. These years just happened. You remember like a rookie season, what he did last year. You remember looking at it going, he's doing things we have never seen in baseball. Like national reporters were talking about, oh my God, this guy's amazing. He's unreal. And I don't know that anyone was saying his ceiling is best player in baseball, but they were saying his ceiling is he's a superstar. He's a top 5 guy. So I will admit that I am leaning heavily into those past couple years as opposed to just this season, even though this season he's really not been playing, up to his own bar. So, all right, we are going to talk about whether or not, I actually don't want to spoil this. We're going to talk about what we were so surprised with when it came to callers yesterday, coming up at 10:30. Before we get to that, let's get to headline rewrites.
Extra, extra, read all about it.
Headline rewrites.
We must make headlines.
The real story behind the headlines in today's news with Bump and Stacy.
Headline number 1, tough news last night. Baseball legend Willie Mays passed away at the age of 93 on Tuesday. What's the real headline?
It's never easy losing a legend. Now, I couldn't sum this up into a headline, what I'm about to say, but I was thinking about it. And I was thinking how, what a life, right? Like, there are just some people who live lives where they impact and enrich, and through what they do best or through something special about them, change the course of something bigger than themselves. And that's such a cool thing in hindsight. Like, it's such an amazing thing to think of. being one of the very best players baseball has ever seen, and the impact that had on one of the biggest cultural things in this country, which is baseball.
Yeah, Willie Mays, man, he lived through what? He started playing ball late 40s, early 50s.
Yeah.
The last game was in 73. You know how much change he saw and helped and was responsible for when it came to baseball and just this country in general. It's crazy for him to live that long and then live to 2024 and be able to compare generations. If you have a relative that is older, 70s, 80s, 90s, sit down and just talk to them.
Yeah.
And taking all of that knowledge and that perspective, even if you don't agree with some of the stuff that they're saying, it's still coming from a place you would never understand. That's why when I see a guy like Willie Mays, the effect he had on this country in baseball, I'm jealous of the ones who got a chance to talk to him and meet him and greet him and understand who he is, because he went through a lot, man, and was a hell of a baseball player. 660 bombs, a career average over 300. Goodness gracious, man. Lost a good one. It's been a tough couple weeks in sports, man. Bill Walton, Jerry West, you got Willie Mays now, but he lived a good one.
And all of them just beloved figures. Now, it doesn't have to be a purely beloved, like unproblematic figure, but who are some other people, alive or dead, that you look around and you go, this guy or this woman forever altered this sport? Like, I think of, we're going to talk about this person later, but like Tiger Woods, obviously living, he impacted and changed golf forever.
Yeah. Reggie's sister, Cheryl Miller.
Yeah.
I don't think people realize how good she was in high school and in college. There would be nothing that's going on right now in women's basketball if it was for someone like Cheryl Miller. And I love hearing the stories about her beating up Reggie in the backyard, playing one-on-one and stuff. Yeah, I think it's Cheryl Miller.
That's my Family Feud style. Good answer. Good answer.
Venus and Serena.
Oh,
Headline
wow.
rewrites.
Yes.
Headline number 2, don't look now, but the Oilers have forced a Game 6 in the Stanley Cup Finals, and that Game 6 is on home ice with their 5-3 win last night over the Panthers. What's the real headline?
At least one final series is watchable. Luka.
Dang it. Hey, I need this for Connor McDavid, man. I love hearing about how great he is. I love watching him. I don't, believe it or not, Stacey, I didn't grow up playing hockey, okay? But
wow.
What?
I can understand what greatness looks like. You watch him on the ice, the way he moves, his vision, the way he dangles that thing. It's fun to watch, man. So I want this for him. I think it's gonna be hard to get done. It is possible. I think I read a stat a couple of days ago saying that maybe 1 or 2 teams have come back from 3-0 in the Stanley Cup and got it done. Maybe we see it now. Edmonton needs one. 30 years since Canada's won a cup.
I know you mentioned you didn't grow up playing hockey, and you and I are both very open about hockey in general being new to us in the last couple years in terms of analyzing it. Like, not just like tuning in to watch a series, but like trying to analyze it. However, one of my favorite things is when people think you don't know anything about soccer, even though you played all growing up and played internationally. That's just one of my favorite kind of like when someone's like, oh yeah, bump, well, and then you're like, yeah, I played in Europe.
Hey, don't judge a book by its cover.
Don't judge.
Did you guys see the stop that Matthew Tkachuk made last night for the Panthers? Empty net. He's diving for it. Just puts his stick out, full sprawl, taps it right before it crosses the goal line. Unfortunately, Connor McDavid was right behind him, and then he just stuffs it back in the net.
Unfortunately, the worst person I would possibly choose.
Yeah, but I mean,
right
just that kind of player was like, oh my God.
Oh, God. Playoff hockey really is. Like, people talked when we had, guests on that would talk about it. They were like, just wait till the playoffs. It's absolutely amazing. You got to see it. And I was like, okay. How is it that much different? It is.
And then you went.
And then I went, And then I experienced it. And oh, my God.
Hockey is the last game I went, obviously, not obviously, but they lost. That was the first time in a while where I was a real fan, like yelling, talking crap. I'm like cursing. You got to calm down, bro. Like, you might be taking it a little too far. Hockey, it did it to me.
Headline rewrites.
Headline number 3, the PGA Tour has created a special sponsor exemption only for Tiger Woods so he can compete in the tour's 8 signature events. What's the real headline?
This is what it looks like when you recognize your best asset. Now, this isn't like a direct shot at the Olympic Committee when it comes to the U.S. women's national team, but we had been having a lot of big conversations about taking advantage of what you have, right? And a lot of that circulated around the WNBA, around the Olympics, around Caitlin Clark. The PGA Tour gets it.
Yeah.
Of course Tiger Woods got an exemption. He's Tiger Woods. I don't care if it's not fair.
He's by far no longer the greatest golfer currently in the game right now. But he's got 82 PGA Tour wins. Okay, he's got 199 top 10 finishes, 163 top 5, 19 third place, 31 runner-ups. He's made $120 million in the PGA. He has changed the game. He's the reason why I'm going out and playing some golf after the show today. If I never saw Tiger Woods pick up a club, I'm probably not out there. And that, not just me, a whole bunch of people, no matter where you're from, what color you are, what it is. He means that much to the sport. You're supposed to do this. And if you're one of these young golfers hating, there was one golfer, man, I forgot his name. And he said, I'm better than Tiger Woods right now. He shouldn't get an exemption. I go, listen, son.
What?
Respect your elders. I got to find this young man.
Okay, so is this man on the PGA Tour?
He's on the tour right now.
Kick him off. Kick him
Send
off.
him to live.
Exactly. Send him to live. Like, that's so disrespectful.
Man.
Also, I'm better than Tiger Woods right now. And right now, the reason Tiger Woods is getting this exemption is because he was better than you will ever be. And I'll call it right now. This person will never be as good as Tiger Woods. Ever. Ever. It's just, oh my God. Now I'm fired up.
I
don't even love Tiger like that.
You gotta call him out.
Yeah. We'll find him. We'll find him. It's I know we were talking about people that have impacted the game and changed the game. Tiger Woods, a perfect example of that. And even people who you obviously know a ton about golf and love golf. And I think of my dad, who does the same. You and he will also tune in to watch it, knowing dang well Tiger isn't going to make the cut.
Yeah, no.
You know what I mean?
I knew he wasn't making the cut in the open.
Everyone watching knows he's not going to make it, but they watch anyway, and I guarantee you they're the most watched rounds.
You know what I'm jealous of? His son. His son gets to tag along and experience those moments.
He's just going to be gifted.
That's one of the main reasons why he's still playing too, man.
Yeah.
Because he's like, look, I get these moments with my son. It's awesome.
Yeah, it's very, very cool to see. I like the overlay of his son's swing and his swing. It's just genetics, man. Crazy. You're listening to Bump and Stacy on Seattle Sports and the Seattle Sports app. We took callers yesterday and asked you guys how you'd make the Mariners a World Series team. The number one answer really surprised us. That's next.
Seattle Sports, your home for Wyman and Bob.
It's going to be problematic for the opposition in that building should it get to the playoffs. If the Mariners hang on to this and they get a home series here in the postseason, that's a big deal.
And that's why the division, that's why the division's important. You win the division, you get a home series. In a situation like that, a crowd can make all the difference in close games especially. And we know the Mariners love to play close games. So that crowd kind of forecasts it towards the end of the year, what could happen. That's fun to think about.
On Seattle Sports and 97.3 FM HD2.
Hey, it's Mike Salk here, and if you're getting ready for a fun night out, you know Snoqualmie Casino is just the place to go and have a good time. They got Adam Carolla coming up Saturday, July 13th. You know Adam Carolla, comedian, actor, radio personality, television host, author, currently hosts the Adam Carolla Show, the Guinness Book of World Records for most downloaded podcast. And beforehand, go to Falls Buffet, back open, serving all your favorites. It is Seattle's closest casino, only 30 minutes from downtown, and online at snocasino.com. Seattle's closest, Snoqualmie Casino.
Experience firsthand the innovative spirit and vibrant culture of Washington at the Washington Brewers Festival. 2 days of tasty food and beverages paired with great entertainment. The Washington Brewers Festival is June 22nd and 23rd at Seattle Center. Learn more and get tickets now at WashingtonBrewersGuild.org. That's WashingtonBrewersGuild.org. Use promo code Seattle Sports for 10% off. The Washington Brewers Festival. Join in for this incredible Washington tradition.
Getting quality employees to fill positions in your company is essential, but finding those people can be a major hassle, unless you use ZipRecruiter. ZipRecruiter makes finding quality people a breeze. And right now you can try it for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. With ZipRecruiter, one click sends your job to hundreds of top job sites. But more than that, ZipRecruiter's advanced technology identifies the candidates with the skills you need, sends you a list of great matches to review, then actively invites them to apply for your job. And the results speak for themselves. 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. That's right, the first day. Now you can focus on your business and let ZipRecruiter do the work finding the best people for you. See for yourself. Experience the ease, efficiency, and power of ZipRecruiter for free. Just go to ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter.com/free.
With no fees or minimums and no overdraft fees, banking with Capital One is the easiest decision in the history of decisions. Kind of like choosing Derek Jeter as the pinch hitter for your baseball team.
Jeter, you're in. We need a home run.
I'll give it a try. I've swung a bat once or twice.
That's out of here.
Yep, even easier than that. With no fees or minimums and no overdraft fees, is it even a decision? That's banking reimagined. What's in your wallet?
Terms apply. See CapitalOne.com/bank for details. Capital One NA, member FDIC.
We expect our information in real time. US Med carries continuous glucose monitors, which provide real-time readings of blood glucose levels. US Med is an approved provider for Medicare and over 500 private insurers. So call 888-665-0696 today for a free insurance and Medicare benefits check as easy as... That's 888-665-0696.
You gotta love baseball season, but when it comes to your windows, you don't want any curveballs. Rick Riz here, reminding you to trust your clubhouse with locally owned Pella Windows and Doors of Western Washington. Experience the difference with high-quality products, expert installation, and top-notch customer service. It's always a home run with Pella. Schedule a free consultation with Pella Windows and Doors of Western Washington. Just go to PellaPNW.com. That's PellaPNW.com.
The noon hour of the Bump and Stacy Show is powered every day by the caring and compassionate team at Pendergast Law Personal Injury Lawyers. Go to PendergastLaw.com.
What do thousands of students that rely on free school lunches do during the summer? It's G. Scott here. Sunbucks is a SNAP program that provides free, healthy food when school is out. If you could use the help, simply fill out the form online to determine eligibility for $120 of free food per child. This message is presented by Safeway, where customers can use SNAP to match their produce purchases as well as shop online. Learn more at hungerfreewashington.org/summer EBT.
At Buc-ee's, we'll get you ready for summertime. For over 50 years, Buc-ee's Complete Auto has been servicing and repairing cars and trucks with modern-day technology and good old-fashioned customer service. Buc-ee's is the largest independent family-owned chain in the Northwest. There's a Buc-ee's just about everywhere for factory maintenance, oil changes, wiper blades, air conditioning, brakes, tire rotation, tune-ups, everything you need to get you running smoothly this summer. No appointment necessary, and financing's available too. Check Buc-ee's.com for the location near you.
Hey, Brock Ewart here with my buddy Dave Taylor from First Mark Insurance. So glad, so thankful that Molly and I made the call. Had heard so many First Mark Challenge victories, we needed to take that challenge. What does happen from your perspective when that caller, when that email, when that person reaches out to you for a First Mark Challenge victory?
That's a great question. So there's several steps we go through in the process. The first step is we're going to gather information. Find out all we can about that client and what their needs are. The next step is we will go out to the market. We have dozens and dozens of carriers that will compete for the business. At the end of that process, we will then bring those findings back to the customer, show them what we found, and who the eventual winner was in that competition.
And it may be who they're with.
It might be, yes. And sometimes that's the best we can do is recommend they stay where they are, but maybe modify a few coverages to put them in a better position.
So go take that challenge today. Go be the next First Mark Challenge victory. It costs you nothing, and they will be there with you every step of the way. FirstMarkInsurance.com. FirstMarkInsurance.com.
You're listening to Bump and Stacy.
Weekdays 10 to 2.
On Seattle Sports and 97.3 FM HD2.
Man, you guys really brought it yesterday when we asked you to call in and tell us how you'd make the Mariners a World Series. We had a World Series winner. We had so many great answers. I will say, though, Bump and I were really surprised that far and away the number one answer was get a reliever. Now, both of us, Bump, think that they need to add a relief pitcher at the deadline. Right. Absolutely, no doubt. Like, you've been banged up. You don't have Brash. Santos isn't out there. Munoz is hurt. Yes, of course. But we've also been talking a ton about Luis Robert. Do you go for a rental with Pete Alonso? Oh, there's so many problems with this offense that focusing on a bat is just so hard not to do. But that was by far the number one answer from listeners. So it brought up a question naturally, which is, Bump, has relief pitching surpassed a bat as the Mariners' greatest need?
This was interesting because I felt like we were going to open up the lines, the text lines, calls and all that, and people were going to say, you need that bat. So when I have a way of thinking and more people than I expect go against it, naturally I'm going to step back and be like, okay, what are they looking at? What are they seeing? Why are they feeling this way? And I'm looking at the way these guys have been playing as of late, and I go, okay, are people buying in to the bats are warming up? They're going to be okay. What you have here is enough once you get contributions from your superstar the way that you expect it to. Are they looking at this team the same way management is looking at this team? Is Stanton in the game and DePoto looking at the squad and saying, we're becoming who we thought we were going to be. Now we just need to focus on something else because we're good in this area. And that something else obviously would be arms coming out the bullpen. I look at this situation and I say, as long as Munoz is healthy, as long as Stanek is good, as long as Sauce can get out there and do his thing, I'm still looking at the bats and saying, I would love just some insurance.
So for you, no. For you, you're like, you know what? I don't think relief pitching has surpassed a bat.
Like the pie has shifted a bit.
Okay.
You know, let's say the bats are yellow, the arms are red. There's more red than there used to be on that pie chart for sure. But I'm still looking at the situation and saying, and I heard, who was it? I think I heard someone saying there's a way that you can move guys around, your starting pitchers, put them in the bullpen when the playoffs come around, and you'll be fine. But they're talking about just to finish the season off. I understand the concern because I see it as well, but I still think that there's enough in the rotation and enough in the bullpen right now to where you can fight guys off. Now you just want to put them away. And to me, how do you do that? Bombs. Hit more bombs, score more runs.
Here's what A.J. Przinsky thinks the Mariners need to do in order to win in October.
Well, they need to stay healthy. Let's start with that. I mean, every team, that's the number one goal. But for me, it's a bat. Their pitching staff is strong. If their pitchers stay healthy, find me another pitching staff that's better. I can't find one off the top of my head. I would say they're as good as it gets. And then, I think a bat. I think, you need Polanco back. You need JP swinging it. You need Julio to go back to Julio. And then everyone else does what they do. And then, again, if you add one guy in the middle of the order, it just changes everything. And that would be the number one priority for me if I'm Jerry DePoto and the Mariners. But, Jerry does some interesting things, and he's made the right moves. He got into the playoffs 2 years ago, missed last year, but should be there again. But for me, man, I'm looking for a bat. I'm trying to find an impact bat that can change games.
AJ agrees with you. That was earlier this morning with Brock and Lefko guesting in for Mike Salk. But it is hard for me not to look at Mariners. 23rd in OPS is an improvement for them. That has come with how hot they've been. They've now averaged it out. When it comes to doubles, they've been like 6th in doubles over the last 30 days. They've really improved that. They're still leading in strikeouts, and I think back to games where, they get 2 hits against a bad team, strike out 15 times, and those games stick in my mind.
Yeah. And what he said, in one swing can change a game. One swing with runners in scoring position can change a game. One swing when you're knotted up in the bottom of the ninth can change a game. I understand the impacts of the arm, and I feel like that is the strongest point of this team right now. The strongest thing this team does are when those guys are on the mound throwing that heat. To me, where do you still need help? You need game-changing type of bats.
Mm-hmm.
But I understand people looking at the bullpen and saying, look, we could need some help there because no team is perfect. I don't think any team, whether you have 50 wins or 40-something wins, are looking at their squad and saying, boom, we're good to go. Man, didn't we just see, didn't Rizzo just break his arm the other day with the Yankees? You got Mookie, he just broke his hand with the Dodgers the other day. Things are always going to happen to where you have to adjust. I'd rather just be prepared for that. And I feel like a bat prepares you for those moments where all you need is one swing and you win a ball game.
Now, the 253 says you need both a reliever and a bat. Trevor May has his eyes on one reliever in particular.
I think if they went and got a guy like, and this is where it gets really interesting, like in Toronto, who knows what they're going to do, but like a Yimi Garcia type. He's having a great year, and seeing what it would take to get a guy like him. And then if they added maybe an outfielder, if they were able to finagle something to get Louis Robert, that would be massive too. And he's a young guy, and he doesn't have to play center field, and he would just be a big upgrade in a lot of ways. And righty pop.
Now, a Luis Robert trade would be very difficult. Who knows if Toronto would deal Yimi Garcia. But Trevor's point is, here's a reliever I really like, and Toronto could be selling more than we think. And, here's a bat I'd love to see added for this offense. So, yes, the answer is you need both. You'll probably get both. But what this exercise really is here on June 19th is an exercise in how comfortable you are with the offense. Mm-hmm. That's what this is really about. Right?
Yeah.
If I say, has reliever become the number one need, it means that in watching the past several games, you go, I feel better about the offense than I did. And if you don't, like you don't feel that much better.
What's the strength? What side of the ball do we expect to be the strength for the Seahawks this year?
Offense.
Offense, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we feel like the defense needs some work. We feel good about that offense, but we still know that offensive line needs to be on point. Who's going to be your center? How are your tackles going to be healthy? You could be good in one area and still want to improve a little bit, but to put your emphasis towards on the side of the ball or the side of the ball that has the most upside, and not ignore the other side, but kind of push it to the side, I think would be irresponsible. In a perfect world, yes, you get both. You get a bat, you get an arm, you're good to go. But if you do get both, I feel like if you do get both, then you're not going to get the name that you want when it comes to a bat, and you're just going to get an arm that isn't overwhelming. So if you're okay with that, then cool. Me personally, I want to go both. But I would spend some money on the bat.
Yeah, someone said, so whom do you cut? Mitch Haniger, Victor Robles, both? I mean, look, that's a decision for Scott Service to figure out. But when I look at this team, I don't see enough offense. I see too many strikeouts. Until recently, I was not seeing enough extra base hits. Thankfully, slugging has improved as a team. But this is a club that needs to be better offensively, even just average offensively. They're not. And don't let the last couple weeks of real, genuine improvement convince you that they're absolutely fine there. And this is a club that should. It's like Jeff Passan yesterday when we heard that cut, and he was like, yes, they can win a World Series. It doesn't mean they should with how they're currently formed.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean they should go for it with how they are right now.
206 says Santos should be back sooner than later. What's interesting to me about that is that that's the approach that they've taken all year with these bats, that they'll be fine. Just later they'll be good to go. And I was a bit hesitant to buy in and to believe in that, because I go, man, I'm not seeing enough. It seems like they're right so far. The bats are getting better. I wonder if they're looking at Santos and saying the same thing, like, actually, we don't need an arm because Santos is going to be good to go. How quickly is he going to be able to be the guy that we expect him to be? That's what makes it so hard running any type of team, because you have to make decisions, and you're not going to get them right all the time. Sometimes you got to be patient and wait some things out, which it seems like that's what they've done this year, and it's worked out for them. This is the better this team plays, the harder it is going to be to make decisions on personnel and where to move people.
Well, and you made a really good point, which is you start to wonder if the better this team plays, the less they feel they need to add a bat.
Yeah.
So that's interesting.
Add the bat, please.
Please do it. We'll see what happens there. Ryan Rowland-Smith joining us at 11. We'll ask him all of these questions. Ask him if there's a type of reliever he's got an eye on, because, of course, they are going to need to add there. Before we get to that, though, you're listening to Bump and Stacy on Seattle Sports and the Seattle Sports app. Get Off My Lawn coming up next.
Seattle Sports, your home for Wyman and Bob.
This is going to be problematic for the opposition in that building should it get to the playoffs. If the Mariners hang on to this and they get a home series here in the postseason, it's a big deal.
And that's why the division, that's why the division's important. You win the division, you get a home series. In a situation like that, a crowd can make all the difference in close games especially. And we know the Mariners love to play close games. So that crowd kind of forecasted towards the end of the year what could happen. That's fun to think about.
On Seattle Sports and 97.3 FM HD2.
Everyone knows by now that Wayscar Ford Isuzu in Auburn is the best place to sell your car without the hassle of trying to sell it yourself. But what about the hassle of buying a new car? If you're like me, that can be a really stressful experience, and you want to go to a place with people you trust. I'm here with my friend, Mark, from Wayscar Ford. And Mark, you guys have been family owned and operated, and that's really important to you. Tell me why.
Yeah, Stacy, we don't pressure anyone to buy a car. Family owned and operated dealership for over 100 years doesn't stay in business for over 100 years by not taking care of their customers. The one thing I can promise is absolutely no pressure, and every car we sell, new or used, comes with a 5-day or a 500-mile, 100% money-back guarantee. If you change your mind for any reason, no problem. Bring the vehicle back for a full 100% refund.
So whether you're buying or selling a car, Wayscar Ford Isuzu is the place to go. They have the highest Google ratings of any Ford dealer in the Puget Sound region with thousands of reviews, and that trust is so important. Go to wayscarford.com. That's wayscarford.com.
Want to listen to Seattle Sports on your smart speaker?
Hey, smart speaker, play Seattle Sports.
This message is powered by the EQC Sportsbook at Emerald Queen Casino. Emerald Queen Casino, the entertainment capital of the Northwest.
June is Men's Health Month, and we want to place a special emphasis on prostate cancer awareness and treatment. After skin cancers, prostate cancer is the most commonly diagnosed cancer among American men. Prostate cancer can be silent. It's important to get checked even if you have no symptoms. If you or someone you know is diagnosed with prostate cancer, consider treatment at Swedish Cyberknife. It's one of the shortest and most effective, requiring only 5 treatment sessions. Go to Swedish.org/cyberknifeprostate.
Hey, it's Dr. Coogan with Eastside Weight Loss Clinic. Are you tired of losing weight just to see it all come back again? Summer is around the corner and you want to look and feel like yourself again, but getting back on that frustrating weight loss roller coaster is the last thing you want to do. You've heard about the new drugs but are concerned with the possible side effects, or you're taking weight loss drugs but also want to learn how to change your lifestyle for long-lasting results. At Eastside Weight Loss Clinic, we know the secret for fast and lasting weight loss using real healthy foods and lifestyle strategies. Schedule your free consultation online at eastsideweightlossclinic.com.
Yeah, one of the great things about the Eastside Weight Loss Clinic program for me was the lack of hunger. That's how I got into the problem to begin with, as I was eating too much, and I thought that would be the case as I was losing weight. No. Delicious recipes that keep you full.
Our program has successfully helped thousands of people lose up to 10 to 20% of their body weight in 60 days. You can start our program in person in Kirkland or virtually from anywhere you live. Schedule your free phone consultation today by calling 425-522-5070 or eastsideweightlossclinic.com.
Dr. Ryan Coogan, D.C. Results may vary.
John here with Happy Hauler. Furniture and household items you plan to throw away? We work with organizations all over Western Washington to donate used items. Happy Hauler is Seattle's eco-friendly junk removal. HappyHauler.com, hauling with a heart.
Arbor Barber Tree Service reminds parents to talk with your teenage drivers about the dangers of distracted driving and texting behind the wheel. Make a family agreement to never drive under the influence of alcohol or drugs, or ride with a driver who is. Always designate a sober driver, use a ride share, or call a parent for a safe ride home. Best wishes to the class of 2024 from the entire team at Arbor Barber Tree Service, Washington's #1 tree service. Online at arborbarber.com.
Subscribe to the Seattle Sports YouTube page to find new and exclusive content from your favorite shows and personalities daily. Just head to YouTube, search Seattle Sports, and click subscribe.
The longest day of the year is June 20th. Take advantage of the upcoming solstice and book rounds from sunrise to sunset at 12 different premier courses. From Bellingham, Everett, and Marysville to Linwood, Bellevue, and Seattle, even out on the coast, they've got a course near you. Play Interbay, Jackson Park, Jefferson Park, West Seattle, Bellevue, Legion Memorial, Walter E. Hall, Linwood, Cedar Crest, Lake Padden, Ocean Shores, or the Crossroads Par 3. The courses are in great shape and ready for your next round. Visit premiergolfcenters.com to book your tee time.
Hey, it's Mike Salk here for Window Nation. If you haven't had a chance to take advantage of their semi-annual sale, you are in luck because they've extended it. Get 50% off all windows with no interest for 5 years and a bonus 10% savings when you schedule an estimate now. If your old windows are costing you too much for AC, that's a big deal. And now during Window Nation's semi-annual sale, you can replace them and save big. This offer ends June 30th, so schedule your in-home estimate now. Call 866-90-NATION or go to windownation.com.
Hey, it's Dave Wyman with Dr. Mark Wagner, MD, from Seattle Sports and Regenerative Medicine. Dr. Wagner is hosting a free stem cell webinar Wednesday, June 26th to explain stem cell therapy.
I'm really looking forward to this live webinar to educate on how using your own stem cells can be an extremely successful method to help regenerate native tissue in rotator cuffs, meniscus tears, and reduce pain in osteoarthritic joints.
And which joints have you seen good success with?
Shoulders, elbows, hips, knees, even wrists and ankles. And in this live webinar, we'll tell you all about the procedure, how simple and safe it is using your own stem cells, and how we determine if you're a candidate.
Dr. Wagner has performed over 20,000 stem cell procedures. Are you in pain? Join him Wednesday, June 26th for the free stem cell webinar and learn all about this amazing procedure. Register now at drmarkwagnermd.com. That's drmarkwagnermd.com.
This is Bumpin' Stacy.
Weekdays 10 to 2
on Seattle Sports and 97.3 FM HD2.
Ryan Roland Smith joining us in 15 before we get to it. It's Wednesday. It's 10:45. That means it's time for one Michael Bumpus to tell us about 3 things that are really grinding his gears, making him angry, making him get into that old man mode, yelling, "Get off my lawn." So what's bothering you today, Bump?
I'm a man. I'm 40.
All right, let's get into it. Sunday was Father's Day.
Mm-hmm.
Fathers are out with their kids. And what's crazy, I did the dishes on Father's Day.
What?
I did the dishes. You know, I did the dishes because I was going to be gone playing golf all day, and I wanted wifey not to be mad when I got back. But that's not what I'm talking about, right? You know how you do it, Curtis. You got to do something to get something. So when you dip for a few hours, they ain't tripping, okay? But that's not what I'm talking about.
Science.
That's science.
That's science.
I went to go play golf. And fathers, we got to do better with these kids. There were some badass kids on the golf course the other day. Bad kids. I get you want to take your kids out to the golf course. You want them to experience what you experience, but you know the etiquette of golf, man. Don't allow these bad kids running around to slow up the round and jack up the golf course. But there's one specifically, man. We have to make sure that we are teaching our young men the basic things of just in life. Right, I met so many kids on Sunday. I know I'm talking about them running around, but it's nice to see them on the golf course. But I met so many kids, and you go to shake their hands, it's a limp wrist. They're not looking you in the eye. They're not trying to hold a conversation with you. I'm like, these are supposed to be the leaders of our country.
How old are these kids?
And they're like 12, 13 years old.
Oh.
And I go, these are supposed to be the leaders of our country, right? I tell my boys all the time, you shake a man's hand, you look him in the eye, please and thank you. When someone gives you something, you're courteous, you move out the way. Just little things. And I'm meeting all these kids, and they're not looking me in the eye. They're not saying hello. They're not being polite. And the dads are just sitting there allowing this behavior to go down. I got some old school, man. I think there's a certain level of respect that the youth has to give adults. I don't care if you don't know that person. Until they do you wrong, you make sure you act accordingly. There's just little things in life that I think that I'm grateful. I was raised by women too, and my mom made sure I did it. My grandma, my aunt, they all made sure, like, look, you are the man of this family. Behave as so. I'm old school. If you ain't with it, so be it. But there's some structure that I think we're losing with some of these youths.
Man, you're not wrong. The text line is backing you up, saying absolutely. Someone said, I need to open an etiquette school. Yes, I want to open an etiquette school, but it's just for young people to learn how to make eye contact or answer a phone or do these things that are very, very normal. The handshaking, though. If it's a little kid, I get,
Yeah, look, I get it.
know anything.
You're 12, 13.
He's shy.
You're a young man.
You're grown.
Come on now.
You're grown. You're going to be doing job interviews in 4 years for your first job, but you got to know.
Yeah, I was disappointed, and I'm looking at the fathers, and kids aren't going to be perfect. They're going to get things wrong, but there's no correcting the behavior. Like, I correct my son whenever something ain't right. They're not behaving properly, which is rare. Thank you, Jennifer Bumpus, and assisting me with this. You got to get on them. And I was just really disappointed, man. I was disappointed, man.
That's a good one. Okay, what's next?
I'm a man. I'm 40.
Staying with the youth movement, youth sports, man, this is getting nuts. Okay, the USA. You wonder why Europeans run the NBA right now. Because I go to these AAU tournaments and there is no development going on. Everyone's playing one-on-one basketball, trying to dunk and get to the hoop. Yeah, you're more athletic. We are more athletic than the athletes that come from overseas other than Giannis. Giannis is a freak, right? But you telling me the Joker is more athletic than the guys we have over here? You mean to tell me Luka is more athletic? No, but they're more skilled than we are. Then I'm going to these events. I went to some AAU events, one-on-one basketball. I go to these soccer events. All they want to do is put the biggest kid on the field. No skill, no touch, no vision, no nothing. But you're big and you're 14, so you're going to run through these kids right now, and they wonder why we lose 5-1 in Colombia. Colombia's a good soccer country, but come on, 5-1 is crazy to me right now. The development at the youth sports level is being lost. All you old heads who couldn't make JV are coaching these teams and coaching to win instead of developing these guys. We will start losing them. The NBA will no longer be our NBA. All right, we got cats coming from overseas to enter the NFL. If you do not start developing these young kids, the sports as we know it right now, it is on a decline. And I'm tired of hearing with soccer, they say, our best athletes play basketball, football, and baseball. 340 million people in this country. You mean to tell me we can't rile up 50 U.S. soccer players, men's soccer players, because the women are on point, men's soccer players, and develop these guys? Is being lost right now. These egos of these coaches are killing these young kids. I'll talk about dads on the golf course not disciplining their kids, and now these same dads are going to these youth sports and just playing to win. Play to develop. You will win if you develop these kids. The more I go to these events, the more I see that stuff, and it drives me nuts. Go ahead and take your trophy home, but did you make that kid a better player and a better person? Half of the time, that ain't the case.
Why do you think that is? Like, as
ego.
you're talking about it,
It's
okay.
ego.
Oh, that's a good answer.
It's
As you're
ego.
talking about it, I'm thinking, are these kids just wanting to learn how to show off and make big plays for viral moments? Because you know how big we are in influencer culture here.
It's the coaches buying into that too. Instead of teaching these kids the game, the fundamentals, and then allowing them to show their personality through that, they're just trying to be their friend. They're just trying to be in the video with them. I see coaches doing backflips after wins. Like, dog, I'm glad you can do a backflip at 40. But should you be doing the backflip on the field like one of these kids right now?
No.
It's getting wild, man. And make sure, parents, you align yourself with programs that are really about developing your kid. Winning is fine. Winning is going to happen. I understand the feeling, the adrenaline rush of winning. But everybody wants their kid to be the next so-and-so. You got to train and prepare like that person did. We are losing it here in this country, man. These other countries are going to whoop our butts here pretty soon.
Yeah, that's a really good point. Also, I kind of think of it as like you can wear overalls at 40, but should you? You know, like there's a lot of things you could do at 40, but should you?
Should you?
But should you?
Yeah, no backflips, sir.
You know what I'm saying?
Come on.
Okay, what's last?
All right, last one.
I'm a man. I'm 40.
I like this one. Boston Celtics. Congratulations on your 18th championship. You now have the most titles in NBA history. But I'm watching this go down. And the first thing I noticed when zeros hit the clock, Stacey, I'm looking in the crowd. There's no jumping up and down. There's no hugging. There's nothing going on. You know what I see? People holding out their phones. People just holding out their phones, and I go, Boston, be in this moment. Your second championship in 38 years, be in this moment. Jump around, celebrate. It was crazy. It was so crazy. I stopped watching it, and I went back and looked at other team celebrations over the past few years, and there's more activity in the crowds. I'm not saying it's just a Boston thing. It's a culture thing that's happening, but I'm like, y'all not even enjoying it. And then your boy Tatum, goodness gracious, man. How many cliches, how many scenarios are you going to bite? You know, he said that we'll never know thing like 3 times.
No.
You know, he said that what they're going to say now about 3 times. So, Boston, congratulations. You did it. You won. But it was the corniest championship win I've ever saw in my life. I go, these dudes ain't even enjoying this right now. Everyone's so concerned about, look at me in this moment. What are we doing? And I can't say that the Lakers would do anything different. It's a culture thing, right?
And it's in L.A.
And it's, I'm not saying we're not better than that. But you know what? We didn't win this year, and I'm focusing on y'all. That was the corniest win I ever saw in my life. Maura Dooley, I apologize. Love you. I know you're a Boston gal. But, yeah, I just expected more jubilation. You guys haven't done this in a long time, man. It was crazy to me, man. It was disappointing, honestly. I wanted tears. I wanted them to zoom in on an old Irish couple, that hadn't seen a championship in a long time. They're hugging each other and crying and stuff. I wanted the full effect, and I did not get that, man. I was disappointed.
I wanted Matt Damon in the stands with a single tear coming down his face.
Wahlberg.
I wanted actual Goodwill Hunting.
Exactly.
The guy, the real guy.
The real guy. I needed all that. I didn't get it, so I was disappointed for Boston.
We did it. We did it.
He thought about it. He goes, we did it. Oh, I should yell this.
It makes me physically uncomfortable, like when spiders die and all their legs curl up into each other. I've used that analogy before, but it's because I do it every time. Like my arms just go, ooh.
It was bad, man.
I don't like it.
It was bad.
From the 720 in Colorado, I love Get Off My Lawn Bump. It's a great segment. Wednesdays, 10:45 on Wednesdays. Bump tells us the 3 things that are really grinding his gears. That was Get Off My Lawn. Coming up next, talking Mariners with Ryan Rowland-Smith.
Seattle Sports is your exclusive home for Mariners baseball. Every strikeout.
Swing and a miss for strike 3. Bryce Miller, 7 scoreless today.
Every home run.
Get out the right, Brennan Mustard. It is grand salami time. A walk-off grand slam.
Every Mariners win.
And the Mariners win it in an amazing comeback here in the bottom of the 9th inning.
Stream every game at seattlesports.com or on the Seattle Sports app. We are Seattle Sports, the home of the Mariners.
This is Matt Coker from West Coast Men's Health. I'm proud to let you know that nationwide, our clinics have a 4.7 out of 5-star rating on Google. This tells you that our patients are really seeing results. Here's what some of them are saying. The results are close to phenomenal. On top of that, the staff and the scheduling are top-notch, and my technician is a consummate professional. Another patient said, I called numerous clinics, and West Coast was by far the best. The other places wouldn't give me any information over the phone, but West Coast answered all of my questions. My wife and I were skeptical, but we've already noticed the difference. This was a game changer for us. West Coast Men's Health has helped thousands of men reverse their ED using acoustic wave therapy. No pills or shots necessary. Give us a call today so we can help you too.
With clinics in Redmond and Tacoma, call 206-519-6541. That's 206-519-6541. 206-519-6541. Online at westcoastmenshealth.com.
Hey, don't miss the Harnish Auto Family Road Trip Sales event going on now. Test drive any vehicle and enter for your chance to win a $500 road trip package. Go to harnishautofamily.com to find a dealership near you. Harnish Auto Family. People matter. See dealership for details.
At Buc-ee's, we'll get you ready for summertime. For over 50 years, Buc-ee's Complete Auto has been servicing and repairing cars and trucks with modern-day technology and good old-fashioned customer service. Buc-ee's is the largest independent family-owned chain in the Northwest. There's a Buc-ee's just about everywhere for factory maintenance, oil changes, wiper blades, air conditioning, brakes, tire rotation, tune-ups, everything you need to get you running smoothly this summer. No appointment necessary, and financing's available too. Check Buc-ee's.com for the location near you.
At the UPS store, we know being a small business owner means holiday time is still go time. Still get those orders shipped time. And still re-up on stamps and supplies time. That's why this upcoming holiday, while others close up shop, we'll be open. And happy to help you keep being unstoppable. Come into your local store today. Most locations are independently owned. Product, services, pricing, and hours of operation may vary. See Center for details. The UPS store. Be unstoppable.
Hey everyone, it's Ted from Consumer Cellular, the guy in the orange sweater, and this is your wake-up call. If you're paying too much for wireless service, you don't have to keep having that nightmare. Consumer Cellular has the same fast, reliable coverage as the leading carriers for up to half the cost. So why keep spending more than you have to? Seriously, wake up and call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit consumercellular.com.
Savings based on cost of Consumer Cellular single line 1, 5, and 10 gig data plans with unlimited talk and text compared to lowest cost single line postpaid unlimited talk, text, and data plans offered by T-Mobile and Verizon January 2024.
It's Dave Wyman for R&R Foundation Specialist. R&R Foundation Specialist doesn't just restore and repair settling foundations. They're also able to pull retaining walls back into place. Erosion of soil and poor installation are just a couple of reasons retaining walls begin to fail. So if you have a retaining wall on your property that is leaning or cracked, you can save thousands by having R&R Foundation Specialist restore the wall rather than dealing with the enormous cost of replacement. R&R drives steel piers horizontally deep into the soil to re-anchor the wall and put it back into place. They also use incredibly strong carbon fiber straps to repair cracks and restore the structural integrity of the slab. This solution even works on seawalls. So if you suspect your foundation is settling or have a retaining wall that's leaning, it's important to have it fixed properly. Have R&R Foundation Specialist come out for free and tell you what the issue is like they did for me. Schedule your free estimate at rrfoundationspecialist.com.
Mike Salk here for RiversideRoofingLLC.com, where you can enter your address and receive a hassle-free quick quote on your roof replacement within seconds. Do it this spring and save time, money, and get your project done at RiversideRoofingLLC.com, the roofing company you can trust.
My friends swim no matter the season, but my moderate to severe plaque psoriasis can sometimes take me out of the moment. Now, thanks to Skyrizi and Clear Skin, count me in. With Skyrizi, Risankizumab Riza, a prescription-only 150 milligram injection for adults who are candidates for systemic or phototherapy. 3 out of 4 people achieve 90% clear skin at 4 months.
Don't use if allergic to Skyrizi. Serious allergic reactions and an increased risk of infections or a lower ability to fight them may occur. Before treatment, your doctor should check for infection and tuberculosis. Tell your doctor if you have an infection or symptoms such as fever, sweats, chills, muscle aches, or cough, or if you plan to or recently received a vaccine.
Thanks to Skyrizi, there's nothing on my skin, and that means everything. Ask your doctor today about Skyrizi, the #1 dermatologist-prescribed biologic in psoriasis, and visit skyrizi.com or call 1-866-SKYRIZI to learn more.
This is Seattle Sports.
Streaming through the Seattle Sports app.
KIRO AM Seattle. KIRO FM HD2 Tacoma. Home of the Seahawks, Mariners, and everything Seattle sports. Seattle Sports Snapshot.
Baseball legend and MLB Hall of Famer Willie Mays died yesterday afternoon at 93. His son, Michael, released a statement via the San Francisco Giants that read, "My father's passed away peacefully and among loved ones. I want to thank you all from the bottom of my broken heart for the unwavering love you've shown him over the years. You have been his life's blood." In a storied career that spanned from 1951 to 73, Mays made 24 All-Star teams, won 2 NL MVPs, and was a 12-time Gold Glover.
Snapshot, brought to you by Miller Lite. When it's game time, it's Miller time.
This is Bump and Stacy
on Seattle Sports.
Streaming through the Seattle Sports app and at seattlesports.com.
Now, here are your hosts, Michael Bumpus and Stacy Ross.
Here we go now.
Ryan Roland-Smith joining us now on the Emerald Queen Casino Sportsbook Hotline. Don't forget you can catch Ryan's podcast, The Top Step, which airs weekly on Root Sports. Make sure you tune in to Ryan tonight on MLB Network. I knew it would only be a matter of time before you big time us, Ryan.
Look, I'm here for 5 days and then they boot me out the door. But I've just been going hard trying to cover 30 teams the last couple of days. But hey, listen, I have been giving the Mariners a ton of love. Every time they're like, oh, let's talk about the Orioles, I'm like, no, hold on, what about the Mariners? Look what they're doing. So there you go. It's all, trust me, it's all Yankees and Mets over here. I'm telling you right now. But I'm like, but hold on, mate, the Mariners are doing this. So there you go. I'm helping them out.
Hold it down for the West Coast, man. We appreciate you.
That's right. That's right.
So it's I'm so confused, man. I'm watching this team, and I love what I'm seeing. Right? Stacy pointed out that eight out of their 10 hits were home runs or doubles yesterday. And I'm listening to Scott talk about it, and he goes, the messaging is different, and our approach is different. And I'm thinking, what else can you do in a batter's box? You can only take a ball a certain way. You only swing at certain pitches. Like, what do you think the messaging could be? I know you don't know for sure, but give me an idea of what could be going on with that messaging.
Well, I think that, and look, I hate to do this because I know how tough coaching is. I know how tough it is to get, a coaching job. I know how much pressure you're under. I know how quick they can turn the page on you, whether you're a manager or a coach. And I think that, look, so I don't want to throw anyone under the bus, but with Brant Brown, when he came in, it was a big thing, and the big push was about coming up with strategy and coming up with different ways to look at things. And, do you do a team overall approach? Do you do a player-only approach? And there's a little bit of confusion there. And the message was kind of getting a little bit as we all know, too many voices in one's head, a little bit diluted. And then all of a sudden, you're coming in at 2 or 3 o'clock in the afternoon trying to do your work and your routine. I'm talking offensively. And you've got, all right, this is what we're doing today. Like, oh, hold on a minute. Can't I just go and make sure my timing's right? Can't I just go and look for a pitch middle up? Do I have to wait for this 2-0 count for it to get a fastball? So there's just a lot of this that goes on. Now, again, I'm not judging anyone's coaching style. I'm not judging anyone's approach to trying to give information. It's all stuff that you are trying to benefit the team. But sometimes, and Bump, this, it doesn't matter if you're an athlete or not. Less is more, and if you keep things simple and you can just go up and say, you know what, this is what I do really well. It may not be elite, right? It may not be, something that really stands out or the way you want me to do it. But I just feel better doing this. If I want to go and swing and miss a pitch by 3 feet and I put myself in the hole, so be it. But this is my A swing. So with saying all that, I just feel like with this team, I hate to say it, but when they lost the coach, they lost the voice there. It's just everything just looks simplified. Everything just looks more free and easy. Everything just feels like it's more of an individual approach. And so I feel like watching them hit. I mean, last night, look, Tristan McKenzie, he's been on sort of that. He's high and low, right? The starter for the Cleveland Guardians. He gets rattled easily. And I just noticed early in the game last night, the Mariners just put him, just like they did with Eovaldi. They just put him in a spot where it's like, man, you are 2 pitches away from giving up a crooked number. Mm-hmm. That's exactly what they did. So I love what I'm seeing offensively right now. Again, the starting pitching has gotten back to elite level. You look at what they've done in the last couple of turns. One of the best rotations in baseball. We know that. ERA plus. There's only 2 teams that have the entire rotation. That includes Brian Wu with ERA plus, 100 plus. That's the Yankees and that's the Mariners. But offensively, they're starting to show just that little bit extra, and I'm loving it.
Hey, there's teams around I'll just look at the American League, right? Those are the ones that really matter for us. Teams that are way more complete, like the Yankees. They're going to spend more. They got Juan Soto. They got Aaron Judge leading all-star ballots. They have, an ERA, the best ERA, team ERA in baseball. And I think it's natural to just think like, well, God, how do you compete with that? You're not going to outspend them. You're not going to suddenly outplay them. These guys are out of this world. So when you look at kind of the Mariners as a matchup, let's say hypothetically, I mean, they will play the Yankees in September, but let's say hypothetically they face a team like New York in the playoffs. What do the Mariners have in terms of an edge, in terms of something that does give them a little bit of something special?
Pitching, starting pitching. I feel like when you talk about, and look, Garrett Cole comes back tonight for the Yankees, and then you've got Luis Gil, who's just been out of this world. Just the expectations were not there. For him, he was going to be a fill-in because Garrett Cole went down. So they do have, I put them neck and neck pitching-wise. But when you talk about a situation, you get into the playoffs, and you stack up let's say you got Garrett Cole. All right, let's call it, come October. You got Garrett Cole versus, I don't know, pick a name at this point because they've all been so good. Logan Gilbert, game one. I'll give Logan Gilbert game one. Then you go, now Luis Gil, and this is where I'm getting at in a second. I'll get to Luis Gil in a second. Then you go, call it, Nestor Cortez or a Stroman or even Rodon who got roughed up. I'm telling you, it starts to dip after Garrett Cole. And the reason it does, and I say this about Luis Gil, who's been, in my opinion, top 3 pitchers in the American League, who, like I said, just no one was expecting that. Luis Gil is going to run into an August-September innings limitations where they're going to have to slow him down a little bit. He's coming off a TJ. He's a young prospect. They're already talking about that. Okay, how do we bump his starts? So it's not going to be the same. It's just not going to be the same Luis Gil we've seen in the first half because there is going to be those limitations. Now, if they roll him out and they say, hey, he's game 2, that's fine. But he still hasn't had the same August and September lead-in to the playoffs. So I think that's where the Mariners have that advantage. Starting pitching, as we all know, you get to the playoffs and you have 1 through 5 and go your best 1, 2, 3 at the time, and then you can slide call it, I don't know, Bryce Miller slides into the bullpen. You got him as a backup. Something goes crazy or gets out of hand, that leash is short, then he can come in the 3rd, 4th inning to cover in case if something happens. But in regards to starting pitching, you have guys who can go 6 straight months. They're going to go deep into August, September, where their pitch counts are good. They're in good shape physically, pitches per inning, all those little things that add up. And you get to call it them versus the Yankees. I just feel like game 2 and game 3, they have the leg up.
Ryan, reputation is big, I think, especially amongst the players, right? I'm sure they're looking to see what's going on across the league. You being on the East Coast, what's your vibe you're getting from the way people view this Mariners ball club?
Oh, very high, like really high, to the point where I was like, hey, hold on a second, simmer down here. Because, like, put it this way.
You're trying to humble them. Whoa, guys.
Well, yeah, it's like, hey, hold on. Like, we're used to being kind of forgotten about out in the West Coast, I feel like, and by the way, too, like, it's funny, man, like just being out here for a stretch and watching so much baseball, I'm like, oh, man, I got to wait till what time, to watch these West Coast games. Now, they're lucky the Mariners are in Cleveland. But I'm like, okay, I want to watch a West Coast game here. I'm like, man, how late do I have to stay up? Right. So I get it. Like you just don't see it. You see, some good performances. You're going to hear about it on the box score the next day because you're not staying up till midnight to watch it. So I get it. However, just for some of these people around baseball, and this is all these people do. They just watch baseball and they study it and study it and study it, and so they're in it 24/7. And they're raving about the Mariners. The fact that they're 9.5 now? I think 9, maybe 10 games up 10 in the AL West. We talked about this last night on the show, and we said, okay, who is just more of a absolute lock to get to the playoffs in the AL West versus the AL Central? Like, for example, is it the Mariners or the Guardians? Now, I did say the one thing that concerns me with the Mariners is just the bullpen. And that's something that's, if you had to have one element of your team, whether it be rotation, offense, or bullpen, what's the easiest place to go and get it is the bullpen, right? So I look at that and say, all right, that's the one little weak link where the Cleveland Guardians have a really, really good bullpen. They don't have the same starting pitching. But I think for the Mariners, come trade deadline time, this is kind of the everyone's talking about getting a bat. I still feel like you could most likely get some low-costing bullpen help, and then go and if that's not a distraction, I feel like if they can clear up that bullpen depth issue, which they're dealing with a little bit at the moment, if they can get that right at come the trade deadline, they can put all their focus into getting offense, which we all know they need. But as it stands right now, that's the one little weak link. Besides that, man, everyone out here, like on the East Coast, oh man, they're raving about what the Mariners are doing right now. It's awesome.
Unless it's a high-end closer, sometimes it's so hard to predict which bullpen arms will be up,
yeah.
right? Because half the time they're thrown in as part of a trade and maybe to sweeten the deal or whatever. And so I've already asked you this question, but we had so many people talking to Bump and I about it yesterday that I figured we'd revisit. And that's the type of arm that they're going to need. You've mentioned a name before that you liked as a profile, but where do you see the holes in the bullpen?
I just think that middle, the middle part. And look, okay, so it's June right now, right? So we're talking. I watched Andres Munoz pitch last night. He looked good, but we all know he gets done pitching, he packs straight to the back, and he's trying to work through it. Man, if he can just get back to saying, you know what, every day I feel absolutely fine. I'm good to go. Come August, all right, sweet. Let's focus our attention on filling up, that middle pack. Who's someone who can go inning in a third? Who's someone who's not going to walk people and can come in, put out a fire. That inherited run percentage is a big factor to me come the 6th and 7th inning. If Munoz is 100% good to go. Mm-hmm. The other blessing in disguise, just back on Munoz, the fact that he's pitching less right now, thanks to the back, is kind of a blessing in disguise. I'm not going to lie. Because we know the injury issues here. I just don't want a situation where they lean on him so heavily. We saw that a little bit early in the season. And you get to August and September, you see that velocity drop. He's worn out. Then you get into October, and it's just like, man, he's running on fumes. You don't want to see that either. So this is a little bit of a blessing in disguise. They're spacing these outings out. I just feel like if they can get someone where it's not going to cost you a whole lot, Mariners do such a great job of bringing guys in and identifying what they can do from a bullpen standpoint. We've seen that, Seawald, Topa, Steckenrider, I'll go back to him, Gabe Spira. Guys like that, if they can get someone go, who's this guy? And then all of a sudden he's throwing 80% sliders. Oh, I see. And then you fill in that gap. That's awesome. And then they can go focus on offense.
Speaking of who's this guy, a year or two ago, Adam Frazier had himself a couple moments in the playoffs, right? And I think as you go deeper into the season, into the playoffs, you're going to need guys to step up. If you had a crystal ball in front of you right now and you had to guess who that guy could and should be at the bottom of that order to step up for this team and kind of give them that push, who'd you put your money on?
Well, you're talking about someone who's a disruptor. I'm going to say, first of all, I'm not going to say this is the X factor in this lineup or someone's going to just go off. But Ryan Bliss is just a great candidate to be like, all right, pinch runner, boom, steal a bag. Pinch runner, all right, base hit, he can stretch, one base to two. I love that. I mean, the fact that you have that in the back pocket, absolutely love it. But for the bottom of the lineup, look, we saw Mitch Garver go off last year in the playoffs. He had a huge home run in Baltimore for the Texas Rangers. I know he's struggling right now. He's hitting 179, right? And the OPS is, down in the 600s. But, man, if you can – it doesn't matter. And, look, we all know everything changes in October. If you could get, like, say, a Mitch Garver and all of a sudden someone's carving through the top end of that lineup, he comes up and there's two runners on, you're like, oh, man, he struggled all year. Then whack. You don't pay attention to him as a pitcher. Something like that. I can kind of look into a crystal ball in that regard. But you want guys who are dynamic players in the playoffs, someone who can lay a bunt down, get that. We all know how important that one run, that two runs, once you're talking 6th, 7th, 8th inning. If you can get guys like that amongst some of these other, obviously Julios and Cowles and everyone else, that's what you need in the playoffs.
Hey, excuse me. Last question here, Ryan. Obviously, this series continuing against the Guardians, so I don't want to jinx them and say, like, what if they sweep? But what kind of message can they make against a team that I think is ahead of them in most power rankings?
Well, I agree. I absolutely agree. When you can beat teams that are plus 500, are going to the playoffs, you match up. And I feel like they've always matched up well against Cleveland for some reason. Now, Cleveland is a team, you mentioned, in regards to power rankings, you look at them, and offensively, they are so much better than last year because last year they made a ton of contact. Now they're making contact with some of the slug involved, some of the extra base. And they are a complete team. They've got a shutdown bullpen. So if you can pull away, let's say you go 3 games against them, and you can pull away, and you can get to their starting pitching in a couple games, and then all of a sudden have a close game late, and you beat their bullpen, that's really sending a message. That's saying, you know what? we go up against a team like this that is complete, like you said, Stacey, and they're up above them in the power rankings, and you can beat them a couple different ways, especially their pitching, especially their bullpen. I think that speaks volumes.
He is Ryan Rowland-Smith. You can catch him on Root Sports. Watch him on MLB Network. Make sure you check out The Top Step, which airs weekly on Root Sports. Thanks, Ryan.
Thanks, Ryan.
No worries. Thanks, guys.
Let's get to 4 Down territory.
This is 4 Down territory, going inside the game with former Seahawks and Coug wide receiver Michael Bumpus.
First down, who is your generation's Charles Barkley?
It's yours too, Stacey.
And
don't
mine.
try to exclude yourself from this millennial
But
vibe
I'm a
over here. Oh man, the reason why this comes up is because one, Charles Barkley is leaving. We love Charles Barkley. One more year with TNT, but there's someone that's going to be inducted into the Atlanta Falcons Ring of Honor. Who is that person, Stacey? What's your guess?
What is it?
What's your guess? Atlanta Falcons Ring of Honor.
That's our generation's Charles Barkley?
Yeah.
Michael Vick?
I don't know, Vic something else.
Curtis is like, no.
Matt Ryan.
Matt Ryan.
I saw this and I go, he is the greatest Falcons quarterback of all time, even though, who won the Super Bowl? Was it Chandler?
They didn't win it.
They went to the Super Bowl.
But Chandler was the other quarterback.
Yeah, he took him, right? The Dirty Bird. Back when I was in middle school, we used to hit that all the time. But Matt Ryan, 7th all time when it comes to passing yards, 62,792. 9th when it comes to passing touchdowns, 381. 5th in completions, 5,551. 65% completion rate, which is 3rd amongst the guys who have retired. There's some active guys with higher percentages there. And a league MVP. Matt Ryan, part of one of the biggest Super Bowl collapses of all time. I look at him and the greatness that he had over there with Roddy White in the game, and I feel bad for him, man, because he is our generation's Charles Barkley. So it's only right that he's getting into commentating and calling games, because he'll give you a perspective that that no one else can give you. I just hope they don't ride him the way they do Chuck, man. They be on Chuck. Shaq be like, Chuck, how many championships you got, Chuck? How many championships?
That's actually a really good impression.
Yeah, man. So Matt Ryan, man, big ups. Chuck.
2nd down. What's an off-season activity that may be impossible for NFL teams to stop their players from doing?
So this was inspired by George Kittle. He was a part of WrestleMania 39, I believe. What was it, 39, Curtis?
39.
39. And he was, his team thought he was just going to the event. He was actually in the event. And the 49ers, John Lynch specifically, called up George Kittle and said, I hope it was fun. Don't do that again.
Mm-hmm.
Off season, we talked about this with McDonald and this period of time where guys go off and do their own things. What are you going to do? Vacay? You're going to train? But there's no way the league is going to stop these dudes from hooping, man.
Mm-hmm.
They're putting it in their contracts. Like, you cannot play basketball. I see videos of Tyreek Hill dunking. He's 5'9" and he's dunking. It's crazy. DK Metcalf playing basketball. Puka Nacua playing basketball. Most football players played basketball in high school, and they would swear if they didn't go to the NFL, they'd be in the NBA. NBA probably the hardest league to get into because of the roster numbers. But this is going down. When I was in the NFL, there were a bunch of guys who went to, what's that big gym? Gold's Gym in Redmond, I believe it was. And we'd be in there running for hours and hours and hours. I understand that NFL teams don't want their guys to do that, but I'm also thinking, if you're a receiver and I'm running routes, start and stop, there is more of a chance if you tear your ACL doing that than jogging up and down basketball court. I know you got to jump and you might roll your ankle and fall on guys or whatnot, but I feel like you can control a bit more of your surroundings playing basketball if you play with the right guys. Here's what hoopers do. You look on the court and you see a bunch of dudes who don't know how to play, do not step foot in that court because they're going to foul you, you're going to get hurt. But if you look and you see guys who understand spacing, who are going to take care of each other, who set screens, who aren't trying to get crazy on the board, yeah, I think it's okay to play. But I understand Patrick Mahomes played basketball last year, and they shut all that down. They put it in his contract. He cannot play basketball. So, look, good luck, NFL. You might be able to stop the superstars from doing it, but everybody else, I swear to you, every football player thinks he can hoop.
Have you ever walked onto a court, pickup game, a gym, church thing, whatever, about a couple minutes in, you go, this was not the court to walk onto?
Yeah, for sure. And what I do, I just don't play defense. I get the ball in offense, I swing it, I get it out of my hands, and I go, hopefully my team loses, and I'll go on the next court.
3rd down. What stat from Gino do you expect to go up from last year?
It's crazy that I think this stat is going to go up because I feel like they're going to be a balanced team, but I think his pass attempts are going to go up. In 2022, he threw the ball 572 times. He had his Pro Bowl year with 30 touchdowns. Last year, he threw the ball 494 times. And the reason why I think this is going to go up, because I believe that this offense is going to be more connected. They're going to extend more drives, have more opportunities. Also, Michael Penix last year threw the ball 558 times in 3 less games than what Gino played. And you still had a 1,000-yard rusher on that UW football team. Another example of how I think Ryan Grubb is going to expand this offense. He will push the ball down the field, but he's not going to neglect the run. And I think that Gino is at his best, honestly, when he is able and free to throw the football down the field. I think that's going to happen. So his attempts went down a bit last year, but I think it's more than just a play calling. Is the situations they're in, is trying to control the football. I'm sure Pete Carroll had some type of input in that. Hey, run the rock, run the rock. I think Ryan Grubb is going to balance this thing out, extend more drives, allow Gino to throw the football down the field. I expect him to be up around 500 something again. I went back and looked 10 years. In the last 10 years, the most pass attempts, 672 attempts by Peyton Manning. And I think Tom Brady's last year, he had like 650
I was going to say Tom Brady's got to be in there because he had over 5,000, I want to say.
It was crazy.
Yards.
Yeah.
But yeah, Manning, I wonder if that was in his 55 touchdown.
Yeah, that was his first year with the Broncos, was it?
Yeah, where they were like the best offense ever and then couldn't be stopped by anyone, surely. Surely no one could stop that offense. Absolutely no one. 4th down. Well, we all know that we would love to know what the Seahawks season looks like. But outside of Seattle, if you had to choose another team in the NFL where you could know exactly what their 2024 season looks like, what would you choose? You got to fast forward into the future.
Oh, well, that's not my 4th down, Stacey.
It's not on here.
What quarterback room may have the most successful college career?
Oh, okay.
It's not on yours? Oh, that's on my show sheet. I'm sorry.
It's not on mine either.
Really? What did I do? Get IT in here.
On your Google Doc.
I don't know what's going on. I'm looking at it right now.
Okay.
All right, so the question is, what quarterback room may have the most successful college career? You got to look at the Cincinnati Bengals, man. I was just reading up on the Bengals and their quarterback situation. You got Jake Browning in that room. Last year, he was, 4-3 as a starter once Joe Burrow went down. Completed 70% of his passes, 12 touchdowns, 7 interceptions. Joe Burrow, in 10 games, completed 66% of his passes, 15 touchdowns, 6 interceptions. It wasn't a big drop-off. But forget the NFL. Could you imagine the conversations they're having about their college football careers? In 1 year, Jake Browning threw for 43 touchdowns, 9 interceptions. 1 year, my man Joe Burrow threw for 60 touchdowns and 6 interceptions. Now, Washington didn't end up going and winning the title, but they got to the game, and we all know about LSU. I played golf with Jake Browning last year, one of the best human beings you could meet, man. Super competitive, but a good person. These are the type of conversations that I wish that people could be around to hear. When you're in the room and you're hearing two greats talk about their college career or talk about a game situation, me being that undrafted free agent, I'd sit in the room and listen to Bobby and Matt Hasselbeck and Locklear talk about the Super Bowl run and all that stuff. And it was just great to listen to, man. I don't think Bobby was on that team, but it was just great to listen to. I look at that quarterback room and I could imagine some of the how do I say it? The contest they would get in when comparing each other's college careers.
You're listening to Bump and Stacey on Seattle Sports and the Seattle Sports app. A wild story involving Luke Raley from last night. Don't go anywhere.
Seattle Sports, your home for Brock and Salk.
Jeffrey Passan joins us every Tuesday at 8:30.
Weekdays 6 to 10.
Can the Mariners win a World Series with their current 40-man roster?
Yes, that's how good their pitching is. And I believe in October, even though you're facing the teams that have the best lineups in the world, that the Mariners pitching can neutralize that. And they are so good in that ballpark. It is a horror show if you're coming into T-Mobile and you're another team right now.
On Seattle Sports and 97.3 FM HD2.
Experience firsthand the innovative spirit and vibrant culture of Washington at the Washington Brewers Festival. 2 days of tasty food and beverages paired with great entertainment. The Washington Brewers Festival is June 22nd and 23rd at Seattle Center. Learn more and get tickets now at WashingtonBrewersGuild.org. That's WashingtonBrewersGuild.org. Use promo code Seattle Sports for 10% off. The Washington Brewers Festival. Join in for this incredible Washington tradition.
I call myself a confident backseat driver. Mom, brakes, please.
Gotcha.
but I'm less confident in the economy.
Same here, buddy.
Thankfully, Les Schwab Tires helps make sure that our safety never takes a backseat, even when we're watching our wallets.
Roll into summer. Save up to $200 instantly on a wide selection of tires and wheels. Les Schwab Tires. Limited time offer. Terms and conditions apply. Details at leschwab.com/sale.
Want to listen to Seattle sports on your smart speaker?
Hey, smart speaker, play Seattle sports.
This message is powered by the EQC Sportsbook at Emerald Queen Casino. Emerald Queen Casino, the entertainment capital of the Northwest.
Hey, it's Dave Wyman with Dr. Mark Wagner, MD, from Seattle Sports and Regenerative Medicine. Dr. Wagner is hosting a free stem cell webinar Wednesday, June 26th to explain stem cell therapy.
I'm really looking forward to this live webinar to educate on how using your own stem cells can be an extremely successful method to help regenerate native tissue in rotator cuffs, meniscus tears, and reduce pain in osteoarthritic joints.
And which joints have you seen good success with?
Shoulders, elbows, hips, knees, even wrists and ankles. And in this live webinar, we'll tell you all about the procedure, how simple and safe it is using your own stem cells, and how we determine if you're a candidate.
Dr. Wagner has performed over 20,000 stem cell procedures. Are you in pain? Join him Wednesday, June 26th for the free stem cell webinar and learn all about this amazing procedure. Register now at drmarkwagnermd.com. That's drmarkwagnermd.com.
Hey, Mike Salk here. Get bonus days to save during Window Nation's semi-annual sale now through June 30th. Get 50% off all windows with no interest for 5 years and a bonus 10% savings when you schedule an estimate. Call 866-90-NATION or go to windownation.com.
Guys, did you know your testosterone affects everything in your system, including how you feel and perform every day? Right now, Revive Men's Health Seattle will check your testosterone for free. Knowing your T levels is the first step in understanding if you have low T. Your testosterone level impacts your energy, libido, sleep, weight, hair loss, mood, and even ED. Maintaining an appropriate T level can change your whole life. Most men start to see changes in their hormone levels in their 30s. Experience and results matter. So what are you waiting for? Get your T levels checked today by local, experienced, and trusted men's health experts. They've helped thousands of men since 2011. They're so confident they can help you, they even guarantee it. Call Revive today and schedule your free testosterone test, free exam, and free consultation. Call Revive Men's Health at 206-529-1111. That's 206-529-1111. Or visit ReviveMen'sHealth.com.
Listen throughout the week to the Mariners Players Spotlight.
Give props to Jerry and Justin. They did a great job bringing in these good group of guys.
Presented by Muckleshoot Casino Resort.
The IRS deadline has come and gone. So do you owe money to the IRS? If so, you need an ally. Whether you owe the IRS $6,000 or $600,000, whether your tax problems are personal or business, the professionals at Allies Tax Relief are ready to step in and negotiate your fresh start with the IRS. Here's a happy customer of Allies Tax Relief.
Before calling Allies Tax Relief, I feared the IRS would take all of my assets. I owed them over $562,000. Thankfully, I was referred to Allies and called them for help. They ultimately saved my life from uncertainty. Allies negotiated my giant tax debt to an unbelievable $1,500. They are professionals and they fight the fight for their clients.
Allies Tax Relief will protect your assets from being seized and your paycheck from being garnished. Call right now for your free consultation. 800-296-0772. That's 800-296-0772. Or visit AlliesTaxRelief.com.
Carl was a very safe cyclist. He was just a man who was trying to stay healthy.
I was riding along and I could see very well, but I didn't see something in front of me and I flipped over the top and I landed on the back of my neck and ended up breaking my neck.
After his accident, we moved to Spokane because we physically could not get him into our house. Our daughter-in-law arranged for us to meet with 3 different law firms, and the Davis Law Group was the clear choice.
When I found out the Supreme Court had ruled in our favor, I just remember that I was exhilarated. It was very elating. Chris did a great job.
Settling the case when we did, it means that we don't have to worry about stretching every single dollar. We always felt that they were going above and beyond.
Learn more about Carl's story at dlgstories.com/Carl.
This is The Timeline
with Bump and Stacy.
Brought to you by 1-800-DUI-AWAY.
Mariners got 3 home runs last night, one of them belonging to Luke Raley. Sounded like this.
Here's a swing and a high fly ball into left field. Backing up Quan to the warning track near the wall. Has carry, and this one is gone. Goodbye, baseball. In and out of the seats over the tall wall in left field. Luke Raley going the other way with a home run to straightaway left, his 8th home run of the season. 2nd home run for the Mariners tonight, and it's now the Mariners 6 and the Guardians 1.
If you remember that home run from last night, then you'll remember that a fan in the stands initially caught the ball and then dropped it back onto the field immediately. Just such a bummer. That fan, what are the odds, was Luke Raley's uncle. Luke Raley talked about his uncle dropping that home run ball.
Yeah, the home run ball was right in my uncle's hands, and he dropped it, so he'll be hearing about that at Thanksgiving.
Yeah. So did you say something to your uncle when you went out to left field?
Yeah. Well, he was yelling down to me and let me know it was right in my hands. So, I actually saw it on the iPad and dugout watching the swing, and I saw him laughing and whatever. So, but it was cool. But just in general, hit it right at him was cool.
Were you able to get him a ball?
Yeah, he had one when he was leaving. So yeah, he had a good time. He was laughing about it, being a good sport. So it's fun.
Bump, you used to talk about going to Dodgers games when you were younger with her mitt, and you never caught a fly ball or a home run ball ever.
Not one.
And then this young man has his own uncle catch a home run ball briefly. He dropped it. But what are the odds of that?
Can I get on my LeBron right now?
Yes.
I knew that was his family when I saw it. I don't know what it was.
No, your LeBron would be, I knew his uncle would catch it.
Yeah, would catch it. Okay, so I'm not fully LeBron, I'm just LeBron. But I saw it go down, I go, that smile. There's something about this situation. I go, does he know him? Because the look on his face, I swear to you, I thought there was some connection there. Didn't think it was his uncle.
Yeah.
Yeah, at every barbecue from now on, I'm talking crap to my uncle. Like, you had a home run in your hands and you dropped
it. And you dropped it.
Not just a home run, my home run.
Wait, was it his, did he go Oppo too?
Yeah.
And was that his first one of the year, right?
Yeah, Raley does not go Oppo hardly ever.
That's what makes it even more wild and rare and uncanny that not only would he go Oppo, that someone would be there catching it, that person who caught it in this stadium full of people would be related to him.
And it looked like he was sitting by himself, too.
Yeah.
You see anybody else sitting around him?
I'm sure they were, but it looked like he was sitting by. It looked like he was just chilling, and Luke was like, right over here,
Yep. They must not give road players great tickets.
In the bleachers?
Because it was in the left field bleachers.
And he looked like he just got done playing golf, had a nice little blue-collar shirt on,
He
some
popped in,
khakis.
this is my nephew's game.
Yeah, let's stop by the park real quick.
Can you imagine being with someone, he's like, we're going to stop by my nephew's game, and you're like, yeah, no problem. You go there, it's a Major League Baseball player. Like, what, this is your nephew?
Who's your nephew?
Pretty good.
Yeah, wow, it's like really awesome. That's
Then he
crazy.
made a catch in front of Uncle, too.
I know.
And he got ejected.
It's just, what a
What a
day.
night.
What a day for Luke Raley. Next up on the Joel Klatt Show, Texas head coach Steve Sarkisian said that NIL deals should not be a college recruit's top priority when choosing a school.
If you lead with NIL to get a young man to come to your school,
Then that's why he came there.
then a year from now, what's he going to ask about first? NIL. And so our kind of perspective on this and our approach to this is we've got an amazing product here. The history and tradition of Texas football is second to none. The education, the quality of education at UT is incredible. The coaching staff we have, the development of our players, the trajectory of what we've done from year 1 to year 2 to year 3 of our program, the city of Austin, all these things that we're talking about, that's why I want you to come to the University of Texas.
What do you think?
Sounds good. It sounds good. One, if you are a prospect and you are considering Texas, that means you're probably also considering Michigan, Ohio State, like some of the major football programs. You've already narrowed it down to about 5 or 6 big dogs. If you're talking in Texas, there's a couple things you should be worried about. What if you're an offensive guy, receiver, what type of offense they're running, and what how many upperclassmen do you have in front of me? But all that stuff has already been sorted out. They don't have to ask a coach that once they get there. It does come down to NIL. It really does. It is a business now. I get it sounds good. Texas football, second to none. The education. They're not there for the education.
Mm-hmm.
They're there to play football and hopefully change their families' lives. And at 18 years old now, some of these young men and women have the opportunity to change their families' lives. So they should be asking about NIL. I understand what they're saying. It's morally, it sounds good. But if you're talking to Texas, you're talking to other major D1 schools that have the same prestige that you have. What's going to separate you?
Mm-hmm.
Money, playing time. It's a business. The sooner they get over that, the easier this process is going to be. And they're acting like they're holier than thou. Oh, yeah, you're going to tell that young man what you're going to offer him. What are you going to say? Let's not talk about money. Let's talk about you catching footballs from Ewers next year and doing all this. No, man, you know what it is. It's a business. I get you. I'm old school. I'm have to get used to this NIL era, but it is what it is, man.
I'm just why even make it seem like that wouldn't be fair incentive? Like Sarkisian, did you not take this job at Texas and keep the job at Texas because they offered you a new deal when Bama was trying to get you?
Mm-hmm.
When they swooped in with another offer and an extension offering you even more money, is that not a reason you stayed at Texas over going to Alabama?
Mm-hmm.
Now, I'm sure that you looked at the shadow cast by Nick Saban, just like Dan Lanning did, and went, I'd love to stay here. But if Oregon hadn't paid him, if Texas hadn't paid you, both of you guys would be on the move too.
Yep.
So if it matters to head coaches what you get paid, if it matters to me, to anyone listening, what your salary is at a certain place, you know what I mean? Then why would it not matter to a student who's signing up for what is essentially a transactional relationship?
Because they should be grateful for the opportunity. No, you should be grateful for the opportunity that he's considering your university because he's got options out there.
Yeah, exactly.
So what are you going to do to sweeten the deal? As bad as it sounds, as non-traditional as it sounds, this is just the way it is.
It would be one thing if he came out and said what you said initially, where it's like, look, if you are someone who's probably not going to go pro, then take the most money you can possibly get, and ideally in an area you like or a state that you like, whatever. If you're someone that has a lot of options, so you're getting an NIL deal no matter what, choose a place that's going to put you on the best stage and set you up for the best resume for the pros. You know what I mean? Like, choose a place that flatters your skill set. Maybe you're going to be wide receiver 1 there as opposed to 2 somewhere else. It'd be one thing if he said it that way. Instead, it was, think about the education. Like, Bump, how many times did you feel like you needed to prioritize a game or a practice over some class that you wanted to take or homework that you had to finish?
Football took priority over everything.
Exactly.
Everything. Now, I had to make sure I was eligible, but football took priority over
That's
everything.
why when people say stuff like, I had a partial scholarship and I didn't have to focus on anything else. I was grateful for that because it gave me an opportunity to pursue exactly the degree that I wanted. You can't equate the scholarship that someone gets that's an academic scholarship with the scholarship an athlete gets, because that scholarship is not really intended for him to become a doctor.
No.
He can if he wants. Absolutely. Please do. It's intended for him to play there.
Yeah.
This is what we're using in lieu of money.
Giving this to win ball games.
Yeah, so you can't say like, well, he got a scholarship. No, he got a form of payment to be on the football team. It's not really a scholarship to pursue exactly the career path that will make him a lawyer, a doctor, a whatever. Like, that's so hard to do when you've got, how many hours do you think you dedicated a week to football?
It was,
I mean, it was like
I'm working overtime.
Exactly. So I've never understood that argument. Let's see. I'm going to try to breeze through these last two. Florida freshman basketball player Oliver Rue is listed at 7'9".
He's not real.
If accurate, that man is not real. If accurate, it would make him the tallest college basketball player ever. 7'9".
How? Like, your ancestors 1,000 years ago were walking through the village as 7-footers when everyone else is like 5'5"?
7'9".
Goodness gracious.
He should have one of those diseases where he just like grows and grows and grows.
Whatever it is.
Gigantism, I believe is what
it's working.
I mean, maybe. I would believe that. Like some kind of pituitary gland thing over like, yeah, he just, you know, his mom's 7'1".
His dad's 7'6".
I want to know how tall your parents are if you're 7'9".
It's a great question. They're both over 6 foot.
What do you think it was like back in the day? So the reason that I love walking into really old houses is everything's smaller.
Small as heck.
I'm a very short person, and I feel normal sized when I'm in old
Is that how you
tiny
felt
places.
in Boston?
Yeah, it's like, wow, look how
Especially
small
at
these
Fenway
door frames
Park.
are. Yeah, I always wonder, like, what were people who were like, if you were 6'4" in 1920, what was that like? You were probably a giant. You were considered the town giant, without a doubt. Like, I bet Abe Lincoln was like 6'2". And they were like, wow, good old Abe. Tallest man alive.
Tall as that mountain over there.
Yeah, exactly. 7'9". That man is not real. Coming up next, one NFL expert believes the Seahawks can really, really surprise a lot of people this year. Don't go anywhere.
Seattle Sports, your home for Wyman and Bob.
We get things started on the right foot here with a conversation with the best in the business, Mike Blowers.
And they have one of the better farm systems in the league. Do you look at those guys as, okay, they're there to be traded?
The way I look at it is those guys are there to help the big league club. Maybe it's by coming up and playing. We just talked about Locklear. Maybe it's by a trade that gets you what you really need. We have to look at positions and see how many guys you have at a certain position, and does it make sense for you to trade one of them for a bat or a pitcher or somebody in the bullpen?
On Seattle Sports and 97.3 FM HD2.
June is Men's Health Month, and Swedish Cyberknife wants to make a positive difference in the life of someone listening right now. After skin cancers, prostate cancer is the most commonly diagnosed cancer among men. 1 in 8 men will be diagnosed with prostate cancer during their lifetime. Right now, it is estimated that more than 3 million U.S. men are living with prostate cancer. As men increase in age, their risk of developing prostate cancer increases. About 6 in 10 cases are found in men over the age of 65. Men with relatives, fathers, brothers, sons with a history of prostate cancer may be twice as likely to develop the disease. Prostate cancer can be silent. It's important to get checked, even if you have no symptoms. If you or someone you know is diagnosed with prostate cancer, consider treatment at Swedish Cyberknife right here in Seattle. It's one of the shortest, requiring only 5 treatment sessions. Swedish Cyberknife physicians publish a 97% effective rate. Go to swedish.org/cyberknifeprostate.
A slow network is no network for business. That's why more choose Comcast Business. And now we're introducing Ultimate Speed for Business, our fastest plans yet. We're up to 12 times faster than Verizon, AT&T, and T-Mobile. And existing customers could even get up to triple the speeds at no additional cost. All from the company with 99.9% network reliability and advanced cybersecurity. It's ultimate speed from Comcast Business, powering possibilities.
Don't miss out on our fastest speed plans yet. Get started with internet and security for $49.99 a month for 12 months with a 2-year contract. Plus, ask how to get up to an $800 prepaid card with a qualifying internet package. Don't wait. Call 1-800-501-6000 or go to ComcastBusiness.com to switch today. In 6/23/24, restrictions apply. New customers only with 150 megabits per second internet and security edge. Eco bill and auto pay required. Equipment, taxes, and fees extra. Compares Comcast Business 1.25 gig to 100 megabits per second of Verizon 5G Business, AT&T Wireless Broadband, and T-Mobile for Business. Up to 3 times download for existing Essential and Standard internet customers.
Hey, it's Mike Salk here, and if you're getting ready for a fun night out, you know Snoqualmie Casino is just the place to go and have a good time. They got Adam Carolla coming up Saturday, July 13th. You know Adam Carolla, comedian, actor, radio personality, television host, author, currently hosts the Adam Carolla Show, the Guinness Book of World Records for most downloaded podcast. And beforehand, go to Falls Buffet, back open, serving all your favorites. It is Seattle's closest casino, only 30 minutes from downtown, and online at snocasino.com. Seattle's closest, Snoqualmie Casino.
Lexus is electrified, and the first ever RZ450E has the performance and range to get you where you need to go with the exclusive Lexus Direct 4 all-wheel drive technology. Lexus of Bellevue has over 50 RZs available for immediate delivery with electrifying savings up to $17,000 lease cash on every RZ450E. Visit lexusofbellevue.com.
On approval of credit through LFS, lease cash from Lexus available on select 2024 RZ styles. Must take delivery by July 1st, 2024. A documentary service fee up to $200 may be added to the purchase price or capitalized costs. See dealership for details. Bonneville International radio station contests are open to participants 18 years of age or older that are residents of Washington State unless otherwise specified. Employees or agents of the station, Bonneville International Corporation, other area radio stations, or any entity associated with the contests are not eligible to win unless the station otherwise specifies at its own discretion. Persons who have won in the last 60 days from a station contest or event may not be eligible. Full general contest rules are available on seattlesports.com or in person at the station during regular business hours.
We are Seattle Sports, the home of the Seahawks, Mariners, and everything Seattle sports.
Watch your favorite show live at seattlesports.com.
1-877 Cards for Kids. KARS Cards for Kids. 1-877 Cards for Kids. Donate your card today.
1-877 Cars for Kids.
KARS Cars for Kids. 1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Donate your car today at carsforkids.org. That's cars with a K. Your car, running or not, can be picked up as soon as the next day. You'll get a maximum tax deduction and a vacation voucher.
1-877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Now accepting donations of land, homes, buildings, or any kind of real estate.
Oh, how nice is it to have these long days back? Mike Salk here, and it really does make waking up for this show at 4 a.m. a whole lot easier when it's already a little bit light outside. And then after work, maybe even sneak in 18 holes all before that late sunset. Well, you know who else loves these long days? Riverside Roofing and all their customers. Long sunny days, that means they can turn around jobs more quickly. Have a roof project that you've been kicking around? Call Riverside Roofing and get on their schedule now. They're cranking out jobs all over Western Washington. I've heard from customers texting into the show who've trusted them, and I myself have been such a pleased, proud customer. The sooner you decide, the sooner you can have this project done, and additionally, you can handpick the best roofing company on the market. For me, that's Riverside Roofing. Go to riversideroofingllc.com right now and get a quick quote on your project. It won't even take 60 seconds. It's Riverside Roofing, family-owned and Master Elite GAF certified. Riverside Roofing, the roofing company you can trust.
You're listening to Bumpin' Stacy.
Weekdays 10 to 2
on Seattle Sports and 97.3 FM HD2.
One NFL Network analyst is bullish on the Seahawks this year and explained why when he joined Mike Lefko and Brock Heward this morning. NFL Network analyst Brian Baldinger had plenty of great things to say about the Seahawks, so let's take a listen first. Why he's pretty bullish on this Seahawks team.
We're all going to be watching the same thing this year up there in Seattle. I'm pretty high and bullish on the Seahawks right now.
You know what? So am I, man. Bucky Brooks said a month ago that he feels like this defense has more talent than Baltimore's defense a year ago, and we know what Mike did with it. I mean, can you co-sign that, or is that a little bit of a reach?
Those, Geno Stone and, Williams, I mean, those guys, Marcus Williams, they're Marlon Humphrey, they're pretty established players. I know that Julian Love had a great season last year, but we're looking at a lot of new safeties and some young kids back there. I'm not ready to do that just yet.
Bump, you had quite the reaction to that line.
Whenever my kids say or do something that's a bit crazy, I go, whoa, relax.
Just so you guys know, that's what he did.
Relax. I love Mike McDonald. This defense, I think, they're not going to be the worst defense in the league. They're not going to be worse against the run. But to say that this defense is more talented than last year's Baltimore's defense, what are we doing here, folks? Roquan was there, wasn't he? Queen
Kyle
was
Hamilton.
there. Madubuike was there. Yeah. Hamilton was there. Humphrey was there. Listen, I think the corner spots are on point. Devin's going to be dope. Reek is going to be good. Listen to me. Reek is going to be fine. Julian's going to be at the safety spots. We'll see what the linebackers look like. But that one, I had to take a little step back from the mic and be like, simmer down now.
I mean, it is a little crazy. He talked about he thinks the Seahawks D-line should be better.
They traded for Big Cat Williams last year, and he's a good football player. He's very talented. He plays the run very, very well. He's a good fit. Jerron Reed has always been a good player. They bring in Byron Murphy, their first-round pick. You can argue him or Johnny Newton was the best defensive tackle in this draft. Byron Murphy is just healthier coming out of Texas. They get Big Hank coming in from Cowboys. I mean, I think they beefed up the middle of that defensive front right now. And that's kind of where any run game starts, is it starts up front, especially at that, 3 technique and your nose tackle. And so it looks like they're a little bit better there than they were at any point last year. I feel like they should get better just by the personnel that they have up front right now.
Now, I don't disagree with that line.
Yeah.
I do disagree. You're right that Seahawks don't just have suddenly more talent than Baltimore did last year. I don't think that's true. However, I do agree that the defensive line for Seattle has more talent now than it did last season. And in addition to that, not only should it be better, it needs to be. You have so much more money. You have money invested in a number 16 pick.
Yeah, that I agree with 100%. Leonard Williams was key. Picking him up last year was key. Jay Reed is going to be nice. I think Cam Young is going to continue to get better. You got Byron Murphy. I mean, you look at the big boys in the middle of this thing, it should be nice. I'm excited for that. And then you combine that with the talent on the outside. Boye Mafe, I feel like is going to take another step forward. Uchenna Nwosu with a full year is going to help this defense out. Darrell Taylor is freakishly athletic. Once he puts it all together, there's an opportunity there. This defense will be better than last year, mainly because of the big boys up front. My only concern right now is we haven't seen Jerome Baker. We haven't seen Dotson yet. What are they going to look like? I'm happy John Radigan and Drake Thomas and Tyrese Knight have been getting these reps. I still want to see what the inside backers look like.
Brian Baldinger also talked about what it is Mike Macdonald does so well defensively as a coordinator. Obviously now he's a head coach, but he'll be the play caller for Seattle.
The quarterback is always looking, to get a pre-snap read on where the defense is going to be. They look at the safeties. Where are the safeties? Where's the rotation? Is it a zone? Is it man? I mean, the safeties kind of give a lot of things away, but not in Mike's defense. The quarterbacks generally won't know what you're doing until the ball snaps. And they have all the defenses, they can blitz and they can play man. They can do all those things, but you won't know until the ball snaps. Every route combination, I mean, you study these route combinations, 3x1, 2x2. And, they generally do a couple different things. And in this matchup zone, they sit on top of these route combinations, and the quarterback is sitting there, and they're like, that guy's in a great position to make this play. Let me go to my next read. And next thing you know, the rush is on them. And that's why the Ravens led the league in pass rush and sacks last year. The quarterbacks were forced to hold the ball. And it's a defense, I believe, that is going to kind of transcend what teams are doing in this league right now. I think a lot of teams are going to look at what Mike did last year and try to copy it.
Okay, so, hey, he had this matchup zone defense that made it tricky on quarterbacks.
Yeah.
How?
And the safeties, I mean, that's the first thing you look at. As a receiver, I find the safeties are too high a look. That eliminates. It could be cover 2, cover 4. Then I look at the corners and their technique. All right, maybe he's outside shade, might be cover 2. That's a thought process of a receiver. Now, as a quarterback, once he gets into the drop, match zone means look, this is a zone until it's not. Until I get threatened by this certain route combination, I'm sitting my butt right here. And as soon as my guy gets into my zone and runs his vertical route, bam, now I'm on him. I'm going to match up. But I know if I'm a safety over the number 2 receiver and he runs vertical, at some point, that's going to become my man. But until then, I'm looking at the number 1 receiver to see if I can jump this slant if he goes underneath. There's a patience and a route recognition that you need from your safeties, your corners, and your curl to flat, hook to curl type players. That's what makes it difficult for quarterbacks when it comes to making decisions to when and where to throw the football. And I love that. This, if executed correctly, it's going to make it hard on quarterbacks to be confident in their throws. Plays will be made. These are professionals. But, yes, I love that Mike's bringing that defense over here to Seattle.
All right. Last one. We'll be really quick with it. He's eager to see what Grubb can do with this offense.
I'm really anxious because I've always thought this, Brock, I know you're out there doing college games every week and you're around the NFL game every Sunday, but I always thought that the new concepts in football came out of the college game and they just keep coming. And so, I know you've gone back and watched the semifinal game of Washington against Texas. They don't win that game without Ryan Grubb.
No, he's right. He does go on to talk about it a bit more, and we'll get back to that a bit later. But there's this kind of split theory of, God, it's going to be so hard for Grubb to transition from college to the pros, and yet the pros borrow so much from college, and Grubb was so good there.
Yeah, the college is JV. When I was head coach and offensive coordinator at high school, man, they would try some things on JV that I wouldn't even think about doing on Fridays because of the talent, right? It's just a bit more even. But yeah, you know what? I'm just glad that the NFL is realizing that because the NFL walked around for a while like, oh, man, it wouldn't work in our game. Mm-hmm. Why? It's the same players that are making that move up to your game.
Right.
All right, you can't get too wild with the concepts, but that's where you test it out. That's why I'm excited. Another reason why I'm excited for Grubb. That's why when Lincoln Riley finally makes a jump, which I think he's going to do, I want to see what he brings to an NFL game. Yeah, you try it out in college. College players make it to the NFL, go ahead and run it.
Sometimes a version of the truth or even a lie becomes bigger than reality. So maybe we should take a closer look at the things we believe to be true about sports and find out whether or not they really are. That's next.
Get the national perspective on the Mariners.
Swing and a miss and a slider, strike three.
With Jeff Passan, Tuesday mornings at 8:30.
I don't think that it is unrealistic to believe that they have the talent and the ability to win a championship with this team.
And John Morosi, Thursdays at 5 p.m.
Their DNA remains intact. This is a rotation-dependent team.
We are Seattle Sports, the home of the Mariners.
Matt Coker here with West Coast Men's Health. In the past 5 years, we've seen thousands of men at our clinics. Most guys tell us the same story, that in their early 50s, it's not that they couldn't function, they just needed help. They started taking Viagra, and it worked great at first. But after a few years, it stopped working. The problem is that their arteries had become more restricted since they started taking it, because Viagra does not unclog arteries. Here at West Coast Men's Health, we use acoustic wave therapy to target the real problem. We break down plaque and clear up the arteries so blood can flow like it did in your 20s. This restores function. And guys, listen to this. You won't have to take a pill anymore. So if this sounds like you, give West Coast Men's Health a call today and see how we can help.
With clinics in Redmond and Tacoma, call 206-519-6541. That's 206-519-6541. 206-519-6541. Online at westcoastmenshealth.com.
On Saturday, July 6th, Jackson Smith and Jigba will host the Seattle All-Star Softball Classic, presented by Wade's Lifestyle at Cheedy Stadium, featuring your favorite athletes and celebrities. Tickets start at just $25. Go to SeattleAllStarClassic.com.
Looking for a new ride? Visit HarnessAutoFamily.com for the hometown hookup on new Subarus, Chevrolets, Buick, GMCs, Kias, and Volkswagens, plus over 300 used cars and trucks. Tell them Brock sent you. HarnessAutoFamily.com. People matter.
Hey everybody, Bob Stelton here. I recently met with Anthony, the owner of Asset Roofing, to talk about a metal roof which can last twice as long as ordinary shingles. Asset Roofing is seeing a huge push in the market for metal roofing. They create each metal roof at their headquarters, custom to each job, and that allows them to offer metal roofs with up to a 30% discount over their competitors. Check them out at AssetRoofingCo.com.
Certified work that's never in doubt. Asset Roofing, excellence is on the house.
Hey everyone, it's Ted from Consumer Cellular, the guy in the orange sweater, and this is your wake-up call. If you're paying too much for wireless service, you don't have to keep having that nightmare. Consumer Cellular has the same fast, reliable coverage as the leading carriers for up to half the cost. So why keep spending more than you have to? Seriously, wake up and call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit consumercellular.com.
Savings based on cost of Consumer Cellular single line 1, 5, and 10 gig data plans with unlimited talk and text compared to lowest cost single line postpaid unlimited talk, text, and data plans offered by T-Mobile and Verizon January 2024.
Attention talcum powder users. Have you had ovarian or gynecological cancer? A proposed $8 billion plan will pay those who believe they got sick from using talc products like Johnson's baby powder and shower to shower. Johnson & Johnson maintains its products are safe. You have until July 26, 2024 to vote to accept or reject the plan. For more information, visit officialtalclaims.com or call 888-431-4056. Paid for by LLT Management, LLC.
Everyone wants to get the best deal they can when they buy a car. But what about when you want to sell your car? Of course, you want to get the most money possible, but how do you get the most you can without trying to sell it yourself? Well, that's where my friends at Wayscar Ford in Auburn step in. Not only will they buy your car today, but that's just the beginning. Once they resell your old car, they send you another check for 50% of the profit of the sale of your old car. They've already given back over $600,000 to their customers. Mark, GM of Wayscar Ford, joins me, and it's such a great offer. But to clear up any confusion, is this like a consignment, and how can you offer this?
It's not a consignment, Stacy. A consignment, the dealer that's trying to sell your car hasn't paid you yet. We pay you right up front. No more insurance, no more maintenance. All that's gone. After that's done, we pay half the profit. It's that simple. There's no magic to this. All the money we're saving by not buying at auctions, the shipping fees and the travel, we're giving it back to you. That's how it works.
So get the most money possible at Wayscar Ford Isuzu in Auburn and let them do the work.
Hey, it's Shannon O'Kelly from IRG. And Wednesday, June 26th, we're hosting a free live webinar to talk all about stem cell therapy with Dr. Mark Wagner, MD.
I'm really looking forward to this live webinar to educate on how using your own stem cells
cells can be an extremely successful method to help regenerate native tissue in rotator cuffs, meniscus tears, and reduce pain in osteoarthritic joints.
Which joints have you seen good success with?
Shoulders, elbows, hips, knees, even wrists and ankles. And in this live webinar, we'll tell you all about the procedure, how simple and safe it is using your own stem cells, and how we determine if you're a candidate.
Dr. Wagner has performed over 20,000 stem cell procedures. Are you in pain? Join us Wednesday, June 26th at 6 p.m. and learn all about stem cell therapy with Dr. Mark Wagner, MD. Register for our free live webinar at irgpt.com/events. irgpt.com/events.
Let's go! This is Seattle Sports.
Streaming through the Seattle Sports app.
KIRO AM Seattle. KIRO FM HD2 Tacoma. Home of the Seahawks, Mariners, and everything Seattle sports. Seattle Sports Snapshot.
Baseball legend and Hall of Famer Willie Mays died yesterday afternoon at 93. His son, Michael, released a statement that read, "My father's passed away peacefully and among loved ones. I want to thank you all from the bottom of my broken heart for the unwavering love you've shown him over the years. You've been his life's blood." Let's go to the WNBA, where we just had some breaking news earlier this afternoon. It's a bummer injury update. The Sparks have announced rookie Cameron Brink suffered a torn ACL.
Snapshot, brought to you by Miller Lite. When it's game time, it's Miller time.
This is Bump and Stacy
On Seattle Sports.
streaming through the Seattle Sports app and at seattlesports.com.
Now, here are your hosts, Michael Bumpus and Stacy Ross.
Here we go now. Sometimes a version of the truth or even a lie becomes bigger than reality. So saying something like, the Seahawks are a run-first team, became something people just genuinely believed about Seattle for the longest time, mostly people outside of Seattle. Even though Seattle was middle of the road in first down rush attempts last season, and Ken Walker's 219 attempts were great, but trailed by far Derrick Henry, Christian McCaffrey, and Rachaad White. And when you uncover the facts behind a narrative, you can see a team or an idea a little more clearly. So when you look at those numbers, you think, well, God, maybe the Hawks need to be even better with the run, and I should be talking about how to improve that this year. Or, geez, maybe the Seahawks pass more than national critics give them credit for. It lets us see something more clearly and fairly and can just become a more fun conversation. So is this line fact or narrative? Let's get to the first one. Geno Smith is a 500 quarterback.
The quarterback record thing irks me a little bit. It irks me because a quarterback doesn't win or lose games by themselves. Do they contribute the most on offense? Yeah, most likely. When you're throwing the football 35, 40 times a game, yeah. Do they contribute the most on defense? They have nothing to do with that. Do they allow teams to go on 12, 13, 14 play drives back-to-back and put up 14 points and then put you in the hole? No. But when you look at Geno on paper, his win and loss, yes, he's a 500 quarterback. But is he a 500 quarterback because he dealt with the 26th overall defense in 2022 and the 30th overall defense in 2023? You can't say this is who Geno is and say this is all his fault. He doesn't call the plays. He doesn't play defense. He doesn't play special teams. I would say instead of looking at a quarterback's record, which unless you're going into the Hall of Fame, I think when it's all good, you look at it. When it's nothing but when it's all bad, I think you got to look at other factors, right? Even if that doesn't make sense to you, in my mind, it makes complete sense. Mm-hmm. I think you got to look at his individual performance and what he has to work with. Geno's individual performance over the last couple of seasons makes him a slightly above average quarterback. 500 is average. So, no, I don't think he's a 500 quarterback. He might be like a 600. Mm-hmm. You know, he might be a 5.55. He might be a 6.50. But he's not an average quarterback. And I don't think the book is written about Geno yet. I still think he can grow. I'm still excited to see what advances he makes in his game. But I think that people simplify the position and the record and say those go hand in hand, when I think that's absolutely false. I think that to have a successful football team, the coaching staff got to be on point. You got to have weapons on offense. You got to protect the quarterback. You got to play good enough defense to keep you in the game. And then in the big moments, that's where I determine who the greats are and who aren't the greats. Is in those moments when it's time to win, can your quarterback do that? Last year, if we're going off of that, last year Geno had the most game-winning drives of any other quarterback, right? But he was also put in positions to where he didn't want to take a risk because he's scared he might lose the game, or he can't climb this team out of a deficit that they were in. So no, I don't think he's a 500 quarterback. 500 is average. I think he's slightly above average.
I think it's narrative because I think that the people saying Geno's a 500 quarterback aren't actually making the case, that the Seahawks are a 500 team. They're making the case that Geno's mediocre.
Yeah.
And I think that there are other stats that you can use when you want to talk about a quarterback's potential or what he can do. So, for instance, I think Justin Herbert is very talented. Justin Herbert's a 500 quarterback.
Get him.
He's 30-32.
Mm-hmm.
Justin Herbert is 30-32 in his career. If I said Justin Herbert's a 500 quarterback, you would laugh in my face. You'd be like, have you seen this guy's arm talent?
Mm-hmm.
Have you seen this guy's potential? And this guy's been doing it with one of the oldest wide receiver groups in football. Think of what he could do now when he's got these new guys coming into LA and he's got a brand new head coach.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like, I think the Chargers are one of the teams that people are most excited to see what they can look like in 2024. So when I use that stat to talk about another quarterback, you realize how silly it sounds. Now, if you wanted to say Geno Smith isn't as good as Justin Herbert, fine. There are other stats you can point to when comparing quarterbacks that I think is so much more effective than pointing to win-loss records.
Yes.
So if you want to look at Geno's, time to release the football, if you want to look at Geno, and his third down numbers, even though there are plenty of other factors there.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to look at Geno in game-winning drives, or if you want to look at Geno in completion percentage, or if you want to look at Geno in high-pressure moments, like there are other things you can look at that will help you compare quarterbacks in a way that's so much more effective. So I'm calling cap, and I'm saying that I'm saying it's narrative because no one that says Geno's 500 is saying anything about the Seahawks.
People who are enthusiasts for other sports, right? Certain sports. You got your guys who love baseball, who love hockey, who love basketball, who love soccer and football. And everyone, I've heard experts in every sport say, oh, it's such a team sport, right? Let me tell you something. In basketball, you can score points, you can defend. In baseball, you can be good in the box, be good defensively. Hockey, you be good with the puck, you be good on defense. Football is the only sport where when you're done, you're done. You're sitting and you're relying on 22 or 11 other guys to do a job in hopes that they give you an opportunity to do your job. So the fact that football is the complete team sport, I don't want to hear anyone else say that because you can't play offense, defense, and specials. Back in the day they did, but that was a different time. Because there are so many phases in this game, I hate when people just put it all on the quarterback.
Yep.
Boom. Now, like you mentioned, there are spots where you can put on the quarterback. Game-winning drives, 2-minute drill, 4-minute drill, third downs, execute on third downs. Yes, I feel that, but nah, man, don't put it all on the QB. But the QB can put you over the top if everything else is on point.
Exactly. And so when you want to look at like an overall stat, I'm saying quarterback wins are a stat because I think that when you play long enough and you're impactful enough like Tom Brady, that's reflected in your overall numbers. Of course, Tom Brady is going to be reflected as, one of the winningest quarterbacks because he played for a really long time and was on really, really good teams. I see wins as a team stat. And I know that quarterbacks have an outsized impact on that.
Yep.
But it doesn't mean that there aren't decent to solid to great quarterbacks on bad teams. That's exactly where Justin Herbert's been. I think people would argue it's where Trevor Lawrence has been. Like, there have been quarterbacks that are better than their team.
Yeah.
And maybe they aren't great enough to change it, or maybe they're too young. Again, this isn't me saying that Geno is Justin Herbert or Trevor Lawrence. This is me saying I think that's just a narrative.
Their quarterbacks are worse than their team, too.
Yeah.
Brock Purdy ain't the best player on his team.
Trent Dilfer.
He run that thing, though.
Yeah, who actually did, I think, end up as roughly a 500 quarterback. But, like, is anyone looking at that year with the Ravens going, like, Trent Dilfer's getting all these wins? Next up, is this fact or a tired sports narrative? Right now, Caitlin Clark is getting a lot of attention because players are jealous.
Let me tell you something.
Now, this one doesn't have the numbers, so it's tricky.
Let me tell you something.
Okay.
Back in Cali when I was coming up, before the internet was popping the way it is now. You pick up a paper, you read, you pick up magazines, you read 24/7 sports, so just can go on. So you could go on the internet and check things out, right? And me personally, having the high school career I had, whenever I saw someone getting more love than me, it did something to me. Was it jealousy? Was it motivation? Was it a combination of everything? It did something to me that made me be like, why is he getting that love? You know what? I'm going to see him at this camp, and I'm going to show him what's up. So I think they are jealous in a way, but I think that it comes from a place of competition. Like, why is she getting this love? She ain't do nothing in this league yet. Well, we know why she's getting this love, because she's the greatest scorer in college basketball history. So it is a bit of jealousy, but in sports, I don't think jealousy is always bad. It can be motivating. It's, yeah, she's going to get my best shot. I'm going to rough her up a little bit. That's competition. They are jealous of her. She is getting endorsements without stepping foot on the football field. Basketball court. Remember when Matthew Stafford and them were getting all that money, $53 million guaranteed? Bettors were jealous. They're like, heck yeah, why is he getting that money? He hasn't done nothing. So I think in sports, jealousy can be a good thing. Now, once it starts getting excessive and they're throwing bows at her and doing all that, then okay, I get it. But this is just part of the territory, man. Yeah, they're jealous. They are jealous because they want the fame and the fortune that this young lady is getting and that she deserved up to this point. Now, she is in this league for 3, 4, 5, 6 years, and she's just an average player. Those endorsements will be average.
Yep.
Her salary will be average.
And she's going to be messed with less because of it.
Exactly. But up to this point, she's done everything she's supposed to do. Yeah, they're jealous, and they should be jealous, and they should be going at her in a competitive nature.
I absolutely agree with you. I think it is from a place of jealousy, and I think when that jealousy, like, we paint it as a catty thing, maybe because obviously the league is made up of women, but that kind of jealousy and pride and ego and all of those things exist across sports leagues.
Yeah.
So, of course, it's showing up here. I also think that there are interesting dynamics at play that it's okay to talk about, even if we can't always do it articulately and maybe fairly. So, Elle Duncan was on ESPN The Daily, and this is several episodes ago, but I highly recommend. It's a great podcast for a daily listen, and then also it's a really interesting interview with Elle. And Elle said, we're all trying to make it seem like, oh, no, this isn't about race. It's not about race. Of course race is a factor here.
It is.
You have a league largely made up of black women when historically, a lot of endorsement deals have, gone to the white athletes in it. Or, you have a woman coming in here where people are getting a ton of praise. And the question is like, well, why didn't, all these other athletes that came before Caitlyn get that much attention? Like, of course race is a dynamic at play here. It's complicated to talk about, and you kind of start going like, well, is that fair to Caitlyn? It's not her fault.
Yeah.
It's not her fault. She's this white girl that's a great shooter. But there is a dynamic here at play about fairness, unfairness, who gets the spotlight, who gets attention, and who doesn't.
Yeah.
And this feeling of like, what did you do to earn it?
Yeah.
And on the flip side, there's this feeling that me and you and many fans have had where it's like, the WNBA should lean into the fame that this girl has.
Yeah. It's deep in the basketball. It's our country's history that seeps into this situation. I'm go out and say it, black women are the most underappreciated beings walking our country right now. They get no love. Their medical treatment is different. It just is what it is. And if you're uncomfortable with me saying it, then so be it.
There are statistics to back it up.
That's just what it is, right? So our daily lives creep into everything. It's hard to just separate everything. So it'd be dumb to ignore it. And we got to talk about it. But that doesn't mean Caitlyn does not deserve all the love that she's getting.
And that doesn't make anything, exactly. It doesn't mean Caitlyn doesn't deserve the love. And it doesn't make, like, elbowing Caitlyn Clark, like, fair. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, tell her. It's an unfortunate reality that's hard to digest and hard to figure out how to deal with it. But it doesn't mean that there isn't real jealousy and real stuff.
They jealous for sure.
Yeah.
Someone says that Breonna Stewart and Sue Bird received the amount of flack. No. You know why? Because it's 2024 and we got phones and it's popping. It's different. Like, just like we can't ignore our country's history, we can't ignore, like, the world we live in right now. I just talked about the Boston Celtics winning a championship and nobody's celebrating like they should because everyone's on their phone. The same reason why they're not celebrating is the same why Breonna Stewart and Sue Bird didn't get the love that they probably deserve, is because the access to them wasn't the same as it is for Caitlyn Clark.
They were not as famous as Caitlyn Clark when they entered the league.
They weren't.
And this is after winning national titles.
Yeah.
Like, Caitlyn Clark's
Dominating.
fame. Exactly. Caitlyn Clark's fame is next level. Let's see if we can put in a couple more here. let's see. You want to go baseball or football?
We did football already, right? Let's go baseball.
Okay. Is this fact or a tired narrative? The Mariners don't spend.
I like this one. The reason why I like this one is because they do spend, just not in the way we want them to spend. They aren't the Oakland A's, who are at the bottom of the same, the Pirates, the Guardians, who are still balling, the Marlins, Tampa Bay, Detroit, Cincinnati, Milwaukee, Baltimore, Kansas City, Washington, Minnesota. There are teams that don't spend, and I'm sure their fan bases have something to say about that too. The Mariners will spend. They just don't spend the way that we want them to spend. They don't go out and buy the expensive pair of shoes. They said, I'm going to buy 2 pairs of shoes for the price of 1. That's how they spend. So they just don't spend the way we want them to. So they do spend, but their budget is a bit different.
Yeah, I agree. The idea that the Mariners, so I've mentioned this, and I'm sorry for being repetitive, because if you've been listening to a similar conversation last week, you heard me say this. A narrative when I was younger was the Mariners are a farm system for the Yankees.
Mm-hmm.
And the idea was once players get good, they leave, and the Mariners don't pay to keep players around. So there is a part of me that because I grew up with that narrative and in many ways like truth about the Mariners, I just believe it to be true. Like, I look at this team and I think they won't hang on to Logan and George and Cal. They won't. Like, there's just a part of me that just believes that to be true because I've grown up here, and part of what I believed about this team when I was younger that was told to me by my friends and by other people is that kind of thing. Mariners are cheap. Mariners are farm system. Mariners or whatever. Now, the Mariners of today made a trade not that long ago where they gave up 2 of their top 5 prospects for Luis Castillo, and then they paid Luis Castillo.
Mm-hmm.
The Mariners of today, not that long ago, paid their biggest star, Julio Rodriguez, a ton of money. The Mariners of today just had an interview, John Stanton, with the Seattle Times where he said he is interested and not at all unwilling to give another big deal to one of their young pieces of talent, whether it's Cal, whether it's George, whoever. Okay. So I guess the Mariners of today are a little bit different. I mean, the Mariners of yesterday paid Robinson Cano. I think this is a team that's hesitant. I think this is a team that could stand to spend more than they do. You yesterday were like, hey, they're around 17th. This is the 12th biggest market.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they make money. There is revenue. They could stand to spend more than they do. I think that is less about being super cheap and a little more about not being willing to take risks.
They're running it like a household, right? You have money coming in. Just because you got some extra money, my wife and I aren't going to sit there and trick off the extra money we got coming in. But like, you know what? Let's put this aside. We might need this for later. They're running it that way instead of running in the way that you and I and a lot of people want them to run it, as in let's do everything we can to get the best of the best and go for a championship. They're hesitant to spend that way. We can't sit and say they don't spend. We want the spending to match the revenue in the market. I think if it matched up that way, then people wouldn't be having the conversations they're having.
Okay. Do you want to stick with this or do rewrites?
It's up to you. Rewrites is yours.
Let's do one more of these, and then we'll do quick. I just think this is fun, and I do have one more. Okay, now do you want football or baseball?
All right, let's go football.
Okay. You can't pay a quarterback 20% of the cap.
Cap! That's cap. We just saw it. Pat Mahomes got her done. Is there a lot of evidence showing that that is the way to go? No, there's evidence saying that you shouldn't go that way. That's why I'm looking at these dang quarterback contracts and saying, what are you going to do? Dak Prescott is going to get $60 million a year. From the Cowboys or from someone else. He's going to get that money. What are you going to do with the rest of your roster? You got to, if you're moving like that, you got to move the way Washington State football moves. Mm-hmm. Every 4 to 5 years, you find a group of guys, some 2-star, 3-star guys, and it just works out, and boom, you got it, and you got your superstar quarterback. You got your Ryan Leaf. You got your Kessler. You got your Alex Brink. You got your Drew Bledsoe, right? If you're going to operate like that, then a lot of coaches are going to be fired here soon because it's a result-based business. You can win spending 20% of your quarterback, but numbers show it's not likely that you're going to win that way.
Yeah. I agree with you. It's cap, it's narrative, but that doesn't mean that paying 20% of the salary cap to your quarterback makes building the rest of your team easy. What it means is you got to draft well, you got to develop well, and the person, your quarterback, that you're investing in better make it worth it. It better be Patrick Mahomes can make the most of having Sky Moore, and I'm blanking on
Valdez-Scantling.
You know what I mean? Yeah,
Yeah.
Marquez. Yeah, that he better like capitalize on that. So, all right, that was fun. Let's get to a quick headline rewrites.
Headline rewrites.
We must make headlines.
The real story behind the headlines in today's news with Bump and Stacy.
Headline number one, baseball legend Willie Mays passed away yesterday at the age of 93. What's the real headline?
It's never easy losing a legend.
Simple as that. Willie Mays, 93 years old. He started playing ball in the late 40s, early 50s. He survived all the way until 2024. The changes and the things that he's seen in his life is remarkable, man. I said this the first time around. Talk to people who are old in your family. Get to know what their life was like, what the times were like back in the day from their perspective. Even if you don't agree with how they see things and their views, you're still going to learn something from them. And I'm jealous of anyone who got a chance to meet Willie Mays and talk to him. Not only was he a good person from everything that I hear, he was a hell of a baseball player, man. Over 300 batting average, over 600 home runs. Whenever you catch a football over your shoulder, whenever you catch a baseball over your shoulder, people are going to reference Willie Mays. It's like getting mossed, right? Everyone's going to say you got mossed until the end of time. Whenever you catch a football or baseball over your shoulder, they will reference Willie Mays, one of the greatest players of all time. And everything I hear says he's a great person.
Did you ever talk to someone older in your family or an older person and then get context about them that suddenly made sense and made you feel like you were wiser?
Mm-hmm. My grandpa, man. My grandpa died 3 years ago. And he wasn't a man of many words. He'd just hit you with some nuggets every now and then. And I sat down one time with him and went through his photo album and didn't even realize he had traveled the world in the Navy and experienced all these things. So I just started asking questions, man. He died. I was on my way to see him, and he passed away when I was in Oakland connecting flights, man. Wish I had one more conversation with my dude.
I remember growing up, my grandma was not like super, super warm. And not cold by any means, but just like slightly distant. And she was like a great person, you know what I mean? Like deep, like devout, but like kind of, I guess, cold. Mm-hmm. And I loved her. But I remember when I got older, learning. I knew that she had 7 kids. Obviously, I know my aunts and uncles. But then I learned that she raised all of them herself. And like came from absolutely nothing. And when she was younger, like a little girl, she slept in a bathtub because her parents were so poor. And like learning this, I was like, oh, like this isn't someone who chose to be exactly the way they are. This is someone who thought, I need to be tough so my kids can be tough and then they can grow up, you know, whatever. So I grew up in this wonderful life. And I'm thinking like, oh, my grandma doesn't like, you know, like bake cookies and give me milk all the time. And it's like, oh, she had to live a really tough life. Yep. I loved the sentiment about talking to older people in your life, talking to your grandparents or even your parents, depending on how old you are, and just maybe seeing if there's something they've never told you before that makes you see them or the world differently. Good advice. What's next?
Headline rewrites.
Headline number 2, the Edmonton Oilers have forced a Game 6 on their own home ice after beating the Panthers last night 5-3. What's the real headline?
Well, at least one final series is watchable. Luka.
Thank you, Edmonton. And
Thank you, Edmonton.
I saw a video of Luka like cursing out dudes on the sideline saying your mom is a blah, blah, blah. I'm like, come on.
Oh my God, that was wild.
Yeah, I'm like, dog, relax. But yeah, this is fun. This is for all my hockey buddies. If you ever watch hockey, don't ever say ice hockey. So to annoy my hockey buddies, I say ice hockey in front of them all the time, and they get all riled up. So thank you, Edmonton, for playing good ice hockey, because you're making this thing interesting. I want the greatest player in the game right now to get himself a cup. Got to win one more to keep that dream alive. But it's awesome, man. I've thoroughly enjoyed the back and forth over the past 3 or 4 days when it comes to the cup, man. I hope Edmonton gets it done.
All right, we'll go ahead and scrap the last one. Moving on to NFL headlines next. Coming up, are the Kansas City Chiefs on the move? Don't go anywhere.
Seattle Sports, your home for Wyman and Bob.
It's going to be problematic for the opposition in that building should it get to the playoffs. If the Mariners hang on to this and they get a home series here in the postseason, it's a big deal.
And that's why the division, that's why the division's important. You win the division, you get a home series. In a situation like that, a crowd can make all the difference in close games especially. And we know the Mariners love to play close games. So that crowd kind of forecasted towards the end of the year what could happen. That's fun to think about.
On Seattle Sports and 97.3 FM. FM HD2.
I saw her texting, coming up to a stop sign, and so I saw the accident coming, and she T-boned us.
In the blink of an eye, Crystal's life changed when she suffered a severe spinal injury.
The pain was something I had never experienced before in my neck. I got massage therapy. I saw a chiropractor. I was prescribed muscle relaxers so I could sleep. I got depressed. Nothing was relieving the pain.
Drugs, sleepless nights, and depression. Sound familiar? I'm Dr. Mark Shelley, a chiropractic physician and board-certified functional neurologist. At Sound Pain Solutions, our treatments include high-dose laser combined with spinal decompression and other comprehensive therapies to rehabilitate damaged discs. We use treatments that are non-surgical, FDA-cleared, drug and pain-free.
I was able to get off my pain medicines, and I was able to sleep through the night, and that was what I was desperate for.
To learn if you're a candidate for our treatment, call us. Sound Pain Solutions, 855-996-3536, or click soundpainsolutions.com.
A slow network is no network for business. That's why more choose Comcast Business. And now we're introducing Ultimate Speed for Business, our fastest plans yet. We're up to 12 times faster than Verizon, AT&T, and T-Mobile. And existing customers could even get up to triple the speeds at no additional cost. All from the company with 99.9% network reliability and advanced cybersecurity. It's Ultimate Speed from Comcast Business, powering possibilities.
Don't miss out on our fastest speed plans yet. Get started with internet and security for $49.99 a month for 12 months with a 2-year contract. Plus, ask how to get up to an $800 prepaid card with a qualifying internet package. Don't wait. Call 1-800-501-6000 or go to ComcastBusiness.com to switch today. In 62324, restrictions apply. New customers only with 150 megabits per second internet and security edge. Eco bill and auto pay required. Equipment, taxes, and fees extra. Compares Comcast Business 1.25 gig to 100 megabits per second of Verizon 5G Business, AT&T Wireless Broadband, and T-Mobile for Business. Up to 3 times download for existing essential and standard internet customers.
Chill or grill on a new deck this season. Get a free Makita Bluetooth radio or portable pellet grill with a qualifying PAR deck package purchase. But hurry, offer ends soon. Visit par.com for details. PAR, your total home building source. Go where the builders go.
Hey, it's Dr. Coogan with Eastside Weight Loss Clinic. Are you tired of losing weight just to see it all come back again? Summer is around the corner and you want to look and feel like yourself again, but getting back on that frustrating weight loss roller coaster is the last thing you want to do. You've heard about the new drugs but are concerned with the possible side effects, or you're taking weight loss drugs but also want to learn how to change your lifestyle for long-lasting results. At Eastside Weight Loss Clinic, we know the secret for fast and lasting weight loss using real healthy foods and lifestyle strategies. Schedule your free consultation online at eastsideweightlossclinic.com.
Yeah, one of the great things about the Eastside Weight Loss Clinic program for me was the lack of hunger. That's how I got into the problem to begin with, as I was eating too much, and I thought that would be the case as I was losing weight. No. Delicious recipes that keep you full.
Our program has successfully helped thousands of people lose up to 10 to 20% of their body weight in 60 days. You can start our program in person in Kirkland or virtually from anywhere you live. Schedule your free phone consultation today by calling 425-522-5070 or eastsideweightlossclinic.com.
Dr. Ryan Coogan, D.C. Results may vary. Enhance your range experience with Top Tracer at Jackson Park Golf Course, Jefferson Park, and Interbay in Seattle. Play virtual golf on some of the best courses in the world or compete against your friends. Save with a Top Tracer value card. Go to premiergc.com.
Listen throughout the week to the Mariners Player Spotlight.
Ever since I got here, I want to win a World Series in Seattle, and this city's starving for another winning team.
Presented by Muckleshoot Casino Resort.
It's a mystery where Old Spice finds its amazing scents like Himalayan sea salt, but I'm thrilled they have, because no other body wash exfoliates and moisturizes 24/7 like Old Spice Gentleman's Himalayan sea salt body wash. Now, if only there was a mountain range separating the Indian subcontinent from the Tibetan plateau where I could hide my Old Spice and keep my family from stealing it, my impossibly smooth skin will finally be safe.
Put your phone on D&D, that means do not disturb when you're driving. And when you're going from point A to B, I need you to stay safe, please, so always sing with me. So put your phone on D&D, that means do not disturb when you're driving. And when you're going from point A to B, I need you to stay safe, please, so always remember this beat.
Don't drive distracted. A message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, and the Ad Council.
Experience firsthand the innovative spirit and vibrant culture of Washington at the Washington Brewers Festival. 2 days of tasty food and beverages paired with great entertainment. The Washington Brewers Festival is June 22nd and 23rd at Seattle Center. Learn more and get tickets now at WashingtonBrewersGuild.org. That's WashingtonBrewersGuild.org. Use promo code Seattle Sports for 10% off. The Washington Brewers Festival. Join in for this incredible Washington tradition.
Guys, did you know your testosterone level impacts your energy, libido, sleep, weight, hair loss, mood, and even ED? And right now, Revive Men's Health Seattle will check your testosterone for free. They've helped thousands of men since 2011 feel and perform better. They're so confident they can help you, they even guarantee it. Schedule your free testosterone test, exam, and consultation today. Call 206-529-1111. That's 206-529-1111. Or visit ReviveMen'sHealth.com.
This is Bumpin' Stacy.
Weekdays 10 to 2.
On Seattle Sports and 97.3 FM HD2.
Taking a look at the NFL, we are going to start in Kansas. Not Kansas City, maybe Kansas City, Kansas. Kansas lawmakers are making a run at getting the Chiefs out of Missouri and into the neighboring state. Bipartisan legislative supermajorities okayed a measure, according to ESPN, to authorize state bonds to help finance new stadiums and practice facilities for both the Chiefs and the Royals. If you guys need background information, the owner of the Chiefs and the Royals is looking for more public money and is willing to relocate the team. Now, we were debating earlier in the Sports Pit whether or not this would be like a horrible, bad relocation or not because of the distance. So in my mind, I was thinking like, how wild to be in the middle of a dynasty and you could actually relocate. And both you, Bump, and you, Curtis, were like, well, the distance makes this a little more forgivable.
Yeah. There's someone out there saying, I thought Kansas City was already in Kansas.
1,000%.
For sure. No, it's in Missouri. But I'm looking at the map right now, and the distance it ain't too bad.
So Kansas
honestly.
City to where would it be in Kansas? I don't know. Kansas City to
Anyway,
Kansas City.
They're neighboring. They're right next to each other. The states, at least. This would be the worst thing to happen in football. If the Chiefs were to relocate, it would make sense when you think of the Kansas City Chiefs moving to Kansas. The transition, I guess, would be fine, but real ones, no. They belong in Missouri.
One is on one side of the Missouri River, the other's on the other, so it's not a huge distance between the two.
Right. I mean, and fans there in that state are already Kansas City Chiefs fans. So it's not like they're, I mean, I said it would be like the Seahawks moving to Portland, and Curtis, you said it would be like them moving to Tacoma.
Might be even less than that,
like Renton.
honestly.
Like Renton?
I'm looking at the map.
Yeah.
They don't look too far.
I guess it's just something about it's still weird to me, and maybe I stubbornly want to be mad at rich owners for wanting more public funding and kind of forcing another state to take that on. But in this case, they're so close. How many people in Kansas City are deeply upset about this?
I would assume there are some, right? We're not connected to the city and the team like that. There's some old head sitting on his lazy boy right now talking to his boys and who is extremely upset about this. So if you know anyone who lives in the area, man, text us in. Let us know how they're feeling.
Yeah, I'd be curious to know what they're thinking about
Well,
this
it
one.
stinks
It's
too
such a
because
unique
like
situation.
I think Arrowhead is one of those like top. It's one of the more historic stadiums in the NFL. Why wouldn't you want to figure out a way to renovate that first?
Someone said it's like the Niners moving to Santa Clara.
It might be closer than that, man. Santa Clara is not
That's
close.
what's wild to me. It's like any other relocation story, we'd be like, wow, this is such a bummer. Shame on these rich owners wanting more money from taxpayers. And this is like, well, God, I mean, some of these players, it might be even closer, depending on where you live. We're going to stick with the Kansas City Chiefs. I don't know how many of you guys saw this. The first version of the story is a couple days old, but the Chiefs got their Super Bowl rings, and there's a typo on them that has the Miami Dolphins listed as the wrong seed. So they're listed as the 7th seed on the ring instead of the 6th. That's the issue on the ring. It's a big typo. So more recently, the story from today is Travis Kelce was sounding off about it. He's not bothered. It will not surprise you at all. He says he doesn't give a hoot. That's not what he said. He doesn't give a hoot about that typo. He said it makes it more exclusive.
I mean, he might be right. It does make it more exclusive. You say, let me see that ring. Not the seating is correct. That's fake. That's a good way to look at it. Either way you slice it, they are the champions. The ring is still nice as heck, still worth a lot of money. It's a typo, but I guarantee you whoever designed that ring will not be designing any more rings anytime soon.
He said, what are they going to say? We screwed up about something that means nothing like this. He said, we didn't give a blank about what seed Miami is. They were the 7th. Who cares? They could have done no seeds on the side of them. I would have been fine.
But there's a reason why they did put the seeds on there, because they wanted to show how tough the road was to get there.
Yeah.
So I feel him, though. It don't mean nothing. He still got 3.
Yeah. All right, jumping to another team here. On a recent episode of Bussin' with the Boys, George Kittle shared why he decided to do a Netflix receiver docuseries.
I got a call literally 10 days before the first game of the season. They're like, hey, would you mind if we mic'd you up, put cameras around you, and followed you to your house after games? And occasionally we're in your home. I was like, that seems like a lot. And at first I was a hard no. I was like, absolutely not. I'm not going to do this. I have full faith in the football gods, and it just felt it felt weird. And but I'd never watched quarterbacks. So I went and watched it, and they did a fantastic job about showing enough, and it also gives you an inside look to the players. And what about the publicity it gave Kirk Cousins? People were like, he wasn't just some guy. Kirk is a fantastic person. My wife Claire convinced me to do it. She's like, this thing about in 10 years you can go back and watch it, you can show your kids this stuff.
So sick.
And I was like, you know what? That's his fantastic selling point.
Bump, if I was George Kittle, I would absolutely agree to do this series.
Yeah.
I'm still a little confused because I think they could also do a tight end series that he should be part of.
They are going to do a tight end series.
Why not have
Watch.
George Kittle as part of
They're
that?
going to do it. I don't know. Maybe they needed, I was going to say more personality to spice this thing up, but receivers are full of personality.
Yeah.
I don't know, but I'm glad that he's on it, and I'm glad that his wife convinced him to do it. I think that's a perfect reason to do it, too. Your kids are going to be able to watch this and see this is what my dad was like in his prime, and, I was a child here. It's like watching old videos from when you're a child. I think that's a great move. Big ups to Mrs. Kittle. Yeah, convincing him to do it.
Claire Kittle. Tom Brady doesn't want to let you down as a broadcaster.
And I also think there's still so much more room for improvement. Almost like when I was a player, I never felt like I did things the right way. There were games where I'd go in afterward and think, God, I'm the worst quarterback in the NFL. Why would they even want me to play quarterback for this team? And I'm sure I'm going to feel that way here at Fox, where I finish a game and I go, God, I didn't even give them what they wanted. And it's a very challenging thing in your own mind. I've asked a few people, how do you know that you did a good job? And I think for me, so much of this is going to come down to the preparation. And did I feel like I was prepared? Did I feel like our crew was prepared? Did I give them the best over the course of the week so that we could give ourselves the best opportunity to be successful for the fans? Because really the game is the show. We're there to add our take on it in our analysis. But it's also, did we feel like we added to the broadcast? And from my standpoint, I'm going to work as hard as I can in the process of it, as you talked about earlier, to make sure that I do deliver, because I don't want to let anyone down. I don't want to let the people at Fox down, and I certainly don't want to let the great NFL fans down either.
Bump. That Thomas is thinking this much about it tells me he's going to be just fine.
Oh, he's going to be locked in. And my advice to Tom is that I've called a bunch of games in my day. Obviously, we do the daily show here, broadcast with the Seahawks. You're never going to walk away from it saying, I batted 1,000 today. No, there's always going to be a slip there, or maybe you didn't articulate something exactly the way that you wanted to. But if people are watching and your producers and bosses are happy, I think that's how you measure it. Tom Brady's such a perfectionist that I don't think he's ever going to walk away from a broadcast saying, boom, I did exactly what I was supposed to do. But that's also what I think is going to give him an opportunity to be really good at this.
Let's talk Ravens as we round out NFL headlines here, heading to Baltimore for 2 stories. We're going to start with this one. CBS Sports' Garrett Podell believes there's more to come for Lamar Jackson. The Ravens, with a version of this story as well on their website. He predicted which quarterbacks will improve in 2024 or take a step back, and he has Lamar Jackson and most likely to improve. Lamar just won MVP, but Garrett says his 24 touchdown passes were only the 3rd most of his career. So truly believes that there's a good chance that he could take an even bigger step forward.
Yeah, he could. He did complete 67% of his passes. That's the best he's done throughout his career. The year before, he threw for 17 touchdowns. The year before that, 16. So I think he has improved over the last few years. But when you have the talent that Lamar has, and now you've added your pocket presence to this thing, you're being responsible with the football, I can see him having another season like in 2019, the last time he won the MVP. throwing for over 30 touchdowns and less than 10 interceptions and completing around 70%. It's all about becoming the complete quarterback. I think he's done a good job of getting the haters out the way, talking about he can't throw from the pocket. But, man, he's still a young man. How old is he? 27 years old. He can still improve. It's scary what Lamar Jackson can do. Now that he has Derrick Henry in the backfield, too, goodness gracious.
Next and last story here, sticking with the Ravens. We've got new alternate looks in 2024. I want you guys to imagine the Ravens uniform right now, right? You're seeing the purple jersey, the black helmet. Now imagine the helmet is purple as well. That's what this looks like.
Listen, reminds me too much of you, Dub. But they are fire. I'm not going to lie. You like these?
I don't like purple.
But do you like the uniform?
Purple is my least favorite color. And
so you don't like
that's
it?
that on that.
Man, it looks clean. I like the raven
really
on the side of the helmet. I like the gold face mask. I think it's fire.
It
He's
does
like
give
exactly
you Dub
like the
vibes.
Huskies.
If you covered up, I'm letting you guys know, if many of you are probably driving or don't have this. If you cover up the Ravens logo, it looks like a Huskies uniform, like gold numbering with white border, purple. Like Bump said, the gold face mask with the purple helmet. It looks like a Husky uniform.
Hey, that's exactly the vibe I get.
It's fire, though.
That's
I like
why
the
I don't
logo.
have Husky gear.
I like the Raven logo. I'm feeling that. Is that what it always looks like, or am I tripping?
That's an alternate logo.
Okay.
Yes. Oh, I should mention this is an alternate helmet. So this is not going to be you'll still get the black helmet with the purple stripe, but this is going to be the alternate. Now, I'll say this, while I don't like purple, I love a monochrome look.
Yeah.
Like it feels very color rushy whenever, uniforms have the same jersey, same helmet color, but I like it.
I like the matte purple look too, not the shiny glossy.
All right, Dave Wyman joining us in studio in 15 minutes talking Seahawks. You can get a few questions in if you want. Don't go anywhere.
Seattle Sports, your home for Wyman and Bob.
It's going to be problematic for the opposition in that building should it get to the playoffs. If the Mariners hang on to this and they get a home series here in the postseason, it's a big deal.
And that's why the division, that's why the division's important. You win the division, you get a home series. In a situation like that, a crowd can make all the difference in close games especially. And we know the Mariners love to play close games. So that crowd kind of forecasts it towards the end of the year, what could happen. That's fun to think about.
On Seattle Sports and 97.3 FM HD2.
From whiplash to herniated discs, there are a few car accident injuries we've all heard of. JP Pendergast with Pendergast Law explains that even the most common injuries differ from one another.
Pre-existing conditions, health history, beginning of treatment. There are hundreds of factors that make every person and every injury unique. While these variables aid medical treatment, the strongest case recoveries must also take them into account.
Could you explain a little bit more?
Our team at Pendergast Law is obsessed with turning over every stone to differentiate each case. This requires thorough investigation, diligent listening, and relentless research. We never pursue cases with a one-size-fits-all approach. We built our success by treating every injury and every case with the individualized attention our clients need and deserve.
Pendergast Law's individualized approach to even the most common injuries makes the difference in case outcomes. It's another reason why I can't recommend them enough.
If you or a loved one has been injured in a car accident, call Pendergast Law. We can help.
Hey everybody, Bob Stelton here, and I want to introduce you to something that was new to me and probably new to a lot of homeowners out there, a metal roof. Now, the first thing I thought of, is it loud when it rains? I had no idea a metal roof was even an option until my most recent meeting with Anthony, the owner of Asset Roofing. And like Anthony usually does, he carefully explained a metal roof does not make noise when it rains, and metal roofs have a lifespan of about 40 years, double the traditional roof. Metal roofs are more eco-friendly and can be made in any color to match your home. Anthony also told me he's seeing a huge push in the market for metal roofing, and Asset Roofing is meeting the demand. They create each metal roof at their headquarters, custom to each job. That allows them to offer metal roofs with up to a 30% discount over their competitors. Reach out to Asset Roofing about a metal roof for your home. AssetRoofingCo.com. Asset Roofing, excellence is on the house.
Certified work that's never in doubt. Asset Roofing, excellence is on the house.
Hey, it's Dave Wyman with Dr. Mark Wagner, MD, from Seattle Sports and Regenerative Medicine. Dr. Wagner is hosting a free stem cell webinar Wednesday, June 26th to explain stem cell therapy.
I'm really looking forward to this live webinar to educate on how using your own stem cells can be an extremely successful method to help regenerate native tissue in rotator cuffs, meniscus tears, and reduce pain in osteoarthritic joints.
And which joints have you seen good success with?
shoulders, elbows, hips, knees, even wrists and ankles. And in this live webinar, we'll tell you all about the procedure, how simple and safe it is using your own stem cells, and how we determine if you're a candidate.
Dr. Wagner has performed over 20,000 stem cell procedures. Are you in pain? Join him Wednesday, June 26th for the free stem cell webinar and learn all about this amazing procedure. Register now at drmarkwagnermd.com. That's drmarkwagnermd.com.
What do thousands of students that rely on free school lunches do during the summer? It's G. Scott here. Sunbucks is a SNAP program that provides free, healthy food when school is out. If you could use the help, simply fill out the form online to determine eligibility for $120 of free food per child. This message is presented by Safeway, where customers can use SNAP to match their produce purchases as well as shop online. Learn more at hungerfreewashington.org/summer EBT.
Subscribe to the Seattle Sports YouTube page to find new and exclusive content from your favorite shows and personalities daily. Just hit YouTube, search Seattle Sports, and click subscribe.
Matt Coker here from West Coast Men's Health. Guys, if you're taking Viagra or any other pill for ED, I want you to ask yourself this question. Do I want to continue to do this for the rest of my life? If you're like most men, the answer is no. Here at West Coast Men's Health, we can restore blood flow naturally without pumping your body full of chemicals like you've been doing. Guys, you need to come in today and fix this problem now. Why are you putting this off? Viagra's not going to magically start working next week, and you don't want to use shots or go under the knife. Call us today and speak with our clinic manager. Ask him any question you like, how it works, the science behind it, and even the cost. Change your life today like the thousands of men who already have. If you're tired of dealing with ED or Peyronie's disease, then call West Coast Men's Health.
With clinics in Redmond and Tacoma, call 206-519-6541. That's 206-519-6541. 206-519-6541. Online at westcoastmenshealth.com.
Everyone loves a road trip. Start yours at the Harnish Auto Family Road Trip Sales Event. Hey, Brock Hewitt here, and this month, the Harnish Auto Family is offering a chance to win a $500 road trip package from Sportco and Outdoor Emporium. Test drive any vehicle and enter for your chance to win, no purchase necessary. Just stop by your favorite dealership, Volkswagen of Puyallup, Subaru of Puyallup, Kia of Everett, Chevrolet Buick GMC of Puyallup, or Chevrolet of Everett, and take a test drive for your chance to win. HarnishAutoFamily.com. People matter. See dealership for details.
Your new beginning starts now. D.R. Horton has new construction homes available throughout the greater Seattle area. With spacious floor plans, flexible living spaces, and smart home technology, you can enjoy more cozy moments and sweet memories in your beautiful new home. With new home communities opening throughout the Seattle area, D.R. Horton has the ideal home for you. Visit drhorton.com to learn more. D.R. Horton, America's builder. An equal housing opportunity builder.
This is Bumpin' Stacy.
Days 10 to 2.
On Seattle Sports and 97.3 FM HD2.
I saw a lot of questions on the Mac and Jack's text line about transitioning from a college OC to the pros, so wanted to save some time to get back to that conversation. I mentioned some Brian Baldinger sound earlier, and we spent a huge chunk of that segment talking about the defense, but he does have some stuff to say about Ryan Grubb and Scott Huff making the transition from college to the pros. This is what Brian Baldinger said will be the biggest challenge and biggest change for Grubb.
You know what I think? I think a lot of guys can coach schemes, techniques, Brock, but I feel like the biggest jump is in-game adjustments. There's just some days where you just can't get to freaking, you can't get to Fred Warner. Like, how are we going to block this guy? If you don't block me, he's going to make every tackle in the run game. So you've got to figure things out game day that were different than the walkthroughs on Wednesday or the inside drills on Thursday. You got to be able to adjust game day, whether you got a full block inside or, you got to push differently up to the Mike linebacker, whatever it might be. And so I think those are some of the adjustments.
Now, Bump, I know nothing about being an offensive coordinator, but I was a bit surprised by this answer because I thought he'd say, it's the talent level. Oh, it's, the schedule or the intensity of it. But no, it's in-game, game day adjustments.
I like that. When he mentioned Fred Warner, I go, yeah, that's a guy that on paper you can beat him every single time. But in reality, he's going to make some plays to come get you. So then I started to think about, all right, who was the best defender in the Pac-12 last year, Latu. And I'm thinking, all right, cool, let's see what he did against him. So that was going to be my go-to. Like, how did you handle Latu, and especially in total that UCLA box, because that box was really good. I love that because there are going to be some times where there's nothing you can do, where you're going to have to try to confuse him. And I think that's what he's going to have to lean on when he cannot win individual battles. When your guard is not able to climb up to that linebacker and get his paws on him and control him, you got to make him take false steps. There aren't too many players in the Pac-12. You're not going every single week where you're going up against a young man that you're saying, all right, man, we really got to know where he is at all times. In the NFL, you're going to do that. The Broncos have some guys on defense you're going to have to go after. Patriots, not too familiar with their defense. I'm sure they got some guys. We know the Dolphins got some guys on defense that you have to look after. The Lions are going to be tough. So, no, I like that. I think it's he'll have more stress during an NFL game than he ever has.
Yeah.
The NFL game is going to feel like the national championship in the semifinals against Texas. You win against Byron Murphy. You know what NFL caliber is like. So, no, I really like that. I think that the constant stress of an NFL game. There were games where UW had that thing in a bag, and he's not even calling plays that he put in for that week because you don't need him. You're beating Tulsa 43-10. We don't need it. You're beating Michigan State 41-7. You don't need it. You're beating after that it was pretty tight. But
Yeah.
You're not going to have those games where you just kick your feet up and say, all right, just run it. We're fine.
Is there like a risk? I went to UW. I loved watching their season this year. The offense was one of the best offenses I've ever seen. It was so fun to watch. I was really intrigued when we heard rumors that Grubb, there were rumors floating around, in NFL circles. I forget who had the report that Grubb would be hired as the OC. And I don't know that I fully believed it because I was like, he's never been at the NFL level before ever. Like at least some of the guys that, came from college this past season had previously been with NFL squads. But then I was really excited because I thought, God, this offense was so explosive and it was so fun. And there were so many moments. I look back, the Apple Cup moment, 4th down conversion, where you think, oh, that was brilliant. What's the risk? Like, what's going to be, in your opinion, another big challenge for Grubb where you think, like, I am genuinely curious to see how a former college offensive coordinator handles this?
When your receivers just aren't 10 times better than the DBs are going up against. It's when you looked at the combination of Polk McMillan and Roma Dunze, and one of the best features I think of Michael Penix is that, one, he throws a beautiful deep ball, but he wasn't afraid to throw to his receivers when there's a defender on his hip. So I think what the challenges are going to be, can you get Geno to have that same confidence, and can your receivers win at not a rate that Rome in the game won at, but at a high enough rate that doesn't deter you from continue to push the ball down the field, because we know that's what he wants to do. The matchups are going to be crazy. The worst team in the NFL will beat up on one of the better teams in college football easily. And I think people forget that. There's only about 1,500 guys in the NFL right now. There's hundreds of thousands of college football players. So I think that's going to be an adjustment, is teaching Geno or giving Geno the confidence and the tools to want to take those risks down the field, but also knowing that you're not going to have the success rate that you had at the college level when it comes to those 50-50 throws.
It's almost like, can you have what made you special and what made your offense special in the pros when part of what made you special was the personnel you had?
Yeah.
You don't have Roma Dunze and Michael Penix on this team. And also when it's just harder to be creative. Like, we all think of like, oh, if only we could have the most creative offense on the planet. And when I think of what really good play callers do well, it's not necessarily show plays where it's like, whoa, my mind is blown. It's find smart ways to get guys in space in ways a defense isn't expecting. Like Kyle Shanahan finding different ways to use different guys.
Yeah, how can you influence a defense the same way you did at UW?
Right.
Can you make them go left when you're going right? Can you make them bite down when you're going over the top? That's how you create space, is when you have defenders make false steps and see things that aren't really there, and the flow is affecting them. But that's what I like about Grubb's offense, is that there's a lot of flow to this thing. I know Michael Penix wasn't the greatest quarterback throwing outside of the pocket, but Geno is a lot better than Penix when it comes to that. So because of that, who's to say that Grubb has things in his back pocket that he didn't show because he had a different quarterback? With Geno, I think Geno's comfortable moving outside the pocket. Geno is great when it comes to play action. So even if you got to eliminate some plays that you tried at the college level, I think that there's a chapter in that playbook that he's going to open up and say, well, I got a different type of quarterback now. I can probably roll him out a bit more and try some other things. There are going to be some challenges, man. Timeouts, when to be aggressive. They were aggressive on third and short and fourth downs in college. You might have to dial back some of that, but you don't want to lose it because that's what got you here in the first place.
I have 2 asks for you guys and 2 promises. First, the asks. If you have not downloaded the Seattle Sports app, you absolutely should. I'm not just saying this to promote it. I use it. It is very, very useful. Mariners game days, listening live, listening back to podcasts, reading news and articles, all of that stuff. So fun. Also, if you do listen to us and you do subscribe to the Bump and Stacy podcast, if you wouldn't mind leaving a review, we would really, really, really appreciate it. I'm keeping an eye on those. These are my 2 promises. Good Mariners news and a fun conversation with Dave Wyman coming your way next.
Seattle Sports, your home for Wyman and Bob.
We get things started on the right foot here with a conversation with the best in the business, Mike Blowers.
And they have one of the better farm systems in the league. Do you look at those guys as, okay, they're there to be traded?
The way I look at it is those guys are there to help the big league club. Maybe it's by coming up and playing. We just talked about Locklear. Maybe it's by a trade that gets you what you really need. We have to look at positions and see how many guys you have at a certain position, and does it make sense for you to trade one of them for a bat or a pitcher or somebody in the bullpen?
On Seattle Sports and 97.3 FM HD2.
Are you looking for a construction loan to build your dream home? Are you a local builder needing a better financing option for your next spec project? Hi, I'm Scott Rireka, CEO of Legacy Group Capital in Bellevue. Stop wasting time with local banks and credit unions and their endless guidelines. We're the experts for common sense residential construction loans. We lend our own money, we make our own decisions. And if your deal makes sense, we'll get it done fast with flexible terms. For homeowners, we advise you every step of the way with things like budget and timeline, ensuring the completion of your dream home. For builders, Legacy's not only your lender, we'll source your next deal, provide permitting services, and if you're short on equity, we'll invest alongside of you. Legacy Group Capital has lent more than $1 billion, helping over 130 local builders and hundreds of homeowners. We can help you.
Construction loans don't have to be hard. Borrow smart with a common sense construction loan from Legacy Group Capital. Visit LegacyG.com. LegacyG.com.
At State Roofing, we don't just install roofs, we build peace of mind. Hi, I'm Sam Thomason, owner of State Roofing, and we stand firmly behind our work, protecting your investment for years to come. Backed by warranties that offer you protection, reliability, and trust long after the project. Take advantage of our zero down, zero payments, and zero interest today. Call 866-ROOF-ROOF or visit stateroofing.com for a free estimate.
State Roofing, the best roof you'll ever need.
Hey, Mike Salk here. Get bonus days to save during Window Nation's semi-annual sale now through June 30th. Get 50% off all windows with no interest for 5 years and a bonus 10% savings when you schedule an estimate. Call 866-90NATION or go to windownation.com.
Summer is here. If you're dealing with a pest problem, get the relief you need and the long-term protection you deserve with Issaquah Pest Control. Look, rodents and bugs can ruin your insulation or the structure of your home or business. Before it becomes a more costly issue, call Issaquah Pest Control, the fast, kind, and professional pest control service. And if you're in the pest control business or have an interest, they're hiring, so join the team. Issaquah Pest Control, serving the entire Puget Sound. IssaquahPest.com.
Want to listen to Seattle sports on your smart speaker?
Hey, smart speaker, play Seattle sports.
This message is powered by the EQC Sportsbook at Emerald Queen Casino. Emerald Queen Casino, the entertainment capital of the Northwest.
1-877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Donate today at carsforkids.org. That's cars with a K. Your car can be picked up as soon as the next day. Receive a tax deduction and vacation voucher.
1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Now accepting donations of land, homes, buildings, or any kind of real estate.
Shop Macy's and save big with our lowest prices of the season. Like 40 to 60% off shoes, handbags, and accessories for any occasion. And bras, pajamas, and more essentials. And get your backyard ready for summer hosting with 20 to 60% off outdoor furniture you need now. Plus, download the app for even more lowest prices of the season today at Macy's. Savings off already reduced prices, exclusions apply.
For the ones who know safety isn't a catchphrase, it's a culture. And the ones who help make sure everyone makes it home safe. For the safety-minded who watch everyone's backs, Grainger offers supplies and solutions for every industry, as well as safety assessments and training to keep your facilities safe and your people safer. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Hey, it's Dave Wyman with Dr. Mark Wagner, MD from Seattle Sports and Regenerative Medicine. Dr. Wagner is hosting a free stem cell webinar Wednesday, June 26th to explain stem cell therapy.
I'm really looking forward to this live webinar to educate on how using your own stem cells can be an extremely successful method to help regenerate native tissue in rotator cuffs, meniscus tears, and reduce pain in osteoarthritic joints.
And which joints have you seen good success with?
Shoulders, elbows, hips, knees, even wrists and ankles. And in this live webinar, we'll tell you all about the procedure, how simple and safe it is using your own stem cells, and how we determine if you're a candidate.
Dr. Wagner has performed over 20,000 stem cell procedures. Are you in pain? Join him Wednesday, June 26th for the free stem cell webinar and learn all about this amazing procedure. Register now at drmarkwagnermd.com. That's drmarkwagnermd.com.
This is Seattle Sports.
Streaming through the Seattle Sports app.
KIRO AM Seattle. KIRO FM HD2 Tacoma. Home of the Seahawks, Mariners, and everything Seattle sports. Seattle Sports Snapshot.
Good news for the Mariners. Brian Wu will make his scheduled start today against the Guardians. Your lineup: Crawford, Rojas, Rodriguez, Raleigh, France, Rayleigh, Haniger, your DH, Canzone, and more at second. Bad news out of the WNBA, though. A bummer injury update. The Sparks have announced rookie Cameron Brink suffered a torn ACL.
Snapshot, brought to you by Miller Lite. When it's game time, it's Miller time.
This hour is brought to you by Mazda of Everett.
This is Bump and Stacy
on Seattle Sports.
Streaming through the Seattle Sports app and at seattlesports.com.
Now, here are your hosts, Michael Bumpus and Stacy Ross.
Here we go now.
Dave Wyman joining us now on the Emerald Queen Casino Sportsbook Hotline. And Wyman, not that long ago, Bump and I were talking about physicality and violence in the NFL. And Bump wants to see a team, and I loved this line, that is known for being dirty. Like, that's what the identity of the Seahawks team was. Borderline dirty. And then here I have, courtesy of you, Wyman, a picture of you, what looks like decapitating a running back. I'm guessing you're siding with Bump on the kind of identity you want to see from Seattle.
Just when I thought I couldn't love Bumpus anymore, he comes up with that. Yeah, I got fired up listening to that. I love that. So what I sent you, it's a picture of me in the Kingdom. It was on the front page, I think, of me tackling Eric Metcalf. And Eric is, so DK's dad is Terrence, and that's his cousin. And Eric Metcalf lives here in Seattle. And he sent that picture because I was talking about it with John Schneider, and he sent that picture to Schneider, and Schneider sent it to me. And I showed that picture to DK one time because it does look like I'm taking his head off. It was an accident. I was just reaching out trying to grab anything. It was an
accident, says the vicious linebacker.
I did not. And anyway, I showed it to DK, and he's like, "That's a penalty, man." Like, what's wrong with you? But Eric Metcalf, I'll tell you what, he made me miss in a hall. It was like right in the A gap. And it was like a hallway, like maybe 4 feet wide. And maybe I should have kept my eyes open, but he juked me, man, so bad. That guy was such a good player. And I guess he was kind of Schneider's hero because Schneider was a running back, you know, when he went to college and played college football, Division II. And that was kind of his hero. So they know each other. But yeah, I mean, I think I was listening to Bump the other day, and I was like, yeah, I like that, man. I think I was thinking about, the defense, and, I think the D-line actually is a bigger question mark, because you paid Big Cat Williams a bunch of money. So is he going to live up to that? Is he going to have his best season? You got a rookie who, and I don't care where he's picked, and he's the best defensive player, we had him on our show, and that guy fills up that little room down there at the VMAC. But there's still a question mark because he's a rookie. We don't really know. And then, a guy like Jaron Reed, he actually really had a pretty good year. But and Dre Jones, he did some things I think that were very interesting. Cam Young, maybe he takes that next step. Mike Morris. So you look at that D line. That's, I think, the most important part. I know you guys want to talk about linebacker, which we can, but I still think that the D line is really where you're going to see a huge improvement, but it is a question mark. I'll say that.
Yeah, I agree, man. Nothing like the bigs. Me being a receiver, the older I get, the more I understood that if you don't have guys in the trenches setting the tone, you don't stand a chance, man. And that's why I'm a bit concerned about the offensive line, just concerned when it comes to health, right? Abe Lucas is still dealing with the knee issue. There's a battle going on at center. When you flip it around and you look at the other big boys on the offensive line, what are your thoughts and feels going forward?
Yeah, I feel pretty good, man. You mentioned Abe Lucas. That is such a bar. I thought he had such a good rookie year. He did so many things, and look, I'm not a aficionado of offensive line play, but I played against those guys, and I know what works and what doesn't. And then I talked to Ray about it a lot, and some of the things, because Ray and I coach together, so we kind of speak the same language. And he was so good his rookie year. He did so many things that were just natural for him. Just like dropping his weight in a bull rush situation. I mean, you could just see he has pretty much everything. But yeah, that's a huge question mark there. But I feel pretty good about the other side. Center is a mystery. We'll see if Olu steps up. That happens all the time. Guys come back their second year and they're much, much better. So, I'm banking on that. But if you look at Lakin Tomlinson and Charles Cross together on that left side, that is those guys work really well together. I can see that already. Now, we haven't been in pads or anything like that, and you're not really going to know until that happens. But those two look really good together. I like Lakin Tomlinson looks really good. I think he's going to have a good year. So, yeah, I mean, there's always, I think, I always kind of compare the starting offensive line kind of like a starting rotation in baseball. It's like, yeah, your 4 and your 5 are just okay. Now with the Mariners, their 4 or 5 might be their best pitcher. But, you look at most offensive lines are kind of that way. It's like you got 3 really solid guys, 4 really solid guys, and it's very rare that you have all 5 are like Pro Bowl quality. So yeah, I think they'll be okay, but I'm really excited about that left side of the line. And we talked to Ray the other day, and he said this needs to be Charles Cross's offensive line. Like, he needs to be the leader. He needs to be the guy that steps up. So yeah, I'm okay with that. But yeah, you're right. I mean, it's probably there's a couple of question marks, particularly with Abe Lucas and his health.
Hey, Dave, getting back to kind of physicality and violence in football, I know that you and Bump feel so strongly about just really wanting that to be an identity in particular of a defense. It feels like it's got to be so hard to coach that right now. Like, in today's NFL, with the way that the game is legislated and the penalties that you're going to get, is there a player or a team around the NFL that you think, like, they get about as close as you can, and I really like that?
As close as you can to getting...
To just being, like, physical, like the kind of violence, for lack of a better word, that you'd want in a player.
Yeah. Who is that person?
It's tough in today's NFL because there's not,
Well, it's tough to be a defender, right?
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, and I talked to Bobby one time about that. I'm like, how hard is it to play? And he was like, because now they have like the run pass option. I mean, that's really a hard read for linebackers. And I was like, what's the hardest thing? And he said, it's that you can't hit anybody. I mean, the whole thing, these guys, linebackers around the league, I don't think that there's one linebacker that would tell you that the hip drop thing makes sense. Mm-hmm. So it's just harder and harder for those guys to do that. So yeah, I mean, you can't have a bunch of penalties for aggression. There's gonna be enough already, right? You can't tackle anybody. You can't hit him in the head. You can't grab him from behind. I mean, there's all kinds of rules. So And I think it's just a theory, like we're going to be nasty, but you can't go out and commit a bunch of ridiculous penalties. So, but yeah, it's just more of a mindset and an attitude.
Dave, I want one penalty the very first series this defense sees week one. Just go out.
You want one roughing the passer.
I want some Bobby Boucher, water boy type, just light somebody up. Take the penalty, set the tone for the year, and let's
That's
move
the
on.
mulligan that Mike McDonald gives his defense every game. You get one.
You get one. You get one of them things.
And it can't be on third down.
Yeah.
Hey, Dave.
And in the first series, right?
Yeah, first series, and then chill, fellas. Let's get to business. I'm looking at this defense and its personnel. And who was it that said the quote about their personnel that had me up in
Brian
arms?
Baldinger.
So Baldinger
I can play
said,
it again if you want.
let's play it.
Let me get
Listen to this,
it.
Dave, and tell me what you think.
Okay, so this is what
I
Brian...
love Baldy. I see him on the road every once in a while. He's such a good dude.
I know. Well, where is this thing about being bullish? Curtis, do you have that quote about him being bullish? Oh, pretty bullish. Okay, so this is it. It's kind of long.
We're all going to be watching the same thing this year up there in Seattle. I'm pretty high and bullish on the Seahawks right now.
You know what? So am I, man. Bucky Brooks said a month ago that he feels like this defense has more talent than Baltimore's defense a year ago, and we know what Mike did with it.
Okay, so I misquoted.
Yeah, so Bucky said more talent than the Baltimore's defense a year ago. And Dave, I'll go, hold on. When my kids are tripping, I say, listen, relax, guys, okay? Relax. I think there's a lot of potential with this defense, but I wouldn't say as talented as that Baltimore Ravens defense. What do you think about that comment through Brock from Bucky?
Yeah, Bucky. I'm sorry. I was saying Baldy.
No, I told you guys the wrong name.
Yeah, so, I'm sorry. What did you want? What did you want me to say?
Bucky said he thinks the Seahawks defense has more talent than Baltimore Ravens defense from last year.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, they weren't super talented, and what happened was guys had their best years last year, like Jadeveon Clowney. I mean, he had a really good year. He had as many sacks as he's had. Madubuike had double-digit sacks on the inside, rusher. So I feel like this team is probably as talented, if not more. I mean, the other day I don't know if you guys were out there when Trey Brown had that play against DK, where he ran deep with him and knocked the ball out, and I thought he had an interception. But he's just, I mean, guys like that, they have tons of talent. They didn't have a guy like Devin Witherspoon on that defense. They really didn't. I thought the defense made them better. Now, it's not magical or anything that you just plug anybody in there, but I thought that our defense, as far as talent goes, I feel like they vastly underperformed last year. And, guys just did not have, and the only one that really played well consistently was Witherspoon. And, I don't think they had anybody like that was even close to Devin Witherspoon on that Raven defense. So, yeah, I agree. I think, but more than anything, it's the negative that those guys just totally underperformed last year. And I don't think it was their fault. I think it was because they were in a defense that they never really understood. Mm-hmm. You never really, clicked and got it. So, yeah, I think that's that's a possibility. I think that they're going to, they have more talent than Baltimore, and I think they're better players. And yeah, I'm really excited about the defense. But again, they got to step up and do it. Like I said, Byron Murphy is not just going to be great, because he's the first defensive defender picked in the draft or second. He still has to prove himself.
Was this like a complicated defense Seattle was running last year, or was it just something was clearly lost in translation?
Yeah, and I always say this about defensive coordinators. They're not insane, right? They have every gap covered, but, teams did things to them that just threw them off. And then what you saw was nobody was very sure of what they were doing. And, except for Witherspoon. I mean, he plays with a purpose, but nobody else really knew what was going on. And I think probably the worst moment, or, as far as a single game, was that Pittsburgh game at home. It was just so obvious that run defense wise, they just were terrible. And nobody really, we kept hearing from them, oh, it's just a lack of communication. We need to communicate better. I mean, how many times did you hear that? We heard that all year long. So, yeah, I don't think it was, it needs to make sense in your brain as a defender so you can just turn your brain off and go make plays. And that's kind of what I see in Baltimore, the way they played last year. They just played very free, and you could tell that. Now, look, they had a couple of games, I think it was Miami, where they gave up like 30 or 40 points. But for the most part, it looked like every guy was able to play at a really fast speed, and that means that you're not thinking too much.
Dave, what when I talk about Geno and I look at his game, I don't see him as like a 34-year-old. I see him as like maybe a 28, 29-year-old who's had 6 different offensive coordinators and still has room to grow. Do you feel like Geno is a finished product, or do you think that we've seen the best and, let's just maintain at this point?
Well, I'll tell you what, if he just maintains, I mean, he made a couple of years to the Pro Bowl. I think he needs to have a year more like, 2 years ago. And I thought that was really good. I mean, that's what you want out of your quarterback. So, yeah, I think Geno can get back to playing his best football. I'll say it that way because, in 2022, that's when he was at his best. So, yeah, I think he can if he gets up to that level. I don't know if he's going to get any better than that, but if he plays at that level, I think he had single-digit interceptions or close to it, and, great. I think he led the league in look at the most with a quarterback because it's about decision-making. And, yeah, if he can just get back to that, I'll take that any day.
All right, Dave, we got to let you go. You got to go show prep, get ready for your show. So before I let you go, I have a nonsensical, non-Seahawks, stupid question for you. And it's one that I was going to ask Bump, but I'll have both of you guess. Earlier in the show for Timeline, this is just a fun story. We talked about the newest Florida commit who's 7'9". Both of you guess how tall he was in 6th grade.
6'6".
6th grade. I'm going to say he was 7 feet tall.
6'11".
Goodness gracious.
6'11". That's almost 6'12".
I would imagine he's so skinny. If he fell, you feel like he'll break every bone in his body.
Oh, I bet he was most certainly, if he's 6'11" in 6th grade, at 7 years old, he's definitely over 6 feet tall.
That's crazy.
How's that guy get on a plane?
I have no idea.
I mean, even if you put him up in first class, I feel like he'd still be cramped.
Private jet. His parents are, I think I saw his parents were 6'8" and his mom's 6'1", and his brother's 6'9", and you're the tall one.
Goodness gracious.
All right, Dave, we'll let you go. We've taken up a lot of your time. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Dave.
All right, guys. Thanks.
Yeah, 6'11". Imagine a kid comes into your camp. I am 10. He's 6'11".
I'd say you're not real. You're an alien.
That man.
Take me to your leader.
Let's get to 4 down territory.
This is 4 down territory.
Going inside the game.
With former Seahawks and Coug wide receiver Michael Bumpus.
First down, who is your generation's Charles Barkley? Not mine. Your generation.
It's our generation.
Your generation.
Oh, man. The Atlanta Falcons are inducting Matt Ryan into the Ring of Honor. And as soon as I saw that, I go, that's as good as it gets for that guy. Oh. Actually, he'll be a Hall of Famer.
Yeah.
Maybe. Yeah, he'll be a Hall of Famer. The reason why he'll be a Hall of Famer, he's 7th all-time when it comes to passing yards, 62,792. 9th when it comes to passing touchdowns, 381. 5th in completions, 5,551. 65% completion rate. That is 3rd amongst the retired fellas out there. And he has a MVP. But goodness gracious, man, I can't imagine being that good, one. I can't imagine being that good and not having won a Super Bowl. He had his moment, and Tom Brady just go ahead, had to ruin it. They made a movie over it. What was it, like something 80 or something like that?
80 for Brady?
Yeah,
for Brady.
like Lily Tomlin.
Yeah.
I watched it.
They made a movie about it. Goodness gracious, I feel bad for my guy, Matt Ryan. But it's only right that now he is a commentator. A guy with all those, those records and up there when it comes to passing can share some knowledge that a lot of people just don't understand. I just hope he doesn't go down the Charles Barkley road, man. They be on Charles Barkley about not winning a championship, but it's equivalent. Matt Ryan played during the Tom Brady era. Charles Barkley played during the Michael Jordan era. It's like, what are you going to do? So big ups to Matt Ryan. I remember the first time I realized who he was. I was in college, and we're watching him play at Boston College. And I'll never forget, the commentator kept saying, Matt Ryan. He kept saying it that way. So now, with my college buddies, every time we say Matt Ryan, it's Matt Ryan. It's a little inside joke. Big SWSU, Benny Ward, finest rap, Corey Davis, my roommate. Y'all know what I'm talking about.
Oh, God. Second down. What's an off-season activity that may be impossible for NFL teams to stop their players from doing?
When I was in college, Kyle Weaver and the Washington State basketball team, that's a team that went to the tourney, lost, 2 years in a row they went to the tourney, lost to North Carolina 1 year. Kyle Weaver, who was probably the best basketball player on our team at that time, we all eat lunch together. He'd be like, man, I can play quarterback. I go, Kyle, you cannot play quarterback. Trust me. Meanwhile, my guy Brandon Gibson, who was on our football team, played basketball. I go, look, we can do what y'all can do. Y'all can't do what we can do. So we actually had this debate before Austin Rivers started all this drama like a month ago. But an activity that the NFL will never be able to stop their football players from doing is playing basketball. I saw videos of Tyreek Hill dunking at 5'9", DK Metcalf doing the same, Puka Nacua doing the same. Every football player, if you're a skill position, a receiver, a DB, throw linebackers there, maybe even running backs. All of us think that we can hoop, or thought at one point that we can hoop. So NFL, I know you're going to put it into these guys' contracts. No hooping, no snowboarding, no ATVs, all that stuff. It makes sense, but it ain't going down, man, because there's something in us that makes us want to shoot the basketball. I'm that uncle.
Man.
When I'm at the family function and they out there shooting, give me one and one more. Come on, one. Miss it, one more. Come on, give me one more. Give me one more.
Miss it again?
Miss it again? Hey,
My elbow.
What
I was golfing.
What kind of ball is this?
What kind of ball? What's wrong with this?
It ain't going down, man. We're always going to want to hoop, so good luck to the NFL.
Man.
And guys, be careful out
I'm
there.
imagining the guys that do have that in their contract being like the kid at a birthday party that can't have sugar and he's watching everyone else have cake. Like somewhere Patrick Mahomes is with his friends and they're playing basketball and he's just like, that looks fun. He can't do it.
Can't
do it. Third down. What stat from Geno do you expect to go up from last year?
It's not a huge stat. It's more of a performance, what I expect out of him, and it's his pass attempts. 2022, he threw the ball 572 times, threw for over 4,000 yards, 30 touchdowns. Last year, he threw the ball 494 times. The reason why I think that it is going to go up is because I feel like the offense is going to sustain drives. We're going to get more 10-plus play drives, more opportunities to put points on the board. But last year, Michael Penix threw the ball 558 times and played 3 less games than Geno Smith did. Meanwhile, they still had a 1,000-yard rusher. I think the way Grubb calls an offense and runs an offense is going to allow for Geno to push the ball down the field, take more shots, throw the ball a bit more, but also maintain the run. I'm anxious to see what this balance looks like. But just going off of those numbers alone, man, I think that Geno's going to throw the ball, or at least have more attempts this year. There's 1 year Peyton Manning threw the ball 670-something times. Tom Brady had 600-something his last year. I don't expect those type of numbers, but I expect the attempts to go up.
I wonder the most pass attempts in a game. I'm going to look that up for after this fourth down. What quarterback room do you think has the best back in college conversations?
It's easily the Cincinnati Bengals. Last year, my guy Jake Browning came in and did a great job filling in for Joe Burrow while he was out. In 9 games, he threw the ball 243 times, 1,900 yards, 12 touchdowns, 7 interceptions. But we ain't talking about the league. I forgot what I was reading that brought this to my attention. I just saw these two walking together, and I go, man, their college conversations had to be crazy. Because 1 year, Jake Browning throws for 43 touchdowns. 43, and at the time, we're losing our minds like, goodness gracious, man, let the kid rest a little bit. And then in 2019, 3 years later, Joe Burrow throws the ball 527 times and 60 touchdowns. Just the conversations these guys had about battles, about big plays, playing in big games, has to be awesome, man. One of the things I enjoy the most is reminiscing with some of my college dudes about games and situations and how someone failed and someone succeeded and what we learned from it. Those conversations have to be awesome. Jake Browning might be one of the best backup quarterbacks in the game right now. I think last year he proved that if you need him to go in there and do a job, he can do it. Of course, Joe Burrow, this is his team, his position, but those back in my day conversations got to be fun to listen to.
I have a little trivia for you. I don't know that you're going to get one of the answers, but you're going to like the answer. It's like right up your alley.
Okay.
So the most pass attempts in a game, Drew Bledsoe, I think a lot of you were probably guessing that one for the Patriots. Obviously a 94 in a game against the Vikings with 70.
Dang.
Only 2 active players are in the top 3. They're tied for third with 68 pass attempts in a game. The only 2 players currently active before you get to 12. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
You can guess one of them.
There's only 3, you said.
They're tied for third. Only 2 active players are in the top 3.
Okay.
They're tied at third. You can absolutely guess one of them.
It's going to be something reckless in
okay.
Is there an obvious one and a reckless one, or are they both just...
There's an obvious one and one that sounds funny on its face, but you've kind of stuck up for this player before. So the obvious one is...
Pat Mahomes.
Yes.
Okay.
This was Kansas City Chiefs against the Tennessee Titans on November 6, 2022. I will give you a year for the other one. It was from 2019. And he tied Patrick Mahomes with 68 pass attempts. And in this game in 2019, he threw for over 500 yards.
Ryan Fitzpatrick.
No. Jared Goff.
Let's go, Jared.
I knew that you would love it. I was like, Bum's going to like the answer. I don't know if he's going to get it, but he's going to love this answer.
Okay.
Some good
That's
Mariners.
crazy.
I know. Good Mariners.
How many interceptions? You know how...
let me actually still have it open. Hang on. Okay, so it was a game it was for the Rams, who's obviously with LA. Tampa Bay Buccaneers. It was early in the season. It was a week 5 game. They beat him 40. So he... Okay, Jameis Winston on the other side. 3 interceptions, 2 touchdowns. So more interceptions than touchdowns. But still, he had 68 pass attempts, 517 yards. God, you know what? If he hadn't done that, you look at the other side. Jameis Winston with 41 attempts, 385 yards, 4 touchdowns and a pick.
Jameis.
What a game.
Never
That was
know
probably a
what you
really
got
fun
out of him.
game. I know. Hype Train coming your way next.
Seattle Sports, your home for Wyman and Bob.
It's going to be problematic for the opposition in that building should it get to the playoffs. If the Mariners hang on to this and they get a home series here in the postseason, it's a big deal.
And that's why the division, that's why the division's important. You win the division, you get a home series. In a situation like that, a crowd can make all the difference in close games especially. And we know the Mariners love to play close games. So that crowd kind of forecasts it towards the end of the year, what could happen. That's fun to think about.
On Seattle Sports and 97.3 FM HD2.
Do you have a car you're thinking of selling? You want to get the most money for it, but you probably don't want to deal with the hassle of selling it yourself because that's annoying. Meeting a stranger in a grocery store parking lot after work so they can test drive your car and negotiate on a price? No, thank you. So here's why you should sell your car to my friends at Wayscar Ford in Auburn. They have a program that pays top dollar for your vehicle. You get that money up front, but it gets even better because when Wayscar Ford resells your old car, they split the profit 50-50 with you. Why? The money they save on auction buy fees, transportation costs, and travel expenses allows them to offer this program. They'd much rather split that money with the customer rather than outside services. But are they going to offer you less? No. In fact, they encourage you to shop and compare, but in virtually every case, Wayscar Ford has been able to match or beat competitor offers. So if you're looking to sell your car, make sure you do it at Wayscar Ford in Auburn and get paid twice for it.
Are you still using allergy pills and sprays to treat your allergy attacks? I'm Dr. Ryan Stern with the Stern Sinus Center. Nasal congestion, sneezing, runny nose, snoring, facial pain are just a few of the sinus symptoms we can help you out with. From allergy workups and treatments to modern nasal breathing procedures to advanced outpatient balloon sinuplasty, we can diagnose and treat your problems. Let us help you get relief easily, quickly, and permanently. Find us in Federal Way or Auburn or at sternsinus.com. That's sternsinus.com.
At the UPS store, we know being a small business owner means holiday time is still go time. Still get those orders shipped time. And still re-up on stamps and supplies time. That's why this upcoming holiday, while others close up shop, we'll be open. And happy to help you keep being unstoppable. Come into your local store today. Most locations are independently owned. Product services, pricing, and hours of operation may vary. See Center for details. The UPS store. Be unstoppable.
We're recording this Progressive commercial on a real boat to let people know that when you bundle your home, boat, and other vehicles...
What was that, Flo?
Progressive saves you money, Jamie.
Why are we doing this on a boat?
We were going for authenticity.
We're going to the city?
Authenticity.
You mean Atlantic City? But we're not in the Atlantic. Are we?
Bundle your home and other vehicles with Progressive. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company, affiliates, and other insurers. Not available in all states or situations.
The IRS deadline has come and gone. So do you owe money to the IRS? If so, you need an ally. Whether you owe the IRS $6,000 or $600,000, whether your tax problems are personal or business, the professionals at Allies Tax Relief are ready to step in and negotiate your fresh start with the IRS. Here's a happy customer of Allies Tax Relief.
Before calling Allies Tax Relief, I feared the IRS would take all of my assets. I owed them over $562,000. Thankfully, I was referred to Allies and called them for help. They ultimately saved my life from uncertainty. Allies negotiated my giant tax debt to an unbelievable $1,500. They are professionals and they fight the fight for their clients.
Allies Tax Relief will protect your assets from being seized and your paycheck from being garnished. Call right now for your free consultation. 800-296-0772. That's 800-296-0772. Or visit AlliesTaxRelief.com.
For Down Territory, going inside the game with Michael Bumpus.
I like this. More quarterbacks should start doing this.
Every day at 11:15 and 1:15 on Bumpin' Stacy.
Oh, how nice is it to have these long days back? Mike Salk here, and it really does make waking up for this show at 4 a.m. a whole lot easier when it's already a little bit light outside. And then after work, maybe even sneak in 18 holes all before that late sunset. Well, you know who else loves these long days? Riverside Roofing and all their customers. Long sunny days, that means they can turn around jobs more quickly. Have a roof project that you've been kicking around? Call Riverside Roofing and get on their schedule now. They're cranking out jobs all over Western Washington. I've heard from customers texting into the show who've trusted them, and I myself have been such a pleased, proud customer. The sooner you decide, the sooner you can have this project done, and additionally, you can handpick the best roofing company on the market. For me, that's Riverside Roofing. Go to riversideroofingllc.com right now and get a quick quote on your project. It won't even take 60 seconds. It's Riverside Roofing, family-owned and Master Elite GAF certified. Riverside Roofing, the roofing company you can trust.
Do you have a musty, damp, or wet basement? As the soil around your home becomes saturated, pressure pushes water through the tiniest of cracks and joints in your walls and floor. Moisture and water can not only damage your basement with mold and musty odors, it can also impact the health of your family. Matt Vey can install a custom-designed waterproofing system, transforming your basement into dry, healthy, usable space.
Do it the right way, the Matt Vey way. Rock built, rock solid.
Experience firsthand the innovative spirit and vibrant culture of Washington at the Washington Brewers Festival. 2 days of tasty food and beverages paired with great entertainment. The Washington Brewers Festival is June 22nd and 23rd at Seattle Center. Learn more and get tickets now at WashingtonBrewersGuild.org. That's WashingtonBrewersGuild.org. Use promo code Seattle Sports for 10% off. The Washington Brewers Festival. Join in for this incredible Washington tradition.
This hour is brought to you by Mazda of Everett.
You're listening to Bumpin' Stacy.
Weekdays 10 to 2.
On Seattle Sports and 97.3 FM HD2.
Get your questions in for What I Need to Know coming your way in 15 minutes. Any question you have, text it now to the Mac and Jack's text line, 866-979-3776. Right now, though, we're heading to the station for Hype Train. Great news for the Mariners. Brian Wu starting today, making his scheduled start. We were wondering whether or not they'd push it back just one more, but we're going to see him out there. The question is, for how long? Are they going to be careful, limit him to under 40 pitches? Are they going to pull him early, or is it going to be a normal start? So that's where we're starting with Hype Train. Brian Wu will go into the 5th.
Into the 5th. Okay, the last time he just threw 5 of them things, he ended up throwing how many pitches? Like 62 or something like that. So yeah, I think that's the number. I think if he can stay around 65 to 70 pitches, he'll be good to go. And I think he'll be able to do that against this lineup, even though later in the game they showed a bit of pop in the bats, a little bit of life with the Cleveland Guardians. But good vibes for Wu. Getting to that 5. Let him sit down, ice up.
Brian Wu will go into the 5th. Curtis, are you boarding this Hype Train?
I'm boarding. I think that forearm is feeling good. I think he's feeling good. He's been super efficient in his 6 starts that he's made this season, so hopefully that continues to be the case against this Cleveland lineup. But I have good vibes right now for Brian Wu today. I think he pitches into the 5th inning. I don't know if he finishes it. Maybe goes like 4 1/3, 4 2/3. We're not expecting the world of him today, but yeah, he goes into the 5th.
All right, next up. ESPN Seth Walder graded every team's offseason. The Seahawks got a B. That was good enough for me in high school. I'm fine with that. I think a B sounds fine. He said the biggest move was hiring Mike Macdonald as head coach. I don't think we disagree. Obviously, your head coach, most important piece outside of quarterback. He said a move he liked, sticking with quarterback Geno Smith. The move he disliked that knocked Seattle just a little bit, re-signing Leonard Williams at $21.5 per year, your hype train, inspired not by the news of Williams signing, which was long ago, but by this grade. The Seahawks overpaid Leonard Williams.
Oh, man, that's a tough one because the average person isn't going to understand what he does for this team. And the money that they paid doesn't necessarily reflect in the box score what he means to this team. So, no, I'm not on this train. I think I was one of the guys who said, look, you need to do whatever you can to keep Leonard because things changed a bit when he got here. They played well, then they stumbled a bit, but his play never slid. So I'm with this.
The Seahawks overpaid Leonard Williams. Bump not boarding this one. He said, look, it made sense for them, and the average fan or even maybe national fans who don't have a close look may not understand Williams' importance. Curtis, are you boarding this train?
I think if you view Leonard Williams for what he was pre-Mike Macdonald, then I think you could make the case that it was an overpayment. But I think Mike Macdonald is going to unlock something in his game. I mean, he's a really, really good defensive lineman. Anyway, I think Macdonald's going to have him playing with his hair on fire this season. So I don't think it was an overpay for what the Seahawks gave Leonard Williams this offseason.
I don't think so either. I'll chime in quickly on this one. It kind of reminds me of when we were talking about paying quarterbacks and paying players and extending players. And it's like, okay, everyone knows Justin Jefferson was the example. Everyone knows Justin Jefferson is one of, if not the best wide receiver in the league. And you can argue the Vikings even then overpaid, but it's about what he means to them, right? And what that person means to you. So it's not, hey, you paid Williams more than Curtis, to your point. Another team is paying someone who has more sacks or more tackles for loss. It's, what does he mean to your defense? Your defense needs help badly. He's a veteran who's been there, done that, and he did a good job for you last year. Next up. This one is inspired by Bump's 4-down territory question, and I think because of that, I already know his answer. Matt Ryan will be added to the Falcons' Ring of Honor alongside owner Arthur Blank. Matt Ryan will also be a Hall of Famer.
Yeah, he's got to be, man. He's in there. He's in there. He put together some seasons that were magical. You know what's messed up, man? When I think about the Atlanta Falcons, I always think about just a high-powered offense, whether it be Matt Ryan, Schaub over there, Mike Vick. For some reason, they always produce offensively, but just can't get over the hump when it comes to winning championships. But he deserves to be in there, man. And he's one of those guys, never heard a bad thing about Matt Ryan. Good teammate, never got in trouble.
Not problematic.
Yeah, he's just a good dude.
No old Matt Ryan tweets emerging out of nowhere like, Matt, you said what?
Like, dang, Matt, you was tripping.
Dang.
You didn't know how Twitter worked.
Wow.
Twitter didn't exist when he was
Curtis,
in his
don't give him
years.
excuses.
Yeah.
He's a good guy. He's a good guy. Matt Ryan will be a Hall of Famer. Are you boarding this train alongside Bump?
It's a weird because if you let him in, you're going to probably have to induct Phillip Rivers, Eli Manning, Russell Wilson, and I don't know.
Eli, you don't think Eli deserves to get in?
His regular season numbers aren't amazing. He's got the 2 Super Bowls. Phillip Rivers has a lot
And his last
of
name is
passing yards.
Manning.
Yeah, I know.
Nepo.
I think Matt Ryan is on the ballot for a long, long time. I don't think he
he's
gets
first
in.
ballot?
I don't think so. I think he's going to have to wait for a while. So I'm gonna let this train go on by. He's a great quarterback, yes. Really likable dude. Has an MVP to his name, but I mean the Falcons, they made the 1 Super Bowl, but I just don't think it was enough.
I just don't know that you can be safely in the top 10. I mean, he's 7. I'll call it safely in the top 10 of career passing yards and not be in it, which would mean Phillip Rivers is getting in it because Phillip Rivers has 1,000 more career passing yards than does Matt Ryan. Bump, all to your point. When you finish in one of the most important categories, top 10 career, right? How are you not in the Hall of Fame?
I don't know. Well, I mean, like Derek Carr could end up there. Matthew Stafford could end up there.
Yeah, but Matt Ryan was an MVP. He went to a Super Bowl. How about this? If Matt Ryan and the Falcons won that Super Bowl, is there any question in your mind?
He's a Hall of Famer.
No,
Is there
he's
any
for
question?
sure.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So then what about Dan Marino? No Super Bowl rings for him?
Well, Dan is.
He was consistently in the playoffs, consistently a Pro
Sure,
Bowler,
but
All-Pro.
he has fewer career passing yards than does Matt Ryan.
You got to account for the era.
You absolutely
Marino had the single-season passing yards record for like 30-something years, too, until Drew Brees broke it.
I'm just saying, it's one of the most fascinating things because with Eli, who's 10 in career passing yards, Eli, Matt Ryan, Phillip Rivers, the three most interesting names in the top 10 of career passing yards because it's like, okay, obviously, I mean, Eli's got 2 Super Bowl rings, but Phillip and Matt don't.
Eli's going to get in.
Phillip doesn't have playoff success. The Chargers were constantly banged up and for one odd reason or another, like, just struggled to get it done.
Yeah, I think
They're fascinating
I think
cases.
Eli gets in. I think Matt gets in, and I think Phillip Rivers struggles to get in.
I think the same. I think Eli also, no one will admit it, benefits from being a Manning and a former Giant.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And like a pop culture icon in sports, right? Like everyone knows Eli Manning and, you know, he's popular and he's good for the brand and no one wants to say it, but that's in people's minds when they're voting for those ballots. Let's see. We don't have time for another one. All right. You're listening to Bump and Stacy on Seattle Sports and the Seattle Sports app. Get your questions in for what I need to know. Any question now. 866-979-3776. Mac and Jack's text line. That's next.
Seattle Sports, your home for Wyman and Bob.
It's going to be problematic for the opposition in that building should it get to the playoffs. If the Mariners hang on to this and they get a home series here in the postseason, it's a big deal.
And that's why the division, that's why the division's important. You win the division, you get a home series. In a situation like that, a crowd can make all the difference in close games especially. And we know the Mariners love to play close games. So that crowd kind of forecasts it towards the end of the year, what could happen. That's fun to think about.
On Seattle Sports and 97.3 FM HD2.
Tingling and numbness or burning pain in the feet or hands are warning signs of peripheral neuropathy. For years, Sound Pain Solutions has helped thousands using our innovative narcotic-free approach. Now we're excited to introduce our most powerful treatment yet. I'm Dr. Mark Shelley, a chiropractic physician and functional neurologist at Sound Pain Solutions. We've discovered a new bioelectrical treatment that produces remarkable results. Studies show 85% of neuropathy sufferers report a 50% reduction in pain. Our new therapy can reduce pain and regenerate damaged nerves. It's performed by medical providers and naturopathic physicians. It's a breakthrough treatment that has changed the lives of thousands who suffer from nerve pain. At Sound Pain Solutions, all our therapies are non-surgical, FDA-cleared, and narcotic-free. Learn if you qualify for our new neuropathy treatment. Schedule a free consultation by visiting soundpainsolutions.com. soundpainsolutions.com.
This is Matt Coker from West Coast Men's Health. I'm proud to let you know that nationwide, our clinics have a 4.7 out of 5-star rating on Google. This tells you that our patients are really seeing results. Here's what some of them are saying. The results are close to phenomenal. On top of that, the staff and the scheduling are top-notch, and my technician is a consummate professional. Another patient said, I called numerous clinics, and West Coast was by far the best. The other places wouldn't give me any information over the phone, but West Coast answered all of my questions. My wife and I were skeptical, but we've already noticed the difference. This was a game changer for us. West Coast Men's Health has helped thousands of men reverse their ED using acoustic wave therapy. No pills or shots necessary. Give us a call today so we can help you too.
With clinics in Redmond and Tacoma, call 206-519-6541. That's 206-519-6541. 206-519-6541. Online at westcoastmenshealth.com.
That is strikeout number 7 for George Kirby. Absolutely sensational.
A Mariners game at T-Mobile Park is the perfect place for a get-together. Whether it's a small family celebration or a party for your whole company, there's a suite or space perfect for your guests to enjoy 9 innings of great views, food, and drinks. You'll even impress Barbara from accounting. Don't let that stoic appearance fool you. There's a party animal under there. The more people you bring, the more you can save. So to earn your rep as the host with the most, visit Mariners.com.
He is safe at home. Julio stole home.
Mariners baseball. Tridents up.
The next Mariners homestand gets started with 2 can't-miss giveaways as the team takes on the Twins. On June 28th, the Mariners are debuting their first-ever City Connect bobblehead. The first 20,000 fans score a J.P. Crawford Trident bubble. Then on June 29th, the fun continues with Aloha shirts for the first 15,000 fans. Get tickets to both games at mariners.com.
Do you know a woman who gives her all to the sports community, encourages diversity, and empowers those around her? Stacey Rost here. Seattle Sports is once again partnering with the Seattle chapter of WISE, which stands for Women in Sports and Events. We want to recognize a woman in our community, and we need your help finding her. Nominations for the 3rd annual Women of Inspiration Award are open until July 12th. The winner will receive a donation to the cause of their choice. Nominate an inspiring woman at woiseattle.org.
Subscribe to the Seattle Sports YouTube page to find new and exclusive content from your favorite shows and personalities daily. Just head to YouTube, search Seattle Sports, and click subscribe.
A slow network is no network for business. That's why more choose Comcast Business. And now we're introducing Ultimate Speed for Business, our fastest plans yet. We're up to 12 times faster than Verizon, AT&T, and T-Mobile. And existing customers could even get up to triple the speeds at no additional cost. All from the company with 99.9% network reliability and advanced cybersecurity. It's ultimate speed from Comcast Business, powering possibilities.
Don't miss out on our fastest speed plans yet. Get started with internet and security for $49.99 a month for 12 months with a 2-year contract. Plus, ask how to get up to an $800 prepaid card with a qualifying internet package. Don't wait. Call 1-800-501-6000 or go to ComcastBusiness.com to switch today. In 62324, restrictions apply. New customers only with 150 megabits per second internet and security edge. Eco bill and auto pay required. Equipment, taxes, and fees extra. Compares Comcast Business 1.25 gig to 100 megabits per second of Verizon 5G Business, AT&T Wireless Broadband, and T-Mobile for Business. Up to 3 times download for existing essential and standard internet customers.
Oh, how nice is it to have these long days back? Mike Salk here, and it really does make waking up for this show at 4 a.m. a whole lot easier when it's already a little bit light outside. And then after work, maybe even sneak in 18 holes all before that late sunset. Well, you know who else loves these long days? Riverside Roofing and all their customers. Long sunny days, that means they can turn around jobs more quickly. Have a roof project that you've been kicking around? Call Riverside Roofing and get on their schedule now. They're cranking out jobs all over Western Washington. I've heard from customers texting into the show who've trusted them, and I myself have been such a pleased, proud customer. The sooner you decide, the sooner you can have this project done, and additionally, you can handpick the best roofing company on the market. For me, that's Riverside Roofing. Go to riversideroofingllc.com right now and get a quick quote on your project. It won't even take 60 seconds. It's Riverside Roofing, family-owned and Master Elite GAF certified. Riverside Roofing, the roofing company you can trust.
This is Bumpin' Stacy.
Weekdays 10 to 2.
On Seattle Sports and 97.3 FM HD2.
Get your questions in for What I Need to Know. It's brought to you by Cookies Country Chicken. Fantastic place, by the way, if you're looking for a place for lunch. Bah! Get your questions into the Mac and Jack's text line, 866-979-3776. First question from Dave in Marysville. In honor of our fantastic boys of summer, the Mariners, what I need to know is, when you're kicking back in the yard grilling food, what's on the barbecue, and what's your go-to adult beverage? Love the show. Keep up the great work, and go Mariners.
My household is multicultural, so we make sure that everyone is represented.
Mm-hmm.
So we got the carne asada. We got some chicken on that thing, and then the all beef glizzies.
Yeah.
And then my drink, I start off with some whiskey on ice and with a beer.
See, I like to keep it pretty stereotypical. I go like a chicken kebab, no carbs. So you just get the chicken and the veggies.
Jeez.
And, you get a nice little...
you can't grill rice cakes.
You get a nice little seltzer going on there. You know what I mean?
Little seltzer.
Yeah. So what if black cherry's the best flavor? I won't apologize for that. It was the original and the most popular for a reason. No, I don't grill stock. Why would I have stalks of celery?
Because all your grill food sounds boring.
Chicken kebabs are not boring.
Chicken kebab.
Yeah.
It's a fun word.
It's a lot of people like chicken kebabs. Kebabs are fun. It's finger food. You can put all kinds of things on it. Peppers, other things. What I need to know, now that you are 4 hours closer to being a year older, thanks. What do you want the young people under 30, to know that will, I don't quite understand the end of this, that will give them context to who you were?
Oh, they're saying pretty much what mistakes did you make?
Oh, none.
You know, that
Next
allow
question.
people to understand who you are. Man, I'm just going to answer the question the way that I want to answer it.
Okay.
And I'm just going to say my advice would be kind to everybody.
Mm-hmm.
Give them a shot. Once they do you dirty or don't return that energy, then you give them the same energy that they gave you.
That's such good advice that mine's going to be second best. So I'll recognize that as the best advice. And I'll do the follow-up, more vain version, which is everything you do to your body, you'll feel.
Yes, you will.
So if you're 25, you drink a ton all the time with your friends and you eat poorly and you don't exercise, you're not feeling it the next morning because you're 25. Like, I remember, going to bed without washing my face. Not a ton. I've always been very good about skincare. Very good. But, just not taking the very best care of your health because you're like, whatever. If I didn't work out that day and had pizza at 2 a.m. instead, I didn't feel it. You will feel it. So I'm always grateful that I was good with skincare, A. I could be better with working out, but I feel that now. Like, I feel like, now I think about heart health. I'm in my 30s. I'm not. But yeah, I think people even older would probably say that too. I would imagine our parents would be like, yeah, the best thing you can do, get up and walk around and try to limit your drinking. So, someone said you better say Caesar salad. Bump. Love your Get Off My Lawn segment. How's your actual lawn game at your place? Is it so dialed in that no one's allowed to walk on it?
Thankfully, I live on a dead end, a T street, so I don't get too much foot traffic. But my front yard is dialed, and that's my wife. She has a garden with flowers and all that stuff. My backyard is turf because it was grass, and then my dogs kept getting in the house, and they're all wet and muddy and stuff. And I was done with that, so I would say it's in pretty good shape.
What I need to know is Luke Rayleigh athletic?
He is.
Yeah.
He is that. You guys ever have that friend in your group that is just crazy strong?
Yeah, it's me.
It's unorthodox.
Yeah.
You can do some things. How is this working?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
You understand.
I am that friend.
That's who Luke is, man. He is athletic, though. I want you stand in front of him and see if he'll make you move if he runs at you.
I think I see football player Luke Rayleigh. I think he's athletic. Now, remember when we got into that fight? Not you and I, but in general with listeners. Everyone was fighting with everyone about what an athlete was.
Yeah.
I'll stand on this. I work out.
No, I wasn't there. I think you and Curtis did that.
Oh, was this us, Curtis?
Yeah.
I think so.
So we were talking about one of the many parts of this debate was whether or not just working out makes you an athlete.
No.
It doesn't.
It does not.
I have
Exactly.
never considered myself an athlete, and I played high school sports. I do not consider myself an athlete in any way. I work out every day.
Nah. This is what I tell people. I want to see you run straight as fast as you can, and then I want to see you stop. And then I want to see you run left from a stop position, stop. Then run right from a stop
It's too
position,
much.
stop. And then I'll tell you if you're athletic or not.
It's too much. We're here on vacation from Texas for the next three weeks.
Wow.
When it's suns out, guns out weather, do we go shirtless or tank tops?
Don't go shirtless,
Don't go
please.
shirtless.
Don't do it. I know. I can imagine you in Texas with your shirt off, tucked in your back pocket, with a cold one in your hand. This ain't Texas.
St. Texas. Tank
Plus,
tops.
you could get burned. You don't want to get burned.
If they're taking their shirt off in Texas, this sun ain't nothing for
They're
them.
not worried about it at all. They're texting in with beer in hand already.
I
We
will
take our
say,
shirts off.
the humidity here, that might be.
You
a
know,
little
is it
different.
humid in Texas?
Yeah, it's humid as heck in Texas.
Yeah.
On the Gulf part?
Yeah, I would bet Texas is Arizona's where it's nice and dry, heat, and doesn't feel as bad. Let's see.
That feels bad still.
Arizona heat. Well, yeah, but it's not drip. It's not heavy. I can barely breathe.
Yeah.
Do you guys have a family game you go to over and over and over again? With us at my place, it's cribbage. With one of my friends' families, it's Uno, or it could be a card game.
Ours is Uno and Scrabble.
Scrabble's too hard.
What do you mean?
It's literally words.
Scrabble's too hard. This
It's
is what you
words.
do.
I get test anxiety with Scrabble. All of a sudden, I can only think of cat, dog, toe.
I mean, you're
Toad.
limited to what's
If
on
I get
the board.
if I get a 5-letter Scrabble word, I'm like, oh my my God. I'm a genius. Did you see how I just wrote out ferns, plural? Mine's 31, and no one ever knows what that is.
No idea.
It's a really fun card game.
The Evans family plays 31.
31?
I played 31 growing up all the time.
So did I. That was the first card game I learned how to play.
My mom's side of the family, like, it's our official card game.
Yes.
Yeah? I've never met another person that plays it.
No, me
Stop trying to take my friend.
Wow. You guys are just so cool.
Stop it, man.
31. 31. It's a great game. It's so much fun. Me and my sister
Sad.
taught our boyfriends to play before they came over for Easter. Like, you have to know how to play before you step foot in our house. You have to, because we're going to play it every holiday. Let's see what I need to know. Name a candy or candy bar that you really like that no one else you know likes or would even try. Mine is Cup of Gold.
I'm basic. Everyone knows what I like.
Cup of
Well, do you like?
I've never
Okay, how
heard
about
of
this? How about
that.
this? I'll expand it outside of candy. Okay. What is something, Bump, that you like that no one ever understands? They're like, what? Really?
I don't know, man. I'm not around a lot of friends often.
Wow.
Pretty isolated.
I don't have many friends.
To my family and my kids.
I don't really have friends.
And my golf buddies, we just drink beer. But I would say like Nerds has this.
A Nerds row?
Nerds with the gooey stuff.
Clusters.
Yes.
Nerd
oh my
clusters.
gosh, those are great. And they're bad for you. They're banned in Europe. So
They're banned in Europe? I need to do more research.
We
here.
ain't in Europe, though.
Yeah, we are.
This ain't Europe.
This ain't Europe. All right, you guys, don't go anywhere. Wyman and Bob coming up next.
Seattle Sports, your home for Wyman and Bob.
This is going to be problematic for the opposition in that building should it get to the playoffs. If the Mariners hang on to this and they get a home series here in the postseason, it's a big deal.
And that's why the division, that's why the division's important. You win the division, you get a home series. In a situation like that, a crowd can make all the difference in close games especially. And we know the Mariners love to play close games. So that crowd kind of forecasts it towards the end of the year, what could happen. That's fun to think about.
On Seattle Sports and 97.3 FM HD2.
Hey, it's Mike Salk here for Window Nation. If you haven't had a chance to take advantage of their semi-annual sale, you are in luck because they've extended it. Get 50% off all windows with no interest for 5 years and a bonus 10% savings when you schedule an estimate now. If your old windows are costing you too much for AC, that's a big deal. And now during Window Nation's semi-annual sale, you can replace them and save big. This offer ends June 30th, so schedule your in-home estimate now. Call 866-90-NATION or go to windownation.com.
You ready for a road trip? Because it's time for the Harnish Auto Family Road Trip Sales Event. Hey, Brock Hewitt here. In this month, the Harnish Auto Family is offering a chance to win a $500 road trip package from Sportco and Outdoor Emporium. Test drive any vehicle and enter for your chance to win. No purchase necessary. You'll get an extra entry when you trade in or sell your vehicle. And if you service your vehicle during the event, you'll be entered into a giveaway for a sleek solo stove. Just stop by and take a test drive for your chance to win. HarnishAutoFamily.com. People matter. See dealership for details.
Ready for some summer hoops? Register your team for the Everett 3-on-3 tournament July 13th and 14th, presented by Boeing. 4 players to a team, 2 days of exciting action, one incredible tournament. Players of all ages and abilities are encouraged to come out and play. Get your team registered today. Go to Everett3on3.net to sign up your team. That's Everett3on3.net. A special thank you to event sponsors Amazon, City of Everett, Snohomish County TPA, McLean Insurance, and Scott Dahl Real Estate.
Hey, it's Dave Wyman with Dr. Mark Wagner, MD from Seattle Sports and Regenerative Medicine. Dr. Wagner is hosting a free stem cell webinar Wednesday, June 26th to explain stem cell therapy.
I'm really looking forward to this live webinar to educate on how using your own stem cells can be an extremely successful method to help regenerate native tissue in rotator cuffs, meniscus tears, and reduce pain in osteoarthritic joints.